Hey guys, this is what if Naruto was trained by Kakashi as a child. Anbu Naruto Sharingan Naruto. Chapter 1, Please. Leave me alone, what have I done to you? The 5-year-old boy with spiky blonde hair asked. You dare say that, you demon? After all you have done, it is because of you the people treat the Uchiha the way they do. The teen with two Tomioed Sharingan in both eyes yelled, coming at Naruto with a kunai. He yelled because the Uchiha had just sliced his left eye. Haha, you will die now, demon. The boy yelled inches from Naruto to finish him off. The teen's eyes were wide as he saw a Tonto impale him. He turned around to see an Anbu with dog mask. No, you fool. You are the only fool here, he said in a monotonous voice. Thump. The teen hit the ground. I'm sorry Sensei Kushina-chan, I failed you, he thought in sadness, picking up Naruto as well as the boy and disappearing via Sunshin. Hiruzen burst through the doors of the Anbu hospital. Doctor, tell me, how is Naruto-kun? He asked. Hi Hokage-sama, the child has lost his left eye forever and is now unconscious, he said as Hiruzen scowled. Can nothing be done? Dr. Kakashi asked, coming from behind. There is, he said with hesitation. What do you mean? Hiruzen asked. The Uchiha may be dead, but we can implant his Sharingan in Naruto-kun's left eye to give him his sight, he suggested, making their eyes wide while Hiruzen looked down. If I am to do this, I must do it right or else the Uchiha will be on my ass, he thought. Very well doctor, you may proceed, he said. Hi, the doctor said, going away for surgery, professor, but I know Kakashi-kun, if this goes out there will be a big controversy, so we must cover it up, he said. MIA? Kakashi nodded as Hiruzen nodded. Yes, we will completely destroy any evidence of Uchiha Tenchi, he said. But what if the Uchiha find out? Kakashi asked. They won't, because Naruto-kun won't be in the village, he said. You are sending him away? Kakashi asked. Yes, he must stay out of the village for his own safety, so I am sending him away with you, he said. Shocking. Kakashi, me? He asked. To be honest, he needs to be able to defend himself and you are the only one who can teach him to use the Sharingan, so I trust Minato's legacy in your hands, Kakashi, he said as he bowed. Thank you Hokage-sama for this, I will train him to the best of my abilities, he promised. Very well then Kakashi-kun, now for the next 5 years you are sent on this S-rank mission. 5 hours later, Naruto's eyes flashed open. Ah, I see you are awake, he heard the familiar voice. Old man? He asked, rubbing his right eye. Yes, it is me, Naruto-kun, he said with a smile. Oh no, my eye, that guy, he yelled, clutching his head. It is alright now, you are safe now, no one will hurt you, Hiruzen said. But your eye is alright, doctor, please remove the bandages, he said. Hi, the doctor said, going behind him as he started to uncover his left eye. Now open your eyes, Hiruzen said as Naruto did, and his eyes were wide. What the hell, what is this blue thingy? Why am I seeing two different things, he yelled in confusion. Calm down and let me explain, Hiruzen said as Naruto looked at him. Yes, you lost your original left eye, but now you have the Sharingan in it instead, he said. Sharingan? Naruto asked, tilting his head. Yes, it's the eyes of the Uchiha clan, let me explain. I see, Naruto said with wide eyes. Yes, but there is a situation. If the Uchiha clan find out, they will demand the eye to be extracted, so you must leave the village for 5 years at least with him, Hiruzen said as Kakashi appeared and gave Naruto a nice smile. Yo, he is Kakashi Hatake and he will be training you for the next 5 years to become a ninja, Hiruzen said while Naruto glared at Kakashi. Hey man, I know I lost my left eye, but it is not funny of you to copy me even if I like your hairdo, he said as both the adults' sweat dropped. I can assure you that he is not copying you, Hiruzen said as Kakashi revealed his left eye, shocking Naruto. I lost my left eye as well, the way we see it we're the same, he said with a nice smile. I see, Naruto said in shock. Naruto stood with Kakashi with a backpack on his back. Are you ready to leave, Naruto? Hiruzen asked as he replied with a nod. See you in 5 years, old man, he said with a grin as he had a blue band covering his left eye. Yes, I will be waiting, he said. Alright Hokage-sama, we must take our leave now, Kakashi said. Very well Kakashi-kun, he said as Kakashi put a hand on Naruto's shoulder and the two disappeared via Sunshin. 2 days later, now that we have settled in, we will begin, Kakashi said as Naruto nodded. Before anything, let me explain to you the meaning of chakra and how it is used, Kakashi said. Alright sensei, he said with a grin. Yes, this is my first step to becoming Hokage, he thought. 3 months later. I have to do what now? Naruto asked. You must learn to climb the tree without your hands. It's a level of control exercise after leaf balancing, and since your control is bad you must practice it every day, Kakashi said. Alright sensei, I understand, he said as Kakashi smiled. Good, now I will demonstrate, he said walking up the tree. Cool, Naruto said as Kakashi threw a kunai near his feet. Mark your progress with this, he said as Naruto picked it up. Hi sensei, he said as he ran towards the tree to begin with his exercise. He is progressing fast, Kakashi thought with a smile. Time skip 2 years. Kakashi looked at his prodigy who was currently destroying all the logs in his way. It has been 2 years already, he thought with a smile. For the last 2 years Naruto has trained very hard to master all his basics, which was covered by Kakashi. He was excellent with his targets. control and basic taijutsu. He mastered the basics to a point that now he did not require a single seal to perform it, and only ninjutsu out of the basic tree that he knew was the shadow clone jutsu which Kakashi had taught him, and as for his Sharingan, it was fully matured now after a brutal spar against Kakashi. Huff huff, Naruto panted, standing at 4 feet 1 in a black jumpsuit with black ninja sandals. That's enough for today. You have clearly mastered your basics, but now we will start to train to use the nature and shape transformation of chakra, he said as Naruto grinned. About time, he said. Good, then let's first test your element, Kakashi said, giving him 3 chakra papers. You know what to do, he asked as Naruto nodded, taking it and channeling his chakra in it. As the first one turned into pieces, the second one crinkled away, and the third one turned into crisps. Both their eyes were wide. 3 affinities at his age, Kakashi thought. D3 affinities, Naruto shuddered. All Uchiha are natural fire users, so it must be due to that. While I think wind and lightning are your primary elements, Kakashi said. I see, he said. Alright, first we will start with Raiden since it is my primary affinity, he said as Naruto pumped his fist. Let's do this, he said with a grin. He never ceases to amaze me, Kakashi thought. 5 months later, Naruto was training to perfect his lightning jutsu while Kakashi watched him standing beside him. I see you are training well, came a very familiar voice as the two stopped everything they were doing. JGG, Naruto exclaimed with wide eyes as the man chuckled, being hugged in a flash. You have grown up well, fine in these few years, he said. Hokage-sama, I did not know you were coming, Kakashi said. I came on my own accord because I have something to discuss with the both of you, he said. What is it, Jigi? Naruto asked. Let's go inside first, he said as the two nodded and the three went inside the temporary tent. I'm afraid but the two of you must return. I am in much need of you, Kakashi and the Anbu. That is, he said. What? But it is not like the way you think, Naruto-kun. You can still train with Kakashi while not on missions, he said. Wait, you can't mean, Kakashi said as Hiruzen nodded. From your last report you said he is already as good as any Chunin, so that's why I have decided that he will join Anbu as your apprentice. Once he is experienced enough he can be a full-time Anbu, he said, making their eyes wide. But wait, I'm not even an official ninja, Naruto said as Hiruzen chuckled. You don't need to be an official ninja to become Anbu because they are recruited, so do you accept, he asked, placing the puppy mask on the table. I leave the decision to Kakashi sensei. If he says then I'll join, Naruto said as Hiruzen looked at Kakashi, who was in thought. You can, but you will follow my every instruction to the letter, he said as Naruto grinned. Alright sensei, he said. Good, then it is decided. For now you are Agent Puppy. No one is to know your true identity except your teammates, and you are officially the youngest to join the forces, Hiruzen said as he grinned. What can I say? I am that talented, he said. Glad to see you have not changed, Hiruzen said with a chuckle while Kakashi sighed. 1 week later, Kakashi and Naruto stood in Hiruzen's office. Kakashi was in his Anbu uniform while Naruto wore a blue t-shirt which had full sleeves, with white stripes and a matching blue pant bandaged on the shin, and he also wore a pair of blue sandals with a pouch behind and kunai holder on the right leg. He also wore silver forearm protectors with blue fingerless glove with metal plating, and lastly his puppy mask from which his red eye was visible. Now Puppy, before starting to do missions you must go through 2 months of training that all operatives go through, where you will learn what all Anbu must to do their missions more fluently, the cage said. Like an Anbu academy, Naruto asked. You can think of it like that, he said. We will meet for 2 months, Kakashi said. Alright sensei, we will, Naruto said with a grin behind his mask. Kakashi dropped him to the area. The cage said. Hi. Follow me, Kakashi said as two blurred out. I wish you luck, Naruto-kun, Hiruzen thought. The two appeared in a clearing. I don't see anyone, Kakashi said. Wait here, someone will be here. Good luck until the next time, he said as Naruto nodded and Kakashi disappeared. But as soon as he did, a barrage of shuriken came at Naruto, who flipped back and had 6 kunai between his fingers instantly as he threw it at his attacker, who was in black and wore a white mask. Who are you? he asked, but there was no answer as the masked person took out the katana from his back and then disappeared, suddenly appearing before Naruto. Clash. His Danto met Naruto's kunai as the person tried to overpower it, but soon lightning crinkled around the kunai, surprising the person even if it was not to be seen, as the katana was cut and Naruto kicked him in the gut, sending him back a bit, but he did a backflip and got a little distance between them. Naruto threw the kunai charged with ration chakra and made a tiger seal ninpo. Kunai cage bunshine. The kunai turned into 40, but the attacker was ready as he made seals doten. Doriyuki. He protected himself, but then Naruto sensed him taking a swipe at him from behind. Puff Kaji bunshine. It is as if he saw me coming, the person thought, looking up only to see kunai coming at him with paper bombs tied behind it as he jumped away. Boom. The person landed and made seals doten, earth dragon jutsu. From the ground a dragon came out and went towards Naruto, who made seals horse rabbit monkey. Soon sound of a 1,000 birds chirping was heard. It can't be the Anbu thought, seeing him coming towards the dragon. Chidori, he said, tearing through it with ease, and the next moment he had the Chidori at the masked man's face while he had his Tanto on his gut. But the masked man did one thing wrong. He looked in Naruto's eyes, which stared to spin genjutsu. Sharingan. The person dropped as Naruto stopped his Chidori. Well done, came a voice as he looked up to see an Anbu in a bird mask standing. What is the meaning of this, he asked. It was a test to see whether you are qualified to be in Anbu forces or not, and you did well in defeating an elite Chunin. You are as good as Hokage-sama told me, and Hatake-san trained you well to use the Sharingan. But now come follow me. For the next 2 months I will be teaching you all you must know about the Anbu Blacktops. He competed. I see, then lead on, he said. 2 months later, Naruto walked in a clearing to see Kakashi standing along with their teammate. The only thing different about him was the tanto on his back. Nice to see you. After 2 months you have grown an inch, Kakashi said, looking at his prodigy who stood at 4 feet 2 inches. You look the same, he said with a grin behind his mask. You must be the Kyuubi no Jinchuriki and one with the Sharingan like Kakashi-san, said the Anbu in weasel mask. And you must be an asshole, Naruto said in a monotonous voice, but there was a smirk behind his mask. While Weasel's eye twitched. Now let's all behave and stop calling each other names. Naruto, this is Weasel, or you can call him Itachi Uchiha while not on missions, and Itachi, this is my apprentice Naruto Uzumaki. He introduced the two. Don't you think he will slow us down? He's not even 8 inches, Itachi said as Naruto shot him a glare, removing his mask. Then how about a spar, he said as Itachi removed his own as both his fully matured Sharingan stared at Naruto's single one. You may have fully matured your Sharingan, but you are no match for a natural Uchiha like me, he said. Then why don't we test that theory? Naruto said. Very well, he said. Alright you two, I will be the proctor, Kakashi said as the two nodded and soon got in their particular stances. Naruto instantly threw 6 kunai at Itachi, who jumped up and made seals as Naruto's eyes began to spin. Kaden Gokyu no Jutsu. The two fired equal-sized fireballs at each other as Kakashi-san said he was able to naturally adapt to the Sharingan like any Uchiha and can use it like one, Itachi thought, making seals as Naruto's eyes began to spin again. Kaden Hosen Kano Jutsu. Only Itachi fired as Naruto took out his tanto and came at Itachi, dodging the fireballs, soon charging his weapon with lightning chakra clask. Itachi's katana, which was also coated with chakra, met Naruto's tanto, their Sharingan glaring into each other. Soon they separated and engaged in a kenjutsu battle, clashing their blades. Amazing, he's copying my katas while fighting and mixing it with his own, so I cannot predict it. But Itachi gave a hard punch to his gut. It is not enough to beat me, he thought. Puff. Naruto dispelled surprising him cage bunshine, he thought, seeing Naruto jump down, and he made fast seals. Suten Water Dragon Missile. Itachi fired at Naruto, who made quick seals. Kaden Gokyu no Jutsu. He fired as the two attacks met, creating mist. Soon sound of 1,000 birds chirping was heard. He's not going to use it on Itachi, as he, Kakashi, thought, as mist cleared, reveling Naruto standing with the Chidori in his hand and Itachi with his katana on his neck. You lose, he said, but Naruto smirked. Boom. The clearing exploded. Bunshine Bakadon. Where did he learn that, Kakashi thought. Soon the smoke cleared, revealing Naruto and Itachi. Both were huffing. Alright, I call it a tie, Kakashi said. You took me by surprise with the last jutsu, Itachi said as Naruto smirked. Then how about you teach me how to use my fire affinity, and I won't tell anyone in the force that you got beat by a person who is not even 8 inches, he said as Itachi looked at him for a moment with an emotionless face before smirking. Fair deal, he said. Now that's the start of a good bond, Kakashi thought with an eye smile. 6 months later, Team Ro, or Team Sharingan as the Hokage called it, had done many missions in the span of 6 months and never failed one. The entire division were interested in them because they had made a name and reputation for themselves. Naruto made a tiger seal. Kaden Gokyu no Jutsu. He fired a big fireball over the lake. You are almost there, but yet to perfect it like me, Itachi said, coming from behind him as he grinned. Don't worry, I will surpass you in no time, Team Naruto said as Itachi gave his friend/rival an emotionless face. Yes, but first you need to become an official operative, but for now you are junior operative. He stressed on the word junior with mirth in his voice as Naruto glared at him. Nanda Team. You heard me, you blonde bastard, he said, matching the glare. Alright, stop this, came a voice. Kakashi Sensei, Naruto said. Hokage-sama has summoned us, he said. Mission? Itachi asked as Kakashi gave him a nod. They quickly put on their masks and disappeared via Sunshin. Ah, Team Ro, nice of you to get here, the cage said as they knelt. What is the mission, Hokage-sama? Kakashi asked. It is an S-rank mission, he said as they got serious. There is a secret scroll exchange between Konoha and Kuza, but I feel something fishy about this, so you're to follow Guy and his team and eliminate anyone who seems like a threat to the mission. Hiruzen said. Hi Hokage-sama. The three bow disappearing. All seems fine till now, Naruto said. Yes, but keep your eyes open for any sign of threat, Itachi told his friend. 6 presences, Kakashi said as they saw 6 Anbu going towards Team Guy. It can't be them, Kakashi thought. Shall we intercept? Naruto asked as Kakashi nodded. They dropped in front of the 6. What is your objective? Kakashi asked. It is none of your business, one said. Any idea who they are? Naruto asked. If I am correct, they are Root Danzo's personal Anbu, Kakashi said. It seems you know us very well. We will dispose of you, the one in the middle said Crash. They all looked around to see Kuza Anbu attacking the Konoha team as we expected. The exchange was hoax. Itachi said, are you going to help us? Kakashi asked. No. The same operative replied, you both save the team, I will take care of them. Naruto said, you can't be serious. Itachi said, yes it is too. Do you trust me? He asked as the two looked at him. You are throwing your life, it's very illogical, Itachi said as Naruto smiled behind his mask. It is, but even if I do die it won't be in vain if it is to protect the lives of our comrades, even if I have to go through these scum, he said looking at the root Anbu as Itachi looked at him. Let's put our faith in him, Itachi. Kakashi said as Itachi nodded. Don't die, I don't plan to, he said as the two jumped away. Look, they left a kid for us to play. One said, let's deal with him quickly and complete our objective. The leader said, defeat me? How foolish, he said, making a tiger seal katen. Gokakyu no jutsu. He fired as two made seals Suten water while they fired to protect themselves, creating mist, but when it cleared they had their eyes wide to see Naruto's hand through their leader's chest as it chirped and made menacing noises. One came at him to cut him with his katana, but Naruto stopped it with his forearm protector. Then his eyes met the person's as he dropped. The others had separated by now. One made seals Suten water bullet he fired, but Naruto puffed, whereas they thought, but then a fireball hit one on the gut. The three decided to retreat but saw several copies of the Anbu surround them as each threw a shuriken and made a tiger seal ninpo. Shuriken Cage Bunshine, they called out as hundreds of shurikens come at the three root operatives all at once, finishing them off. Soon the clones dispelled, making Naruto huffed as Itachi and Kakashi dropped. You did well, mission complete, let's head home, Dog said as the other two nodded. But unknown to them another root operative looked from the shadows. I must report this to Danzo-sama, he thought. Next day, they knelt in front of Hiruzen, and that's how the mission went. Hokage-sama, Kakashi explained. I see, well done Team Ro, you have done excellently well. I suppose time now. Junior Anbu puppy, the cage said. Hi, seeing you actions on the field, I have decided to make you a permanent member of Anbu Black Ops until you decide to resign. That is he surprising Naruto, you deserve it, Kakashi said as Itachi also nodded with a smile behind his mask. As of now you are Operative Fox, he said, putting the fox mask on his desk as Naruto looked at it, then took off his puppy mask as wore the fox mask. I hope to serve you well, he said. Oh, I know that you will now, Itachi Uchiha. As of now you are a section chief of the Black Ops, he said, making all eyes wide. Thank you, Hokage-sama, he bowed. You deserve it, Weasel, he said. So I guess this is where we go our separate ways, Naruto said. I guess it is, friend, Itachi said, moving his hand forward as Naruto shook it. I wish you best of luck out there, Itachi. Kakashi said. Thank you, Kakashi-senpai, he said. This is our new teammate Kat, or you could call her Yuga Uzuki, Kakashi said as the purple-haired Anbu looked at the fox-masked one. He's a kid, Naruto finished, making her eyes wide. How did he read your mind? I guess you will never know, he said with a smirk behind his mask. Yuga, this is my apprentice Operative Fox, aka Uzumaki, Naruto, Kakashi said, shocking her. 6 months later, Naruto, Kakashi and Yugao had completed many missions together, and three had bonded well. Yugao even taught Naruto Kenjutsu. Itachi had met him for the first 2 months, but after that they rarely met, and it has been 2 months since the blonde has met his friend, which was why he was headed to the Nakata Shrine Bank, where he would often find his friend. As he got closer he saw Itachi conversing with Sunshin no Shisui himself, so he decided to hide himself. It is out of control, Itachi. The clan is now hell-bent for throwing over the Sandime, though I have already told him of it. I fear we have a civil war at our hands, or even worse, the fourth shinobi war, Shisui said, shocking Naruto. Yes, my father is all for the coup d'etat. If he is not stopped then we will have to, because we cannot put Konoha's security at risk, Itachi replied. I will use my Koto Amatsu Kami on your father. I will go inform Hokage-sama, Shisui said, disappearing via Sunshin. Crackwist thumped the kunai hit the tree bark, but Itachi's eyes were wide now. Is it true, Itachi? Naruto asked. So you heard everything? He said. I did, he said. Then we have much to talk about, he said. 1 hour later. I see, so they are after me, or rather what's in me, Naruto said as Itachi nodded. Yes. He suddenly looked towards east. What is it? Naruto asked. It is Shisui's chakra. I can sense it, and it has gone to a very high level, he said. He must be in trouble. Let's go check it out, Naruto said as Itachi nodded, and the two disappeared. Damn, it is Danzo again. Naruto looks like he was after Shisui's eye and already has one, Itachi said. Let's finish them off, Naruto said, making a half tiger seal katen. Gokakyu no Jutsu, he fired as the ball hit one of the roots in the gut as Itachi did the same. Lastly, Naruto charged a Chidori and put it through the last one's chest after appearing before him. Itachi, you came? Shisui said. Of course I did, he said. And you are? Shisui asked as Naruto took off his mask. Uzumaki, Naruto, he said, making his eyes wide. Break. Itachi, the future of the clan is on your shoulders, and while you are not an Uchiha you carry our eye. Naruto, use it well and protect Konoha, Shisui said as the two nodded. Now Itachi, do it, Shisui said, standing on the cliff as a tear fell from Itachi's eye after stabbing his friend who died with a smile falling off the cliff. Itachi, your eyes, Naruto said as the Uchiha looked at him with his newly acquired Mangekyo Sharingan. I know what I must to do now to protect Konoha, he said. 1 week later. I I wish things would not have ended the way they did for it to boil down to this point, Naruto said, standing in front of his friend. None of us did, Naruto, but thanks for being here, it helps, he said. Take care of yourself, Itachi, don't worry, I will look after your little brother. We will meet sooner or later now that you are going to join Akatsuki and hunt me down, he said as Itachi nodded. Yes, be prepared for the future since it is uncertain. Watch out for the man in the orange mask. He calls himself Madara Uchiha, though I know he is lying, it does not make him less dangerous, he said as Naruto replied with a nod. I guess this is goodbye for now, he said, moving his hand forward as Itachi shook it. Until we meet again, he said, letting go and disappearing into the night while Naruto looked at the sky in sorrow. The very same day it was the news of Konoha that Itachi Uchiha had killed his whole clan, only leaving his little brother behind, and also he had attacked one Naruto Uzumaki who had lost his left eye and it had been replaced by a Sharingan from a dead Uchiha. What do you mean you will not inform us where he is? Koharu yelled. Exactly, we are the elders, we must. Homura felt a big key. You are my advisors, don't mistaken it as if you have the power over my decisions. Naruto Uzumaki's location is kept a secret for his protection, will not be revealed, not to anyone, he said. This is not over, Danzo said, standing up. It is if you know what's good for you. Danzo, don't cross me or I shall show you exactly why I am a Hokage, he threatened. He seems different, Homura thought. What do you mean you are leaving the force? Naruto yelled. Senpai, you can't. Yugao argued as Kakashi sighed. I must, because I think my time in the shadows has come to an end after Itachi. Don't you dare blame yourself, Naruto yelled as Kakashi put a hand on his shoulder. You will understand this burden once you become a leader. Now I will continue to train you, but I think you are good enough to look after yourself on the field, Kakashi said as Naruto's bangs covered his eyes, but he nodded. Don't worry, Senpai, I will look after him, Yugao reassured him as Kakashi nodded and left via Sunshin. 3 months later, whiz came the sound as Naruto cut the whole waterfall with wind chakra. You did it. It is complete, Kakashi said with an eye smile as he grinned. Naruto was 9 years old now, standing at 4 feet 5 inches, his hair gravity defying like his master due to his headband tied over his left eye to cover his Sharingan. Currently he was in shorts, but then Yugao appeared. We have mission, get ready, she said as he nodded. I will see you later, Sensei, he said as Kakashi nodded as well. Good luck, he said as Naruto grinned. Tell that to my enemy, he said, unsealing his uniform along with his mask. Naruto, Yugao and their 3 other teammates who were Duckal and Lizard stood in front of the cage. Naruto was in his Anbu uniform with fox mask on and a katana on his back. This a secret S-rank mission for this team, Hiruzen said. What is the objective, Hokage-sama? Cat asked. We have received some information on Orochimaru and one of his bases here inside Land of Fire. Your mission is to infiltrate it and find anything on him or his objectives. Now go, he said. We accept, Hokage-sama. Cat said. One more thing, there is another person who will be going with you, he said. Don't tell me, Yugao said in a shaky voice. It is me, bitches, Anko said, entering through the window with a dango in her mouth and a grin on her face as all sweat dropped. As you all know, Anko Madarashi, Hiruzen said. Hey, what's a kid doing here, she asked. Not much of a talker, I see, she said with a grin. You will pay for this, old coot, Naruto thought, looking at the amusement on Hiruzen's face. Very well, let's leave, Yugao said as all nodded. So kid, are not you little too early to join Anbu, she asked. Age has nothing to do with skill, Fox said. Also you do speak, she said. I wish you don't, you are annoying, he said, jumping ahead as Anko pouted. One day later. There it is, Yugao said. What are we waiting for, Anko asked. Don't you see the guards, Naruto said as she looked at the gates protected by 10 ninja. How are we doing this too, she duck asked. But before Yugao could say something, I got this, Fox said. Very well, Fox Cat said as he disappeared. You entrusted a kid to defeat 10 ninja at once, Anko asked. Oh, he is very reliable, just watch, Yugao said as all eyes were on Naruto, who threw a kunai to kill one. Who the hell was that? One yelled, but then many smoke bombs dropped around, covering the whole place with smoke, and when it cleared, the 10 ninja had vanished. Only Naruto remained with a katana covered with blood in his hand. Let's move, and Yugao said as all nodded while Anko was shocked. The kid is brutal, she thought. They all were inside the base. Disgusting, Naruto said, looking around. That's Orochimaru for you, Anko said. 10 o'clock, Lizard said as all had their kunai ready, but only to see it was a red-headed girl with glasses who was afraid. Who are you people, she shuddered as Naruto moved ahead. Don't come near me, she said. It is okay, tell us, why are you in Orochimaru's base? Naruto asked. Why should I? You may as well kill me, she said, but then Naruto took off his mask, surprising Anko. Isn't he the Kyuubi child, she thought, looking at his Sharingan in left eye. So the rumors were true, she thought, looking at Naruto, who slowly made his way towards the girl. My name is Uzumaki. Naruto, what is yours, he asked. Karen, she said as he smiled. Well then, Karen, why are you here, he asked. Orochimaru brought me here saying he is in need of me, she said. Then how about you come with us to Konoha, out of this life, and live as you want, he offered, making her eyes wide. But why, you don't even know me, she said as he smiled. Sure I don't, but I can still help you. People have many reasons to hurt each other, but to help someone, is there a reason needed, he asked, shocking her. He's not lying, I can feel it. His chakra is bright and warm, she thought. Alright, I will come, she said. Good, but before we leave, can you tell us where we can find information on Orochimaru here, he asked. Sure, I will show you, she said. Throughout the whole ordeal Anko was trying to figure Naruto out. How can he be a cold-blooded killer and kind at the same time? The blonde was a mystery to her. They had gotten all they needed from the hideout and were heading towards Konoha with Karen when they looked up to see many ninja drop. We will kill you for defying Orochimaru-sama. One said. Kill us? How foolish, Naruto said, charging a Chidori in his right hand. Shug chakra to Karen thought with wide eyes as she saw him placing his hand on the ground. Chidori Nagashi, he called as the whole area was covered with lightning, taking all the ninja all at once. Good, now that is done with. Duck, seal them up. They are still alive so we can interrogate them later. Yugao ordered. Hi-Toshi, he said, getting to work. Hokage's office. The Hokage stared at Karen, who seemed to have clutched to Naruto's hand. So this is Karen, he asked as Naruto nodded. Yes, she would like to join the village, he said. Very well, she will be sent. No, she will not go to any orphanage, she will stay with me at my house, Naruto said as the cage narrowed his eyes. Are you sure you can take that sort of responsibility, he asked. Well, I became the youngest Anbu Black Hop in history and am assigned to the regular S-ranked missions of the Anbu. How much responsibility do you want, he asked as Hiru's inside. Very well, but it depends on her, he said as the two looked at Karen. I will go with Nissan, she said as Naruto gave he a nice smile. Nissan, already. Hey, it is nice see you having a family, Naruto-kun. Hiruzen thought with a smile. Very well. As of now you are her legal guardian, he said as Naruto nodded. Let's go home, he said with a smile. Hi, Karen said as they disappeared via Sunshin. They appeared as a clearing outside the village where a two-storied house was there. The middle. That's your house, Karen asked. Yes, he said. How can you afford that, she said as he rubbed the back of his head. Well, I do a lot of missions, he said as they opened the door. On ice to see you are back, Kakashi said, then stopping in his tracks. Nissan, is this your father, Karen asked. Nissan? What is going on, Naruto, Kakashi asked as he rubbed the back of his head. Why don't we go in and talk, he asked as the two looked at each other and nodded. Nani? You are her legal guardian, Kakashi asked with his eyes bulged. Or what's with him, Karen asked as Naruto sighed. Well, it happens sometimes, you know. I put him in a state of shock, he said. I see, she said. Time skip. 1 year 2 months. The last 14 months had been great for Naruto. Living with Karen and Kakashi made him feel like he had a family, with Kakashi as the older brother and Karen as their sweet loving sister. But also he was an Anbu captain now with a D of his own, since Yugao was made section chief. But he was now the youngest captain in history with 0 mission failures and never a loss of a comrade. But his identity has only limited in the force outside. No one knew, not even the clan heads. Now Naruto stood in the clearing with his eyes closed, then he jumped, dodging a kunai barrage clash. His katana was against a tando held by an Anbu operative as he kicked him away. Suten, water trumpet 1 wired from above as he made lightning quick seals. Doden, Doriyuki, he created a wall with fox faces, but then another made a snake seal. Makuten, great forest technique, he called as many spikes came at him from the bird-masked Anbu's hand, but he quickly charged a Chidori and cut through the technique with ease. But as he reached close, the Anbu turned into a wood log. Makuten, wood prison jutsu, the real one, called out as big prison formed around Naruto as the 6 Anbu dropped. We got you now, Captain Lizard said as Naruto shook his head. You never learned, do you, he said as lightning crinkled around him. Chidori Nagashi, he destroyed the whole prison and took out his katana, making a half tiger seal. Shit, they thought Dance of the Crescent Moon, he said, coming at them with loads of clones. In a dark room, Shimura Danzo sat in him chair as 3 Rootnin knelt in front of him. You know your mission, don't you, he asked. Hi Danzo-sama, they said, disappearing soon, he thought. Outside the house, Karen hummed, watering her plants, but then her eyes were wide as she dropped the jug as 3 masked men looking like Anbu dropped. Karen, Uzumaki, you are to come with us, one said in a monotonous voice. No way in hell I am, she said. Then we will use force, one said, taking out his kunai and disappearing. Slicer, Karen said, clutching her left hand as the masked man came to knock her out, but then sound of 1,000 birds were heard. Thump, the Anbu fell on the ground dead. The other 2 were shaking due to the intensity of the ki. Naruto ni, Karen said with wide eyes, but he did not say a word and looked at the 2 root Anbu, his Sharingan glaring at them. You have come to your deaths, he said, disappearing. Chop, both their heads fell on the floor as Naruto stood with his bloody katana. He has gone too far, he slowly said as 20 clones puffed in existence. Now you will know the horror, Danzo, he yelled, jumping away. Mate, Karen yelled, but a clone placed a hand on her shoulder and shook his head. Don't, the boss is very pissed right now, he said, but he can't attack an elder like that, she said. You as well as I know he does not care about that, another said while healing her wound. Be safe, Nissan, she thought. Danzo sat on his chair calmly when boom, there was a huge explosion in the base. Fu, what is the meaning of this, he asked. We do not know, Danzo-sama, he said. Let's see who dares to attack me, he said, getting up. Danzo with 40 of his root Anbu looked at the smoke as Naruto emerged. What is the meaning of this, he asked in a stern voice. You dare, Danzo, after attacking my sister, you spineless fool, you will die here today, he said as Danzo smirked. The only one dying here today is you, he said. Soka, came a voice as they looked up to find the whole assault division of Anbu there along with Kakashi, who glared at the elder. It is over for you, Danzo. The Sandom may have forgiven you for trying to to assassinate him, but I am not the Sandaime. You hurt my family, you die, he said, uncovering his headband, revealing his Sharingan with a scar on his left eye. Foolish boy, do you really think you can beat me? He said, of course I do. This battle will be between you and me and no one will interfere, he said. Very well, you are an useless weapon after all. I will rid of you once and for all for the sake of Konohagakure no Sato, he said, making a dog seal and taking in air, but Naruto intercepted it with ease as lightning crinkled throughout his body violently. Ultimate Chidori Nagashi, he yelled as the whole floor crinkled with lightning, destroying everything in its way and also catching Danzo by surprise. Boom. Did he get him? Yugao asked as Kakashi shook him head. It is not that easy, he said, looking down at Naruto, who stood calmly but jumped, seeing a wind blade coming to cut him in half, only to see Danzo above Puff Cage Bunshine. Where is he? Danzo thought to work. Danzo said with wide eyes as a sword impaled him. You don't think I don't know about your little secret? Naruto whispered, shocking Danzo. He knows, he thought, disappearing 10. He came from behind Naruto to stab him, and he did, shocking all the Anbu. You will die before you reveal anyone the secret, Danzo whispered in his ear, but he smirked. I don't plan on dying before I become Hokage, he said, putting his fingers through Danzo's right socket and snatching the eye out and throwing it away. Izanagi, Danzo thought, but he didn't work as he looked at his arm to see a chakra suppression seal. No. You brat, what have you done? He yelled as Naruto turned into lightning, starting him. Slice the real one, sliced his right arm off, then threw a kunai with a paper bomb on it. Boom. No, he yelled. Danzo-sama, many roots yelled, trying to interfere, but the Black Ops came in their way. Ladies and gents, let me tell you the truth about Shimura Danzo, Naruto said, showing them the Sharingan, making all eyes wide. This is the eye of Uchiha Shisui, which contained the strongest genjutsu in existence, Koto Amatsu Kami, to gain the power. The full murdered Shisui in cold blood, but now I will put Shisui's soul to rest, Naruto said, dropping it and then crushing it. No. This is your last lesson in life, Danzo, and the most important one. Don't fuck with me, Naruto said, creating a Rasengan, making many eyes wide, but soon lightning crinkled around it and then menacing sound of birds chirping was heard. This is your end, Razandori, Naruto said. He completed it, Kakashi thought with wide eyes. Stop this now, came a booming voice as all turned around to see the Sandaime Sarutobi Hiruzen standing with anger visible on his face along with the commander as all the Anbu bowed and Naruto stopped his jutsu. All the operatives knelt in front of an angry Hiruzen. Do you know what you have done, you fools? He scolded. We don't regret our actions, Hokage-sama. Cat said, you attacked an elder. Do you understand the gravity of the situation? He asked. I will take the responsibility, Naruto said, making their eyes wide, but Tochiduk said, but was cut off when he saw the look Naruto gave him, which screamed, shut up. Then Naruto looked at Hiruzen. I will take responsibility for everything. This unit is my family and they followed me, which is why they are not to blame, so whatever be the punishment I will accept it, he said, making all their eyes wide, and soon the murmurs and protests begun, but it stopped as Hiruzen raised his hand. So you take responsibility? He asked. Hi, he said. Very well, as of now, you are responsible for the whole unit, he said, shocking the whole unit as well as Naruto. Raised Naruto Uzumaki, codename Fox, the hero of the Sharingan and the new chief of the Anbu Assault Division, Hiruzen said with a smile as Naruto stood up and bowed. Hi, Hokage-sama, he said, while at the back Kakashi smiled. He has grown up so much now, he thought. Yet again Naruto made history by becoming the youngest Anbu chief in history and well as youngest member of the Hokage's personal guard. Naruto came home with Kakashi only to see a red blur, and the next thing he knew he was on the floor chuckling. Don't scare me like that, Nissan. Karen yelled. Don't worry, I don't intend to, but after this Danzo knows that he must not fuck with me, he said with a grin as Karen snuggled into his chest. He put his hands through her hair while Kakashi smiled, looking at the scene. So instead of kicking you out, Hokage-sama promoted you, Karen said in surprise. Yes, you are looking at the new chief of the assault section and newest member of the Hokage's personal guard, he said with a grin as Karen hugged him. Shugoni-san, he said. I'm proud, Naruto, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Thanks, sensei, he said with a smile. I shall not forget this humiliation you will pay, Naruto Uzumaki, and I will make sure of it, Danzo thought, seething because Naruto had made him what he hated the most, i.e. being powerless. Naruto made a half-tiger seal, summoning a crow. Soon he took out a scroll and puff a jar appeared. It is good that I had saved it because I knew I would need it someday against Madara, he thought, looking at Shisui's eye floating in the water as he took it out and placed it on the crow with a medical jutsu, and then the crow puffed away. I'm wondering how is Itachi right now? It's been some time since we talked, he thought, but then he shook his head and went in, but unknown to him a crow with similar eyes was watching him, and then it puffed away, appearing in a cave where a pair of red eyes opened. The Sharingan met the Sharingan as Itachi smiled. I'm glad to see that you are doing well, but you need to become even more stronger because I have seen the true extent of the Akatsuki's powers, he thought. Time skipped 6 months. The leader of the rebels, Mitemurari, sat in front of the Sandaime and the elders with an angry expression on her the face. So you refuse to aid us, she asked. Yes, we have nothing to gain, Koharu said. Why should we sacrifice our shinobi for the people who had killed many of her own? Homura said. Perhaps you are living in the past, came a voice as all looked at the person in the Anbu uniform standing at 5 feet 1 inch wearing a fox mask. Captain Fox, you are not permitted to be here, the commander said, stepping out. I'm not, but I don't require your permission, he said. Why you? Koharu was stopped in her speech when Hiruzen raised his hand. So are you suggesting we should assist the rebels, the Cage asked, while my the blonde I do, because Kiri is neither our ally nor our enemy, but it won't hurt if we gain an ally, sighed Suna. He said, brat, you don't know. What are you talking about? You don't know war? Homura said, yes, I have not been to war, but neither have the two of you, old bones. If you had, you would be dead by now, and as much as I hate Danzo, he has sacrificed much for the village and has led in every war. That's why he is the darkness of the shinobi and I'm some of the light, while the two of you are basically waste of the Nedam's teachings, he said, shocking Mai, because never had she seen an Anbu talk this way to the village elders. Why you? Enough, Sarutobi yelled as they all shut up. You will not talk this way to your superiors, Hiruzen scolded. Fox, I thought you always asked me to be honest, and I'm doing just that. Being honest, said as both elders glared at him. Sigh. So you want to go to war? Hiruzen asked as he nodded. I have my reasons, first being because it's the right thing to do, and second because of the Akatsuki's involvement in Kiri, he said, making all eyes wide. How do you get such information? Mai asked, narrowing her eyes. I'm resourceful, he said with a shrug. Is it true, Mai-san? Hiruzen asked. Yes, it is. Some people have seen it and believe that the Yondaime is being controlled by someone, and many have sighted a man in black cloak with red clouds, she said. Then we should not be sending Fox at all cost, Homura said. If I don't go, it will make me cowards like you, he said. Foolish bra, all quiet down, Hiruzen said, rubbing his chin. Very well, we will help you, Mai-san, but our involvement cannot be known. If it is, we will face another big war, he said. I understand, she said. Hiruzen, you can't be serious, Koharu said, but he ignored her. Captain Fox, you will be leading your team to assist Mai-san, he said. Hi Hokage Sama, he said with a bow. No offense, Hokage Sama, even if he is a captain, isn't he a bit too young? Mai said as Hiruzen smiled. Age has nothing to do with his skill. After all, he made Anbu at 8, a captain at 10 and not 6 months age. The chief of the Anbu assault division, Hiruzen said, making her eyes wide as she looked at him. His identity will only be known to you, Mai-san. He is Naruto. Removed his mask, revealing his face as well as his Sharingan. Uzumaki Naruto, hero of the Sharingan, he said. Then Hokage-sama, I trust your judgment and accept your help, she said. Naruto-kun, prepare your team for going to Kiri. Say your goodbye, since you may not return from such a mission, since if you and your team is caught, Konoha will deny having any connections to you or your team, he said. Very well, Hokage-sama, he said, disappearing. So you are going to Kiri to fight for the rebels? Duck asked. And if we are caught, we will not be recognized by Konoha? Dragon said. Yes, but I will not force any of you. You all must take the decision on your own, Naruto said as the murmurs broke between the Anbu. We will follow you to hell, Captain Lizard said, because we know you do the same, Rat said as all nodded in agreement, making Naruto smile. Thank you all, your support means a lot. I will try my best to lead you best way possible, he said as all nodded. Good, be prepared, we leave in 2 days, he said. Hi. The 19 said, then disappearing along with Naruto. Karen dropped the bowl from her hands and looked at Naruto with wide eyes. Why you can't, she shuddered, but he looked away. I'm sorry, but I must, he said as Karen quickly banged his chest. No, I will not let you, she yelled as Naruto hugged her. I can't lose you. You're the only family I have, she said. You won't, he said. Then promise me that, she said. You know I can't do that, he said. But I'm a shinobi, Karen, and struggle is the way of the shinobi. I need to stop this bloodshed once and for all, he said. But you can't stop this war alone, she said. I can't, which is why my team has decided to follow me. I can't betray their trust now, he said. But I don't want you to leave, she said, snuggling closer. Needs of the many come before the needs of a few, he said. 2 days later, Naruto looked at Kakashi, who gave him an eye smile. I wish you the best. Return home safe, he said. Don't worry, I intend to, sensei, he said with a smile. Then he looked at Karen. When will you return, she asked. As soon as it is done I will, he said, kissing her forehead. Be safe, he said. Then turning around to look at his team ready to kick some booty, he asked with a grin as they all grinned. Hi, they said. Good, then off we go, he said. All 20 knelt in front of the Hokage and Mai. You all know about the mission and the consequences, Hiruzen asked. Hi, they said. Very well, you must follow her every command until the war ends. She is the rebel leader, Mai Tamuri, along with her Archojuro, her second in command, as well as our first in command. I wish you all good luck, Hiruzen said. All right everyone, we will begin our journey from here, Mai said as they bowed and got up. Naruto made a few signs and all disappeared. They will scout the area. I will be alongside you all the time, Fox said. Very well, Captain, Mai said. 3 days later, they had traveled to Kiri and have landed on the island and now made their way to the rebel base. There is something wrong about this place, Chojuro said. 100 presences, Naruto said, making all eyes wide. Yes, he is correct. They coming at us. Ao said. Do not worry, we will handle this, Naruto said, making a seal and disappearing along with his team. Do you think they can alone deal with 100 shinobi? Chojuro asked. I don't know, but if they are as good as the Hokage said they are, then they can, Mai said. Naruto along with his 19 dropped in front of the 100, stopping them in the clearing. Who are you and why do you interfere? One of the Kiri shinobi asked, but no answer except Fox making a sign as Dan made seal suit and Keppodama the fired as the Kiri shinobi also made seal suit. water while they protected themselves, but then large chirping sounds was heard as all looked at the fox-masked Anbu, who had lightning crinkling around his palm as he placed it on the ground. Chidori Nagashi. The water conducted the electricity as many got shocked, but many were safe. Fox made a sign to fight as Hour himself made a half-tiger seal dance of the crescent moon. Many copies were created as he along with his team came at the Kiri shinobi all at once. He is as good as the Sandaime, said my thought looking from afar. What a shinobi. Konoha certainly creates many monsters. Al thought. 6 months later. It has been 6 months since Naruto and his team came to Kiri. At first everyone were suspicious on the 20 shinobi, but together they had made 32 raids and were never unsuccessful, freeing every little town one after the other, and became very popular and feared at the same time, known as the Deadly 20. And most of all, the unknown shinobi with fox mask was very feared, and in the rebel base all respected him. Currently Naruto was having an all-out training session with his clone when he looked back to see how coming Fox-san. My-sama has summoned you, he said. Very well, he said, dispelling his clones and then disappearing. How can he create that many clones without exhaustion is beyond me, Al thought, shaking his head. Naruto walked inside the tent to see leaders of many clans seated there along with Mai-all giving him a nod of respect as he nodded back. I'm glad you joined us, Fox. Now we can start the meeting, she said as he nodded and took a seat. My-sama, I think we should attack now. We may be winning, but we are low on resources, one said. What if we lose our forces altogether due to our impatience? Another said we can't afford the war any longer than it has been. Another said I agree, Fox said as all shut up and looked at him. Do you think we should attack now? Mai asked. That is up to you. Me and my team will infiltrate the walls of Kiri and open the doors for you, he said. Are you sure? She asked. Have I ever failed you before? He asked. No. Then I will do it, he said. Then what are you going to join us? One asked. No, we will return home, he said, making their eyes wide. Why? Mai asked. Dealing with the Yondaime is your task, not ours, since you are to become the 5th Mizukage, he said. Just where will you go? One asked. Our alias will be revealed if you win the war. That was the deal with Mai-san, he said. Very well, Captain, you have 2 days to prepare your team, because in 2 days we will end this bloody war, she said as all cheered. So we open the gates and we are done? Al said. Yes, once we do our mission is complete and we go home. Naruto said. Alright, what is the plan? Captain Duck asked. I have the plans regarding the security detail of Kiri in this scroll. According to that we will make our plan, he said. Hi, they said. All the 20 stood before my dark in the night. You have served me well for the period of 6 months, and if we win this war the alliance between Konoha and Kiri is done, but that depends on the 20 of you and you opening the gates. Mai said. Hi, Mai-sama, they said. Now go and be victorious, she said as they jumped away into the night. The Kiri Anbu were manning the wall. It was dark in the night, but what they did not notice was the black crows coming towards them, and only noticed it until they were near their face, distracting them. But before they knew it they had someone standing behind them. Slice, they dropped on the floor as Naruto dropped in front of his team. Good work, now get rid of them and start knocking out the guards. On patrol, he signaled. Hi. One after the other the guards fell, and in an hour it was clear for them to open the gates. Let's do it, Naruto said as they all nodded and were heading towards the gate when someone dropped in front of them, and behind them 10 Kiri Anbu. That's the Anbu commander. Duck said. So you must be the feared 20 shinobi from the rebel side, and you must be their leader. Fox, you are much younger than I had expected, the commander said. You all deal with him, I will deal with him, and once you are done open the gates, Naruto ordered. Hi, it will not be easy, the Kiri Anbu commander said, making seals as Naruto's Sharingan began to spin. Suten Water Dragon Missile. The two fired together. It is the Sharingan, but all Uchiha are dead and he is neither the survivor nor Sharingan no Kakashi with that blonde hair, which means he is a Sharingan implanted, the commander thought, seeing Naruto making a half-tiger seal Katen Gokaku no Jutsu. He fired as the commander made seals Suten Water Ball Jutsu. He fired as the two attacks met, creating mist, but in the mist clashing sounds could be heard when it cleared. Naruto's katana was against the commander as they clashed, but then the commander turned into Mizubunshine. Naruto thought shine. He yelled, impaling his katana through Naruto from behind, only for him to turn into Mud clone. He thought, then his eyes were wide as he looked beside him to see Naruto with a ram seal Doden. Mud River, he said, catching him in the river. Doden. Doryudan, he said as a dragon's mouth rose up and fired mud balls at the Kiri commander Katen. And Naruto added as it hit him, but he turned into water again. Mada Mizubunshine Ka, he thought, watching him drop. You are strong, Kitsune, indeed as strong as the rumor say you are, but I am the commander of the Kiri Anbu and I will protect my village with everything, he said. If you wanted to protect the village you could have killed the Yondaime long age to end this bloody war. That's because you have been an Anbu for so long that you have lost your sense of reason in following orders blindly, leading to 20 years of bloodshed of your own shinobi and people because they were not born as same as you. Naruto said, are you saying that you will defy your cage? He asked. I took an oath to protect the will of fire at all cost, and if I have go against my cage to protect my village I will do so without a second thought, because unlike you I am no one's puppet. Whatever orders I receive I will only perform if it is to protect the village. That is what separates a shinobi and a puppet, he replied. That's all foolish talk, he said, biting his thumb and spraying it on the ground. Summoning jutsu, he said, summoning a big crab. Now your end has come, he said as the crab opened its mouth to launch a big water gun at him as he jumped to dodge it, but only be grabbed by it. His hand shine. The commander yelled, crushing him, only for him to turn into a flock of crows, making his eyes wide as he looked up. So see Naruto coming at him, Rikiri. He yelled, impaling him. Puff, the crab disappeared. Perhaps you were right, I failed to protect my village, the commander said, slowly dropping on the ground. We all make mistakes, but don't worry now, soon the sunrise of peace will shine upon Kiri, he said, then turning towards his team who were done by now. Open them, he ordered. Hi, they said, opening the gates as Naruto went out. He looked at the sky and launched a fireball, giving the rebel forces the signal, then turning around to look at his team. Our work here is done, let's go home, he said as all smiled behind their masks. Hi to she, they said as Naruto ran out and they followed him. Mai, who had now ended the long civil war of the hidden mist and the candidate for the Godai Mizukage, looked at the dawn with a smile as it fell over her homeland. Uzumaki, Naruto, I am forever indebted to you for your help in ending this far. I hope someday I will pay you back for this peace. Right now, she thought, looking at the view. 3 days later, Karen was playing shogi with Kakashi. She was depressed, not having heard from her brother for 6 months now. Kakashi had noticed her sadness, but there was a little he could do. Only Naruto could make her smile again. As they were playing, Karen's eyes were wide open. That chakra, she thought, rushing towards the gates, while Kakashi just smiled. She made it to the front door to open it and see no one was there, making her sad, but then she looked up again to look at Naruto as he stood leaning against the door with his arms folded, while Karen just looked at him with wide eyes. Are you going to stare at me all day, or am I getting a ha? He asked as all he saw was a red blur, and next thing he knew he was knocked on his ass. Oni-chan, I missed you, she said, snuggling into his chest as he chuckled. I missed you more, he said, hugging her back. Glad to see you made it back in one piece, Kakashi said, coming in the view. Well sensei, it is me. I mean, what could ever go wrong, he asked. Kaki is ever glad to see you, haven't changed much, he said with an eye smile as he just grinned back. Chapter 2. Time skip 2 years 6 months. It has been 2.5 years since the civil war in Kiri ended, after which Konoha's involvement in the war came to light, surprising both the people of Kiri and Konoha. A treaty was signed between the two nations and they were allies, now agitating both Iwa and Kumo. In Kiri, the Deadly 20 were considered heroes, especially their fearless leader Fox, who in his final battle in the civil war defeated the feared Anbu, commander of Kiri, and opened the gates for the rebels to lay the siege. Naruto was given the Anbu Leadership Award for his success in the war and became very respected among his peers. His team was honored as well, and for the next 2 years they became most feared team in Anbu Blacktops, led by their captain Fox on every mission. Currently our hero was looking over Konoha from the top of his father's head, which was his most favorite place in Konoha because it brought a sense of peace to his mind. Kakashi-sensei? He asked. What is it, Naruto? The masked Jounin asked, standing beside his protege. Have you ever thought that your Anbu identity is becoming your only identity, like you are no longer Kakashi, just dog? He asked. Yes, I have, and this was one of the reasons I gave up the mask, he said as Naruto looked to the heavens and took a breath. Perhaps I should as well, he said, making Kakashi's eyes wide. What? His team yelled, looking at him stunned. But you can't too, Shiduck said, but Naruto sadly smiled. I must, everyone. My time in the shadows has come to an end. I cannot let the fox mask become my only identity, he said. But you could have become the commander next, Lizard said. Had I become the commander, I could have truly lost my identity, and I don't want to do that, he said. I understand, Bird said as he nodded. I put Tenzo in charge from now on. Follow his orders. He is no doubt a great leader, and always remember that you are the most feared Anbu team in Konoha because of the bond each of us share. Always maintain that bond and you will forever be undefeated, he said as all took a last bow at their fearless leader, who then disappeared in the shadows. Sarutobi Hiruzen stood on the roof of the Hokage Tower as the faint breeze passed him, but soon there was a person in his Anbu uniform wearing a fox mask in front of him as he knelt. So you have decided to resign, Hiruzen asked. Hi, he replied. You are one of the most reliable operatives I had in a decade, although I won't deny your request, but I want to know why you want to quit. What is the reason behind it, he asked as Naruto took off his mask and smiled at his surrogate grandfather. You see right through me, don't you, he asked as the cage chuckled. I do, he said as he sighed and looked up. I want to quit because I don't want to become like Danzo, who has stayed in the dark for so long that he has become darkness itself, and I have a promise to keep, one I made to an old friend, he said, giving his mask to the Hokage, who took it very well. As of now I relieve you of duty, Captain Fox Ha said, but then handing over the mask to him again, making him raise a brow. You may keep it because even if the fox has retired, he may be needed one day, he said as Naruto smiled and accepted it. Then I'll be there, he said, disappearing. What? Karen yelled as he sighed. I should stop giving you these shocks, shouldn't I, he asked, rubbing the back of his head. If you can. She shot back. Wari, he said with a nervous smile. So they promoted you to Jounin? She asked as he again chuckled nervously. Well, you see, he said. After a while the whole of Konoha heard what? Making many shudder in fear. Naruto walked inside a dark tunnel and then looked at the huge cage ahead as a pair of deep red eyes opened in the dark. So you finally came to grace me with your presence, did you? The creature said, glaring at me. I did not know you have a taste for sarcasm, QB. Maybe we can hit it off, he said. Silence, you insolent human. You will not speak to me or I will devour you, he yelled. Oh, I'm so scared, he said. Don't try my patience. I hate you and that damned eye of yours. Now leave me alone. He roared, "Oh come on, I just came here to talk," he said, "about what gaining my power or trying to control me with your damned eye." He roared, "We both know I could have done that the moment I came here by using Shisui's eye," he said as the QB glared at him with hatred. "But I don't want to control you," he said, making QB narrow his eyes on him. "Then what do you want, mortal?" he asked. "We have a common enemy," he said as QB's eyes flashed in anger. "Madara." He roared, "Exactly. After much thinking I have come to a conclusion that it may be Madara or someone with a Mangekyo Sharingan. The night of the attack that ripped you from my mother and enslaved you," he said as the QB gave out a big growl. "I take that as an yes," he said. "Speak, what do you want?" and leave. The QB said, "We are stuck together by choice or not, but as long as you are in me, Madara cannot control you, but there is no point if I fall, so I want us to work together," he said. "Never." He roared, "But Naruto did not waver. You killed both of my parents and nearly destroyed the whole village, so for that matter I should hate the very existence of you," he said, matching his eye with the beast. "But the need of many come before the needs of a few. Madara is after all the tailed beasts, and if he does get his hand on them it will be the end as we know it," he said as QB kept his contact with him. "But if there is an alliance between you and me, we can avert such situation from happening. I will continue to get stronger, and you are the most powerful being in this world. If we combine our strength we can defeat Madara once and for all," he said. "And how am I trust you? I have been around for centuries and I have seen human beings. You all are the same," he said. "True, the human beings have enslaved for long, but if you accept my proposal I will free you when I am old enough to die, as long as you promise to stay in peace and away from humans. For now the best I can do is give you access to my senses so you can feel, hear and see the world through me," he said. "And if you try to control me with your eye," he said, narrowing his eyes, "I am putting my trust in you, so I require you do the same. I vow never to try and control you. If I would, there would be no difference between me and Madara. So what is your answer, QB?" he asked as the beast grunted. "Fine brat, I will accept it," but he glared at him, leaking a huge amount of ki. "If you betray me I will devour you," he growled. "Works for me," he said with an eye smile, disappearing. "All right, everyone settle down," Iruka yelled with his big head jutsu as the class quiet down. "Now today we are going to be joined by a new student," he said, surprising them. "What? But there are not 2 days left before graduation." Kiba yelled. "Yes, Sensei. How can this be?" Sakura asked. "Well, you see, he is a special case because he has been outside the village for many years, so he could not attend the academy like you, but he was also trained to become a shinobi like you," he said. "Where is he?" Choji asked. "Right outside," Iruka said, looking at the door. "You may come in," he said as the door opened and all looked at their new classmate. Even the brooding Sasuke was interested as he entered. Oh no, he didn't care, and thought with wide eyes, looking at her brother who stood at a good height of 5.5. His body lacked any but all fat. He wore a black Anbu pants with black bandages wrapped at the shin with a pair of black ninja sandals on his feet. On top he wore a body-tight black undershirt with a black mask connected that covered half of his face. He wore a pair of black fingerless gloves with metal plating. On top he wore a modified version of the Anbu flank which was sleeveless. His hair was spiky blonde which was gravity-defying, leaning to the left, a black cloth around his forehead which covered his left eye, a kunai and shuriken pouch on his back and a kunai holder on his right leg, and lastly his katana on his back with 2 silver protectors tied to his forearms. The class stared at him mesmerized when he decided to break the awkward silence. "Yo, my name is Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you all," he said. His creepy Sakura whispered to Ino, who knew it. "Ah, there you are, Karen. You left early," he said with a nice smile. "Karen-san, do you know this guy?" The Mikinata asked her friend, who sighed. "He's my brother," she said, making all eyes wide. "What? But he's blonde, not tomato like you," Kiba yelled as the temperature dropped. All looked at Naruto. "What did you call her?" he asked, narrowing his eyes at Kiba, who gulped. "And nothing," he shuddered. "Good," he said as all sighed in relief. "That's one overprotective brother," all thought. "Naruto, why don't you take a seat?" Iruka said. "Very well," he said, going up and sitting next to Karen. But throughout the whole ordeal Sasuke had his eyes wide. He's the one that lost his eyes due to Itachi and later had an eye transplant with the Sharingan, so that's what he is hiding behind the cloth. And I thought it was only a rumor, but he exists, the only one aside of me who can wield the Sharingan, he thought. All were outside for a taijutsu spar. "Uzumaki Naruto v Shino Aburame," Iruka said as the two entered the ring. "Begin," he said as the two looked at each other stoically. "You know I hate people trying to put bugs on me," he said, showing Shino the bugs in his fist. "When did you know?" he asked, showing no emotion. "Since you tried to put it on me, but I let it go since you are an Aburame and it is only genetic for you to sit back and observe a new individual who had entered your life. Even now you are watching this conversation from the roof after you sent your bug clone to fight me," he said, making all eyes wide as they looked up to see Shino on the roof looking down. Soon he jumped and stood beside his clone as it turned into bugs and went beneath his clothing. "You!" the girls yelled. "I never saw him make a clone," Sasuke thought with wide eyes. He did not have his Sharingan out and yet he looked through Shino like an open book. Just what type of training did he go through, Iruka thought. You know much about my clan and its techniques and yet I have never heard of you, he said in a monotonous voice as Naruto smirked behind his mask. You are an Aburame, figure it out, let's see who gets it first, you or the Nar, who has 100 different theories going through his mind right now, he said, giving Shikamaru an eye smile whose eyes were wide as all looked at him. How did he read your mind? Naruto said, making his eyes wide. Just who is he? He thought that's for you to find out, he said, shocking him further. Then looking at the Aburame, I quit. Shino said, what the hell Shino, you didn't even touch him, Kiba said as Shino walked past him ignoring him. Just who is he thought while Naruto shrugged and walked back. The brat, he is dangerous, Mizuki thought. Show of Karen thought, shaking her head in amusement. The last match of the spar was here. Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto come to the center. Iruka said, go Sasuke-kun. You can beat him, no sweat. His fangirls cheered while Sasuke ignored them and was now face to face with Naruto. Seems like you have a lot of fans, Naruto said with an eye smile, but Sasuke scoffed. Stop wasting my time, show it to me, he said. I feared this would happen, Iruka thought with a sigh. Show you what? Naruto asked as he clenched his teeth. You want me to spell it out for you, do you? I mean your Sharingan you are hiding behind your cloth, the eye that belonged to my clan, which you received when you accidentally bumped into Itachi Uchiha and he took away your eye on the night he killed my whole clan, Sasuke said, shocking everyone as all looked at Iruka, who sighed. Sensei, what does he mean? One asked as Iruka looked at them. It is the truth. On the night Sasuke's clan was killed by Uchiha Itachi, Naruto accidentally bumped into him and Itachi tried to kill him, but due to the Anbu he had to run, so he was only able to take away Naruto's left eye, which was later transplanted by a dead Uchiha's Sharingan to give him his sight back. It is one of the reasons he was not able to attend the academy and was taken outside village to train, he explained, making all eyes wide except Karen's. Is it true? Hinata asked her friend, who nodded. The hatred in his eyes. Itachi, as we had predicted, he turned into the Avenger you wanted him to become. It is really sad to see him the way he is now, Naruto thought. Sahayaki, Sasuke said, I don't need the Sharingan to defeat you, he said, blurring away, making all eyes wide, seeing Naruto's fist buried in Sasuke's gut in a flash, knocking him out of his senses as he landed on the ground clutching his gut and glaring at Naruto. You think you are an Avenger, are you not? And you have the stupid belief that you can defeat the likes of Itachi Uchiha, one of the most talented shinobi to ever enter the Anbu, do you? He was an S-class ninja when he left. Just wonder how strong he is now. You will not stand 2 seconds against him even with your Sharingan if and when you awaken it. Only the likes of the Sandime, Sarutobi Hiruzen the Shinobi no Kami can defeat him, so rather than focusing on how to kill Itachi you must first become a good shinobi because rather than a weak Avenger, he said, then walking back as Sasuke clenched his teeth tightly as his bangs shadowed his eyes. Maybe this will knock some sense into him, Naruto thought. Well, at least Nisan didn't go that much hard on him, Karen thought with a sigh. 2 days later, it was late in the evening as Naruto walked towards his house. He had spent a day out with his old team who were there to celebrate his graduation. Naruto easily passed the exams as he now wore his headband protector with a black cloth which covered his left eye. As he continued to walk, his Anbu tattoo flared up. What could the old man need of me right now, he thought, disappearing. Hiruzen was walking around his office in impatience when Naruto appeared. On Naruto-kun, glad to see you are here, he said. What do you need, old man, he asked as the old Kage sighed. We have a situation at our hands. One of the academy instructors, Mizuki, has fled with the scroll of sealing, he said, making Naruto's eyes wide. I see, it is very serious indeed, he said, receiving a nod from Hiruzen. I want you to retrieve the scroll. As you know, it has a collection of many dangerous and forbidden jutsu of Konoha and we cannot afford to fall in the hands of an enemy, he said. I understand, do not worry, I will back before you know it, he said. Very well, Naruto-kun, you may leave now, he said as Naruto disappeared out of sight. Running through the forest, Mizuki had a grin on his face. Yes, now no one will stop me to attain the power I rightfully deserve, he thought with a grin. Soon I will be out of this stupid village and join Orochimaru-sama. He thought that his until a kunai fell on his path, making his stop in his tracks as he looked to see his attacker. Chapter 3. Mizuki looked at his attacker. So you came, he said. Stop this madness now, Mizuki, come back, we can still avert this disaster. You are a comrade, I don't want anything to happen to you, Iruka said. Are you saying you can do anything to me? Mizuki narrowed his eyes. I don't want to, but if you don't return I will deal with you like a traitor is dealt with, he said as Mizuki smirked. Very well then, let's see who wins, because I am not returning to that pathetic village, he said, taking out his kunai. Then so be it, Iruka said as they rushed at each other, clashing their kunai, and after a minute separating and Mizuki made seals Doden. Mudslide, he said as the ground turned to mud and taking Iruka by surprise. Now die Iruka, he yelled, throwing his demon windmill shuriken at his, making Iruka's eyes wide. So this is how it ends, he thought, closing his eyes waiting for the pain to come, but it never did. So he opened it again only to look at Naruto, who held the weapon in his left hand as he glared at Mizuki. So you had fallen low enough to kill a comrade, he asked as Mizuki howled in laughter. Comrade, don't make me laugh. I have cut off all my ties with Konoha. I won't be part of such a pathetic village, he said. The only one pathetic here is you, replied as Mizuki glared at him. What did you say, you demon? He asked. Also, you didn't hear me clearly, so let me rephrase that for you, he said, disappearing. Twatch came the voice as Mizuki looked behind him in shock. I said the only one pathetic here is you, he said as Mizuki fell on his knee taking out the senbone from his neck. You brat, what did you do? He yelled. It's a knockout drug, so don't worry, you will not die a painless death but rather a traitor's death, Naruto said, making his eyes wide, but then he was knocked out. You okay, Iruka-sensei? He asked as the Chunin, who was still in shock, dumbly nodded. Then let's go see the Hokage, he said again. Alright, Iruka managed to get out. You did your mission well, Naruto-kun, Hiruzen said as he grinned behind his mask. Have I ever failed you? He asked. No, you have not. Now you may go, Hiruzen said as he nodded and sunshined away. So you are joining the sensory division? Naruto asked Karen, who nodded. You know this well. I do. I don't like much of field duty, she said. Well, at least I can stop worrying about if you are safe within the walls of the village, he said with a nice smile. Yes, you can be a bit overprotective at times, she said as he smiled. I can, can't I? He said. So what is up with you dressing up like Kakashi ni-san? I know you two had things alike, but now you two look like clones, she said as he smiled. That's the idea, he said. What do you mean, she asked, raising her brow. You see, Guy turned a Jonan into a mini him, so it's an ongoing operation to torture him and give him a taste of his own medicine. If two guys can exist, so can two Kakashis, and secondly, I think I can pull of a sensei better than him, he said as Karen dropped over her head. I am surrounded by idiots, she muttered. Click came the noise as Naruto's picture came out with him in the same getup with a nice smile. There you go, the cameraman said as gave him a nice smile. Arigato, he said, taking the picture and heading towards the mission office to submit his ninja registration form. Ninpo super glue jutsu, he said, sticking his tongue out to lick the back of the picture and sticking it on the form. He walked in the office. On Naruto-kun, good morning, Hiruzen greeted him as I smiled. Good morning, old man, here is my form, he said, giving it to him. How nice of you to submit it so early. Why did you even bother? Was what Hiruzen meant. You see, as the saying goes, the early bird gets the worm, he said. I wanted a new picture in this look, was what he meant, making Hiruzen sweat drop. But then the two looked at the door as a boy emerged, making Hiruzen sigh. I will beat you today, old man, the little boy declared, then falling on the floor because he tripped on his scarf. This is embarrassing, Hiruzen thought, trying to hide his face with his hat as the boy rose up. You tripped me, he yelled, glaring and pointing his finger at Naruto as the two had a big sweat drops from their heads. You fell by stepping on your scarf, boy, Naruto said. You lie, he yelled. Who is he even trying to convince, the two thought, and then the Jounin with the glasses entered. Honorable grandson, there you are. I was looking all over. His eyes fell on Naruto. The audacity of the QB kid that he thinks he can copy Kakashi senpai just because he has the Sharingan, Naruto said, making Aisabu's eyes wide while Hiruzen smirked and Konohamaru was confused. How did he read your mind? Naruto asked, shocking him further. What is he? You don't want to know, he said, walking out, leaving a bewildered Aisabu. Hokage-sama, who did he read your mind? It's a simple trick only some of us know, he said. I see, then I must find this technique out, he said, fixing his glasses, and then he looked down. Where is the honorable grandson, he asked. I guess he ran after Naruto. As soon he heard that he read your mind, he said as Aisabu rushed off after him, making Hiruzen sigh in defeat. Just what I need in the morning, he thought as he heard a few hidden Anbu snicker. Ha ha, laugh all you want at this, old man, Hiruzen muttered, then looking at his worst enemy, paperwork, he thought with a big groan. Naruto walked through the streets with an orange book in his hand as he giggled perversely. Otahime, you are too much, he said, then looking back. You know rocks are not supposed to be square, he said. Puff cough cough, too much smoke, Konohamaru said, then standing up as expected of my rival to detect me like that, he said with a grin, making Naruto sweat drop. What do you want, he asked. That trick you did there, reading someone's mind, can you teach it to me, he asked. Why? Naruto asked as Konohamaru grinned. I want to defeat the Hokage and take his hat, he said. You are being serious, aren't you? Naruto asked with a bored expression. Yes, I am very serious, he said. Seriously, so you want to be Hokage? Why? Naruto asked. To be recognized as myself and not the grandson of the third Hokage. Aisabu sensei always tells me that learning a 1000 jutsu is shortcut to becoming Hokage, but I don't have time for all that, he said as Naruto looked away. There is no shortcut to becoming Hokage. Remember that even a 1000 jutsu can't help you. Becoming Hokage for recognition is petty. People do not become Hokage to be recognized, they become Hokage because they already are. I too have a dream to one day become the Hokage, so we will be rivals after all. Alright then, come, I will teach you something, he said as Konohamaru pumped his fist. Alright boss, he yelled. A few hours later, Konohamaru huffed as he stood in front of Naruto. I did it, he said with a grin. I guess you did, he said with an eye smile. Honorable grandson, there you are. I have been looking for you all over Konoha. If you keep slacking off with this fool, you will never be Horosai. Don't talk about boss like this, he is a way better teacher than you, he yelled. Oh, is he? Now may I see what he has taught you in a few hours that I can't, he asked, fixing his glasses. Go show him what you got. Naruto said. Yes boss, he said, rushing towards Aisabu. Then suddenly 6 shuriken appeared between his fingers as he threw it at the elite instructor. instructor as it landed around him. You can't even throw properly, Isabu said in disappointment, but Konohamaru smirked. That's because I wasn't aiming for you, he said, pulling the ninja wire as it wrapped around the Jounen's leg. Puff, he turned into a log. I have to say I'm impressed, but you still need to learn a 1000 jutsu to become Hokage, he said, fixing his glasses. But all I need is one, came a voice from behind him, making his eyes wide. When did he get behind you, say, Naruto said, then putting his kunai to Isabu's neck, making his and Konohamaru's eyes wide. There is no shortcut to becoming Hokage Bakuyaru, only hard work and dedication gets you there. Always remember that, he said, disappearing out of sight. Shug, Konohamaru thought while Isabu looked down. Have I been wrong all this time, he thought. Trained by the fox himself, you are lucky, Konohamaru-chan, the cage thought, looking at the whole ordeal with his all-seeing ball. Naruto sat in the academy as Iruka announced the teams. I want you to know that I am proud of all of you. Now I wish you best of luck for your journey ahead, but before I leave I will announce the teams. Team 1. Team 7, Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke. I am in Sasuke's team. True love wins, Pig. She cheered. Sit down, Sakura. Iruka scolded. Oh sorry Iruka-sensei, she said, a grin still on her face. And Uzumaki Naruto under Hatake Kakashi, he said, at least he is on my. Sasuke thought while Naruto sighed. You just had to pick her, didn't you, sensei? He thought. Oh, the new guy is in my team as well, Sakura thought. Teammate Inuzuka Kiba, Hyuga Hinata and Shino Aburame under Kurenai Yuhi. Team 9 is still under circulation, and Team 10 Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka and Choji Akimichi under Asuma Sarutobi. Iruka said, what, it's unfair. Ino yelled, stop the whining. The teams were placed by Hokage-sama himself. Iruka said, shutting Ino up. Good, your Jounin sensei will be here soon, he said, disappearing via Sunshin along with Naruto. 3 hours later, Sasuke and Sakura were seated in the class. They were frustrated because their sensei had not yet shown up as well as their teammate, but then the door opened as the masked Jounin entered, making both Sakura and Sasuke's eyes wide. Is that Naruto's father? Sakura thought. Does he have an implanted Sharingan as well? Sasuke thought. Team 7? He asked, looking up from his book. Yes, Sakura said, I am your Jounin sensei. Meet me on the terrace in 5 minutes, he said, disappearing. 5 minutes later, both made it upstairs only to see Naruto sitting across Kakashi, both reading their books. You made it, Kakashi said as the two looked up. Where were you? Sakura yelled. Ma, I was on my way here, but I guess I got lost on the road of life, he said with an eye smile as the two sweat dropped and sat beside him. So let's introduce ourselves. Mini-me, you go first, he said as he looked up. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. My likes, well, I like a lot of things. My dislikes, I guess I do dislike a lot of things. My hobbies, as for my dreams, it is to become Hokage, he said as Kakashi I smiled. All we got is his name. Sakura thought. Alright bloody you go, he said. Canon. Next day, both Sakura and Sasuke were frustrated because their sensei along with their teammate were late again for 3 hours, but then in a swirl of leaves the two appeared. You are late, Sakura yelled as the two rubbed the back of their heads. Well, I way heading here, a black cat crossed my path so I had to take the long way around, Kakashi said, and I was with him, Naruto said as Sakura fell over her head. Can we start the test already, Sasuke asked. Sure, Kakashi said. 3 hours later, Sakura and Sasuke huffed, landing on their ass. We can't beat him, Sasuke said. Where is Naruto? Does he not want to pass? Sakura asked, huffing as they heard rusting in the bushes. So you came after all, Kakashi said as Naruto looked at him seriously. Sensei, the ending to the newest edition of Icha Paradise is no, don't tell me, he yelled, closing his ear slice. Both Sasuke and Sakura had their eyes wide looking at Naruto, who now held the two bells in his hands. You tricked me, Kakashi said with wide eyes as Naruto shrugged. Ah well, it's good I didn't get the spoiler, he said as both Sakura and Sasuke dropped over their head. That's what it took to get the bell, Sakura said in disbelief. Both of them are weird, Sasuke said. Alright Naruto, who are you going to give the bell? Kakashi asked as he threw the bells at them as they caught it with wide eyes. The test was about teamwork. While it was fun watching them try and fight it down, and I thought I'd help because in this world of shinobi those who break the rules are trash, yes, but those who abandon their friends and comrades are worse than trash, he said as the two looked at him in awe. I guess you two understand, so be here tomorrow at 8 AM for training and missions, he said as the two disappeared via Sunshin. That guy, Sasuke thought, shaking his head. 1 month later. So Karen, how is the sensory division working out for you? Naruto asked. It's good, Nisan. They say I am the best sensor around in a decade, she said with a grin as he smiled and kissed her forehead. I'm proud, he said. So you are leaving for a C rank, are you not? She asked as he nodded to the wave. I have not been to that land in 2 years, he said. Well, be safe and return quickly, she said as he nodded and left. He appeared on the gates. It can't be, Sakura said. Who are you? Sasuke demanded, making him sweat drop. Stop goofing around, we have a mission to do, he said as Kakashi came with Danu's. Alright, let's leave, we will take the diamond formation, he said as all nodded. 5 hours later. They were walking for 5 hours now. Sometimes Sakura would ask Danusa about the waves, but then now everyone was quiet until Kakashi and Naruto noticed the puddle and looked at each other. Let's see how it plays, Kakashi signaled as the group passed the puddle and soon chains shot up from it, capturing Kakashi and ripping him open. Kakashi sensei, Sakura yelled while others were shocked. 1 down, 3 to go. Mizu said, but then his eyes were wide. Wrong, Naruto said, knocking him out. Mizugozu shouted, chop. He was knocked out by Kakashi from behind. Sensei, you're alive. She shouted, I am, he said while Sasuke stared at Naruto. I didn't see him move, he thought. Now Danusa-san, in telling us why two Chunin level ninja attacked us on a C-rank mission, Kakashi asked, narrowing his eyes as Danusa paled. 3 days later, they had docked on the Land of Waves and were currently headed towards Danusa's house. After the man pleaded his case, they decided to continue the mission. It was getting misty. This missed its churkalace, Naruto thought, looking at Kakashi, who nodded. Everyone duck, he yelled, taking the 3 down as Naruto ducked on his own as a huge sword passed them, whizzing through the air and got stuck to the nearby tree as a muscular man landed on it. Well, if it isn't Kakashi Hitake of the Sharingan, the person said. Zabuza Momochi, demon of the hidden mist, listed in the bingo book as in a rank threat with kill on sight order, wanted for treason against the village. Hidden in the mist, Naruto said as Zabuza looked at him. I didn't know you had a kid, Hitake. A very informative one, I must say. Zabuza said. I didn't. Kakashi said, Sensei, why don't you sit this one out? I can take him out. Naruto said, very well team, let's protect Danusa. Kakashi said, letting me fight the kid, want him dead do you? Zabuza said, dropping to the ground and taking out his sword. I'm not worried about him because for him you are nothing but child's play. Kakashi said, what did you say? Zabuza shouted, then saw Naruto put his headband up. It can't be the Sharingan. Zabuza said in shock. There it is, Sasuke thought, so that's what the Sharingan looks like. Sakura thought, looking at Naruto, who took out his katana. Let's go, Momochi. It's not every day that I face a former member of the 7 Swordsmen. Naruto said, very well Brad, it's your funeral. Hidden mist jutsu, he said, covering the whole area with thick mist. What, the quieter he will detect our location easily, Kakashi said as Sakura shut up and all heard clashing sound in the mist futon. Top of they heard us. The mist disappeared only for them to see Zabuza glaring at Naruto. How can you fight like that against me in the mist, Brad, he said as Naruto shut. I have been to Kiri once, he said, charging at Zabuza as their swords clashed, but soon Naruto's sword was coated with Raiten chakra as it stored to cut through Zabuza's sword, making his eyes wide as he separated. Just who is this brat? That level of control he is fighting against a Jounin like another day at the park. Is this the power of the Sharingan? Sasuke thought. Zabuza landed on the water surface and went through seals as he saw Naruto's eyes begin to spin and he made seals suitin. Saryudan no jutsu, the two said as the 2 dragons rose and clashed against each other. He copied my jutsu and used it against me. He is as skilled as the copy nin. Zabuza though going through seals again, but he saw Naruto make it faster. Suitin. Violent water vortex, he said, shocking Zabuza as the attack hit him dead on, banging him against the tree, and then 6 kunai hit him as he looked at Naruto, who walked towards him with a lightning charged katana. See, can you see the future? He asked. Yes, and your future is death, he said, but then a Kiri Hunter nin landed in front of Zabuza and disappeared with him, making Naruto sigh. You almost hit him, Kakashi said as Naruto sighed, putting his headband down again. I got careless enough to only focus on my surroundings and not my fight, he said. Well, that happens, we will get him next time, he said. What power? He is indeed very strong even without his Sharingan, because he has mastery over at least 3 elements: water, lightning and wind, because even if he copied those jutsu with his Sharingan, we can't use it until he has mastery over the elements, Sasuke thought. So Danusa, where is your house? Naruto asked as he got out of his amazed state. This way, he said. Hey Naruto, how did you get so strong? Sakura asked as he rubbed the back of his head. Well, I guess I train a lot, he said with a nice smile. I must alert Kiri, he thought, looking at the road ahead. Chapter 4. Team 7 reached Tazana's doors as the bridge builder knocked, and soon a woman in her 20s opened it. Tosan, she said in surprise as he hugged her. Tsunami, it is nice to see you again, he said. Tosan, I'm glad Gato's men didn't get you, she said. It is all thanks to these ninja they protected and the boy he defeated, a super strong ninja who created a dragon out of water. Tazana exclaimed as Tsunami smiled and bowed. Thanks for protecting my father, she said. That's alright, but can we get somewhere to rest? We are all tired due to our journey, Kakashi said, rubbing the back of his head. Sure, please come in, Tsunami said as they entered. Grandpa, a little boy hugged Tazana. Irani, how have you been? I missed you, he said. I'm fine, the boy said, then looking at the team from Konoha. Who are they? He asked. Oh, they are the ninja here to protect me, he said. Tell them to leave or they will die, he said, running away. What's up with him? Sakura asked as both the father and daughter duo became sad. Don't mind him, Tsunami said, going out. So we have a week at most, Sasuke said as Naruto nodded. I hit him his legs, hands and probably his liver. It will take him at least a week to be recovered if his partner is a medic nin, and we cannot afford to deny all possibilities, Naruto said as they nodded. What are we going to do, Kakashi sensei? Sakura asked as he smiled. We will train, of course. I will teach the 2 of you while you Naruto will be guarding Tazana, he said. Wakata, he said. 4 days later. It's been 4 days since Team 7 came to the Land of Waves, and during this time Kakashi has taught Sasuke and Sakura water walking while Naruto continued to protect Tazana at the bridge, also helping him with his clones. Now Team 7 was having dinner with Tazana and his family. So 3 days until we probably face Zabuza, Sakura said. Yes, this time we will end him along with Gato. Sasuke said. Don't be hasty, Zabuza may not be on par with me or Naruto, but we are yet to know about the fake hunter ninja, Kakashi said. Not to mention that Zabuza is cunning, he will will not make the same mistake twice. Naruto said, why do you even try? Irani yelled as they looked at him. Gato cannot be defeated. You are all going to die, he yelled. Irani. Tsunami yelled, why don't you just run away? Because if we do we will be a coward like you, Naruto said, making his eyes wide. Yes, that's what you are, a little brat who thinks he knows all the pain in the world because he lost his father, he said. Naruto. Sakura yelled, tell me boy, did you lose your whole clan in a day? Did you watch your comrades die before your eyes as well as your sensei, or did you lose both your parents on the day you were born, he asked, making Sasuke look down as well as Kakashi. That's right, you haven't, you still have a family to support you. You haven't seen the horrors of this world like I haven't. I'll tell you, out there it's even worse, so stop bitching and moaning about what you have lost and cherish what you have, because if you don't one day you will lose that as well, he said, standing up and walking out the door as Irani burst into tears and towards his room while others were still sad. Next morning, Naruto was sleeping under a tree with the Icha book over his face to block the sun, but what he didn't see was that someone had entered the clearing. It's the boy that almost killed Zabuza-sama. I must take care of him now before he too much trouble, he thought, heading towards him. What do you want? Naruto asked, stopping him dead in the tracks as he looked at Naruto, who removed the book from his face and looked at him with his lone eye. I was about to wake you up or you'd catch cold in this weather sleeping out here like this, he said with a smile as Naruto I smiled at him. How kind of you, he said, getting up and stretching his body. So why are you all alone in this forest at a time like this, he asked. Oh, I am here to gather some herbs, he pointed to the bushes. Herbs? Alright, I'll help you out since I have some knowledge of medicine, he offered. Thank you, that will make things faster, he said as Naruto nodded, and the two went to the bushes to collect the herbs. That headband, are you a shinobi? He asked. I am, but tell me what's your name? I am Uzumaki, Naruto, he said as the boy smiled. I am Haku, he said. Well Haku, who are you collecting these herbs for? He asked. The person most precious to me is wounded right now, so I must heal him, he said. Your precious person? Naruto asked. Yes, he is all I have left. Do you have your precious people back home? He asked as Naruto smiled. I do, he said. Good, because I believe when a person fight to protect something precious to him, that's when he becomes strong, he said with a smile as Naruto I smiled. That's a good belief and I agree with what you say. I hope your precious person gets well soon, he said as Haku bowed. Thank you for your help, but I am afraid I must leave now, he said as Naruto nodded. And the two separated. Thought you were my enemy. I like you, Naruto said, stopping her in her tracks and making her eyes wide. He knew all along, she thought. Reaching for her Shinbans, fighting here is useless. Tell Zabuza to recover soon. I am looking forward to round 2, he said as Haku threw his Shinbans only for it to hit the tree. He disappeared just as he thought. 3 days later. Is everyone ready? Kakashi asked as the team nodded. Naruto made 10 clones to guard the house as the 5 went towards the bridge. This mist again, something is not right, Naruto thought as they reached the bridge only to see bodies lying everywhere in horror. Do you like my work? Came a voice from the mist as 3 figures emerged. Oh my wa, Kakashi said with wide eyes. Raiga Korosuke Karagakure no Raijin, Naruto said. Another one, Sakura said with wide eyes. So that is the brat who uses lightning style kenjutsu, does he? He is, as you said, a copy of the copy nin, he said with a menacing grin. Ah, that's the brat, alright, he said. Plan has changed. Team Naruto fight Raiga. I will fight Zabuza. Sasuke fight the hunter nin, and Sakura protect Tezuna. Kakashi ordered. Hi, so shall we begin? Raiga said with a grin. Yes, let's slay them, Zabuza said as the two made a half tiger seal, and at the same time both Naruto and Kakashi revealed their Sharingan hidden mist jutsu, they said, creating a very thick mist around the bridge there. Naruto thought, sensing Raiga's chakra and moving towards the source, but only to see many shadows surrounding him. Genjutsu, he thought, making a dog seal futon. Gale palm, he removed the mist to see Raiga standing in front of him with a grin. So shall we begin the end of you? He asked with a grin, putting 2 swords wrapped in bandages. Kumo Kiba, he said as the bandages tore, revealing the blades. Naruto unsheathed his katana. My end will not be decided by the likes of you, Naruto said, blurring out clash. Their swords were against each other as they stared to fight. He is able to detect my movements like I am detecting his, Naruto thought as Raiga used both his swords together, sending Naruto back a bit. 2 swords too much for you? He asked with a grin. 2 swords, huh? Not a bad idea, Naruto said, charging a Chidori in his left hand. Witness my new technique, he said as Raiga looked with wide eyes, seeing the lightning in his hand turning into a blade. Chidori. Katana, he said, forming a sort of pure lighting. Sekos, he said as Raiga charged lightning in his sword, forming a ball of lightning. Lightning ball, he said, throwing it at Naruto, who deflected it with his lightning katana. Here I come, he said, charging lightning in his katana and coming at Raiga, who had a hard time competing with his speed. I see, Naruto thought with a smirk as Raiga impaled him. Haha, got you, he yelled. Puff was the sound as Naruto disappeared. Cage Bunshine, he thought, but then his eyes were wide as Naruto came from behind and kicked away the bag. No, Ranmaru, he yelled. I thought something was off about this whole thing. You thought that it can escape my eye, did you? He said. You bastard, I'll kill you, he yelled, putting his swords in the air as it conducted lightning from the atmosphere as it covered his body, and he started to spin. Ninpo, lightning dragon tornado, he yelled, creating a dragon of lightning and water. Zabuza, who was fighting with Kakashi, smirked. It's over for the brat, he said. One thing I have learned over my years is to never underestimate him, Kakashi said, fighting with him. while Naruto made a tiger seal Kaden. Running fire he said, creating a ring of fire as a clone appeared beside him and made seal's futon. Kamikaze no jutsu, he said, blowing the big gust from his mouth as the wind met fire, creating a fire tornado, and then both made seal's ninpo. Fire dragon tornado they said, creating a dragon out of the fire tornado as it clashed as against Raiga's jutsu as all stopped their battles and looked at the two jutsu fighting for dominance, but then it ended in creating a big mist. Raiga huffed as the mist cleared while Naruto stood in front of him calmly. You are something alright, Raiga said with a grin. You are not bad yourself, Naruto said, but I won't lose, he said with a grin, putting his swords up in the air again. Sasuke was caught inside the ice prison. I can't win, he thought. Do you give up now, Uchiha Haku said as he clenched his teeth. Why am I so weak, he thought in anger as his eye turned red and one tomes in each eye was visible, making his eyes wide. My eyes, he thought, looking at his eye through his kunai, the Sharingan, he thought with wide eyes. Then he grinned. No, I can defeat him, he thought, but suddenly Naruto's words hit him. The Sharingan is just a tool, not Kami's gift. It is as good as its user. Focus on your skills as a shinobi. The Sharingan will just boost those abilities. I see now, he thought, dodging the Senbons coming at him. He's faster than before. Haku thought, I need to see where she is, he thought, looking around there. He thought, making seal's Kaden. Gokakyu Uno Jutsu, he said, covering the whole ice prison with fire. It's futile, Haku said, but then his eyes were wide as ninja wires wrapped around her, trapping her with the mirror. Soka, Sasuke said with a grin as he held the wire in his mouth as he went through seal's Kaden. Ryuka no Jutsu, he said, conducting the wire with fire as it reached Hakuya. She screamed as the mirrors broke. Zabuza had his eyes wide looking at Haku. That brat, he defeated Haku, he thought. I told you, didn't I? Never underestimate my students, Kakashi said, taking out a scroll as biting his thumb as he put his blood over the scroll and twirled it around it, wrapping it again and then placing it on the ground, summoning Doden. Tracking Fang Jutsu, he said. Something was released from the scroll and before Zabuza knew it, he was covered head to toe with dog's Nandato. He yelled, Zabuza, do you think I have survived only on copying a 1000 techniques? Do you then let me show you my original technique, he said, making seal's ox rabbit monkey. The three of them are so strong, Sakura thought with wide eyes while Tazuna was in awe. Raiga stared at Naruto as his body was fully coated with lightning. This my strongest technique, die, he yelled as lightning got so bright that he was barely visible. He joined the hilt of his swords and started to spin it over his head. Lightning strike armor, he yelled, then making cross strikes on the ground as it came towards Naruto, destroying the parts of the bride, and then it hit him in full force as Raiga saw a barely clothed Naruto dropping on his knees. Huff huff, he was shocked as Naruto turned into a flock of crows. Shindaka? Naruto asked, coming towards him from the same direction as he hit the jutsu. Oh my Hiderta. Who in the hell are you? It's only natural for you to not recognize me. After all, I always had a mask on during my stay at Karakura, he said, shocking Raiga. Wait, such control over Raiden, Futon and Kaden, it can't be, he thought with wide eyes. Are you Commander Fox of the Deadly 20 that played a vital role in ending the Civil War, also the person to defeat the commander, he asked as Naruto smirked. Looks like you recognized me after all, he said, making Raiga's eyes wider. But it's too late now, your end is here. I cannot let you continue your terror anymore, he said, holding his right hand Rikiri. Both the student and teacher yelled together while Sasuke went towards an injured Haku with a kunai. It's an honor to fight my final battle against a shinobi of your caliber, Raiga said with a smile. No, Raiga, Ranmaru yelled as he looked back. It's okay, Ranmaru, my time has come. I must pay for my crimes, he said, then looking ahead, seeing Naruto jump the gap as impale him with the blade. No, the boy yelled as Raiga died with a smile. Kakashi was coming at Zabuza with his blade when stop. A voice came as the mist cleared. Even Sasuke did while Naruto looked back to see the ninja from Kiri, including Ao and Chojuro Momochi. Zabuza is a missing nin of Kiri. Now we will take it from here, he said. Shit, Zabuza thought. Well, we are allies, Kakashi said, stopping his jutsu. If you people could have been here earlier, Raiga would be alive now, Naruto said, carrying the dead body of the swordsman along with his swords in his palms, making the Kiri shinobi's eyes wide. That chakra, I can never forget it. So it's him. I thought you defeated Raiga. Chojuro shuddered as Naruto nodded. Yes, Br. Came a cry as all looked around to see one of the bandits impaling Ranmaru with his katana, making their eyes wide. Well, if it isn't the puny demon, a smug Gato said. Gato, Zabuza said with a glare. I was not going to pay you anyway. Now I will take care of you all, he said, laughing and kicking the boy's body as all felt a huge killing intent rolling out of Naruto. That pressure, it's unbearable, Sasuke thought, shaking. He's pissed, Kakashi thought as a shiver ran through his spine. The kid is as scary as he fights, Zabuza thought, looking at him as he took out his katana. I will give you the death you deserve of a scum that is, he said in a low voice as the bandits laughed. A puny brat like you can hurt me, Gato said as Naruto glared at them with his Sharingan. Only puny thing here's you, he said, creating 100 clones, shocking the bandits' dance of the crescent moon, he said. It was a massacre, bodies lying everywhere, some heads and other body parts. Sakura and Sasuke looked in horror while the others were stunned silent, and the people of the waves who had come to fight Gato were gaping, some puking. Naruto stood above Gato shaking in fear. Wait, I can give you anything, money, women. Even now all you can think of is how to buy other people, but where you are going money won't do anything. I am sending you to the depths of hell, he said. Slice Gato's head rolled on the floor as no one made a sound, only saw Naruto sheathing his katana and disappearing. 1 week later. It's time for us to leave now, Kakashi said, looking at the people of Wave who had gathered there. I don't know how I can thank you. Tazuna said. You don't have to, it was our mission after all, Kakashi said with a nice smile. Naruto-ni-san, are you going to leave now? Irani asked as he smiled. I'm afraid I do, he said, rubbing the boy's head. Over the week people have been distant from Naruto after witnessing the slaughter, but after they saw him slowly repair the bridge they started to warm up to him. The Kiri shinobi took Zabuza and Haku, then they left, thanking the team from Konoha for their assistance. Sasuke has been training to develop his Sharingan while Sakura helped Tsunami around the house. Well then, until next time, Naruto said, turning away with his team as all said their goodbyes. That boy, he is the true hero of the waves. Not did he defeat Gato but also uplifted the spirit of the people, and I think I have a suitable name for the bridge. Tazuna said. What is it, Grandpa? Irani asked as the bridge builder smiled. The Great Naruto Bridge, he declared as the people cheered his agreement. Chapter 5. 2 days later, Team 7 looked at the gates of Konoha and sighed. We are back home, Sakura said. Yes we are, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Why don't the three of you head home? I will give the mission report to Hokage-sama. Kakashi offered. You sure it can take a while? You know, Naruto said. Yeah I am, and I am sure Karen would be eager to see you back, he said as Naruto nodded. Jamaduni, he said, disappearing in a swirl of leaves. I have to learn how to do that, Sasuke muttered, heading home. Naruto entered the house as he felt a dark aura making him shiver, but he went in to see Karen, who was standing with her bangs covering her eyes. Oni-chan, she said in a soft voice, making him shiver. And Nanda, what is this I hear about you fighting 2 of the 7 swordsmen of the mist on a C-rank mission? She slowly asked, crackling her knuckles. Ma, why you see that old bastard? I will get back at him for this, Naruto swore, seeing as Karen slowly walked towards him. 1 week later, Sarutobi sat in front of the Jounin Council. As you all know, the Chunin exams will be held in a week, so I would like to know the teams that will take part in it, Sarutobi said as Kakashi stepped forward. Kakashi Hitake nominate Team 7 consisting of Haruna Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto for the Chunin selection exams, he said. Kurana Yuhi nominate my teammate consisting of Hyuga Hinata, Shino Aburame and Kiba Inazuka for the exams, she said. Mito Gai nominate my youthful Team 9 with Neji Hyuga, Tenten and Rock Lee for the exams, he said in his pose as all covered their ears. Asuma Sarutobi nominate my team of Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka and Choji Akimichi for the exams, he said, smoking his cigarette. Choto, I understand Teams 7 and 9, but don't you think Teams 8 and 10 need time? Iruka asked as Asuma looked at him. They don't, because they need to know the reality and stop being brats, Asuma said as Iruka glared at him. You know that Janan die in these exams, don't you? He asked frankly. Iruka said, it's our burden to bear, not yours. We cannot cuddle them forever. Kuren, I said. Enough, Sarutobi said as they shut up. I accept the nominations. You are all dismissed, he said as they bowed and left. Training Ground 0. This was Naruto's secret training ground outside the village where he trained without restrictions. This ground was only known to Kakashi, Itachi and Hiruzen and was protected by a barrier. Now he sat in a lotus position meditating. I'm impressed you were able to get past my barrier, he said, opening his eye and looking at the person in front of him. Jiraiya of the Sannin, or should I call you Godfather, he said as the Sannin looked at him. Though you are his son, you are a replica of Kakashi, as Sensei said, but remove the mask, you are a replica of Minato, he said. So you have returned. Now have you? What do you want? He asked without a hint of emotion. I see he holds a grudge against me. He thought I came here to pass on the Toad summons to you, but I never thought you'd be the infamous Captain Fox. Kakashi has trained you well. You are stronger than both me or your father at your age, but I want to take over, so I offer you to become my apprentice, he said. I refuse, Naruto said. Why? Because I have no other master than Kakashi Hatake. He is the only one I respect enough. As for you, I have no respect for you, he said. Are you saying you can defeat me? Have you let all the power get to your head? Jiraiya said, narrowing his eyes as Naruto scoffed. You carry your title like it is a big achievement, but the truth of the matter is Hanzo handled the 3 of you like brats. All 3 of you are just waste of S-rank shinobi. You are a pervert who goes around peeping on hot springs, the other is a drunk and a gambler, and the last is a mad scientist with fetishes for young boys. You all may have been trained by the god of shinobi, but neither of you 3 could be his successor. Even after my father died, you didn't have the guts and you ran away. That's what you are, Jiraiya, an escapist, he completed. As much as your words hurt me, I know you are just taking out years of anger and I deserve it. I left Konoha after I heard Minato died because he saw like a son to me and I could not bear the pain. Sensei assured me that you would be safe, so I left. I carry my title as an honor even after failure, because after that I proved that I was worthy of it. We all did, because it is after a failure that one knows his weakness and strives to surpass his former self. I had left you once, but not now, because I will make my apprentice, he said with a grin as Naruto removed his headband revealing his Sharingan. Then you must beat me first. I am feared for a reason, and I wasn't named the hero of the Sharingan just because I wield one. My team is the most feared one in the entire Fire Country and Kiri, and I can defeat them all even if they fight me together. I will show you the reason why, he said. Very well, brat, then I will also show you the reason I was named a Sannin, Jiraiya said with a grin. Soon lightning crinkled around Naruto Chidori Nagashi. He yelled as the lightning spread throughout the field while Jiraiya quickly made a seal wild lion's mane jutsu, he said as his hair quickly grew and protected his body as a shield against the lightning, and when the jutsu died down the hair came at Naruto in order to subdue him. Chidori Naruto said, cutting through the hair as he came at Jiraiya, and then a shadow clone formed beside him who made a half tiger seal katen. Gokaku no jutsu, he launched it at Jiraiya who took in a breath katen. And then he fired as the two jutsu clashed. Boom. There was smoke throughout the clearing, but when it cleared the two stood opposite to each other. It's over, brat, Jiraiya said as the soil beneath Naruto became liquid as he started to sink, only turning into mud. Doden. Kage Bunshin Kakashi really trained him well, Jiraiya thought, looking behind as he saw Naruto running towards him with a clone, then throwing a lightning enhanced kunai and making a tiger seal ninpo. Kunai Kage Bunshin he fired while the clone made lightning quick seal Suten. Water trumpet he fired as it met the shuriken, combining Rasen with Suten. He is excellent in ninjutsu. Well, sensei did say that aside of him the brat does have mastery over all the 5 elements, Jiraiya thought, making a seal toad flatness. Shadow manipulation jutsu he thought, totally turning as flat as paper as he touched the ground, dodging the jutsu, then raising his head katen. Dienden he fired at the two who puffed away Kage Bunshin, whereas 2 kunai dropped beside him as he looked at the tree on whose branches Naruto stood with a tiger seal and 2 strings in his mouth, making his eyes wide katen. Ryuken no jutsu he thought, releasing the flames from his mouth as it came at Jiraiya at lightning speed and fully burning the place he lay while Naruto dropped to the ground, whereas he thought ninpo. Hair needle senbone he fired as Naruto toughed the ground. Doden. Doriyuki he said as the wall rose to protect him. You lose, Jiraiya said with a kunai to his neck, only for him to turn in flock of crows. Genjutsu he thought, breaking it only to find Naruto standing in front of him. His visual prowess, it's amazing, he thought. Jiraiya, before my eye all your jutsu is useless, he said in a monotonous voice while inside he smirked. That bastard, I can see now how much he enjoyed doing this to Orochimaru, he thought, making a Rasengan as Jiraiya turned into blood clone, he thought, as the real Jiraiya emerged from behind the clone Rasengan. The two yelled as their jutsu clashed. Boom. Jiraiya huffed as Naruto also huffed a bit as I thought I cannot beat you in ninjutsu. You are as good as sensei said you were, but as I told you I am a Sannin for a reason, he said, biting his thumb and placing his hand on the ground. This is bad, Naruto thought. Summoning jutsu, he said as there was a huge puff of smoke. Jiraiya, why have you summoned me? I don't see a battle, came a booming gruff voice as the smoke disappeared to reveal the Toad Chief. Game Bunta, I brought you here to battle him. Jiraiya pointed to Naruto as Bunta narrowed his eyes. You brought me here to fight a brat, he yelled. He's not any brat, he is Minato's brat, he said, making Bunta's eyes wide a bit as he looked at Naruto. So this is Minato's kid? Hey, he has iron hair like him except the Sharingan, that is, Bunta thought. Even if he is Minato's brat, he is still a brat. Bunta said, don't underestimate him, he is a prodigy of a different level. He made Anbu at 8, a captain at 9 and the chief of the assault division at 10. He has mastery over all the 5 elements, not to mention his Sharingan. He beat me in ninjutsu, which the reason I summoned you, Jiraiya said, making his eyes wide. Why are you fighting him? He asked. He refuses to become my apprentice and will only become one when I defeat him, he said. I see, well then brat, now's your chance, give up, Bunta said as he smirked. You don't scare me, neither does your size, he said. What did you say? He yelled. You heard me, he said, making seals Raiden. 8 pillar bind, he said as 8 pillars rose around Bunta and discharged lightning at him. Bunta jump, Jiraiya yelled. I can't, Nani. He looked down to see you copied my swamp and used it on me. What a cheeky one you are, Jiraiya said as he smirked. This is the end, he said, making seals puff. The sky above Bunta opened. Doden, drop lid, he said as the huge green stone lid descended on them. Nani? Bunta yelled. Boom, was the sound, followed by huge debrief. I got them, Naruto thought with a grin. Crack Gaki, I'll beat you up for what you did, Bunta yelled, breaking everything with his Tando Shimada. I am almost out of chakra, he thought. Then take mine, came voice, making his eyes wide. QB, are you going to help me, he asked. Grunt, this changes nothing, brat, I am giving you my chakra only because I find this fight amusing, he said. Well thanks I guess, he said with a grunt. Brat, Bunta yelled, trying to impale him with his Tanto as Naruto climbed and ran to the top, making a half tiger seal as he preparing a fire jutsu. Jiraiya thought, preparing himself as well, but then red chakra shrouded Naruto, shocking Arewa. He thought, QB no chakra, I can never forget it. Bunta thought, what's he trying? Jiraiya thought, but then he saw Naruto form a Chidori in his hand, making his eyes wide. Bunta knock him off. He yelled, but it was too late. The Toad's body is too moist for his own good, he thought with a smirk. Ultimate Chidori Nagashi, he yelled as lightning crinkled throughout Bunta's body as he yelled, I win, he thought, but then his eyes were wide as he felt pain in his gut. He saw Jiraiya's fist buried in his gut, sending his to the ground as he fell on the floor not moving. Bunta tai job ka, he asked as the toad boss huffed. Minato and Kushina know how to create a monster of a shinobi. Is he out? Bunta asked. I placed the 5 elemental seal on his gut to block the Kyuubi's chakra and knock him out, he said as Bunta sighed. That's good, make him sign the contract, because if he is this strong at such an early age, imagine him when he reaches his peak, he said as Jiraiya shivered. I understand, thanks for the help, he said as Bunta nodded and then disappeared. Jiraiya looked at the blonde and walked towards him. When he was about to pick him up, he got punched hard in the gut, shocking and sending him back as he saw the blonde stand up. Funjutsu is nothing new for me, I'm a level 6 master, so it's not that easy, he said. Just what is he? He thought the one who will defeat you, Naruto said, making his eyes wide. Let me show you a jutsu of my creation, he said, making a Rasengan as lightning crinkled around it and soon it make menacing noises. That brat, he did it. He fused the Rasengan with an element, something even Minato could not do, Jiraiya thought with wide eyes as he saw Naruto coming at him, so he created a Rasengan himself, Razendori. Owama Rasengan. The two jutsu clashed, fighting for dominance. Naruto yelled, forcing Jiraiya back a bit, but then red lines formed under Jiraiya's eyes. To think he was able to force me to go this far, he thought. Boom. The whole clearing was destroyed, creating big rubble and smoke. Jiraiya huffed, looking at the direction where Naruto lay unconscious as he walked towards him. Huff huff, I haven't had a good fight to push me this far in a long time, he thought as Hiruzen and Kakashi appeared. You look beat up, Jiraiya-kun, Hiruzen said. Of course, didn't you see the way he fought? Just what kind of training did you put him through, Kakashi? Jiraiya asked as I smiled. Well, I was always his will to carry on even after a gruesome day of training. That he is strong as he is, he said, picking him up. Well, let's go to a hospital, he said as they nodded. Naruto groaned, opening his right eye. So you woke up, came a voice as he saw Kakashi and Jiraiya looking at him. So I lost, he said. You did, but I must say no one has pushed me this far in a long time, he said. You fought well, Naruto, Kakashi said with a nice smile. So according to our bet, you are to be my apprentice now, Jiraiya said as Naruto looked at Kakashi, who nodded. Alright, fine, I don't go back on my word anyway, he said as Jiraiya grinned. He entered his house only to see Karen seated on the dinner table with an annoyed face. Oni-chan, why are you so late? She asked as he rubbed the back of his head. Well, you see, I was having a normal day training when I had to fight an all-out fight against Jiraiya of the Sannin, he said as Karen gave him a bored look. That was the most lame excuse ever, I swear even Kakashi-ni-san can do better. She said, hey, I'm not kidding, he said. Hi, and today I fought Tsunade as well, she said, telling him off as he got depressed. Naruto as well as Team 7 looked at Kakashi. So it's here? He asked as Kakashi nodded. And you have nominated us? Sasuke asked as he nodded again. Sensei, are you sure we are ready for the Chunin exams? Sakura asked as I smiled. Well, that's for you to decide, he said. What do you mean we have a choice? Sasuke asked as he nodded. The exam starts at 10 a.m. in the academy's room 302. If you felt that you are ready, then show up, or don't, he said. Well, I'll be there, Naruto said, disappearing. I will fight many opponents from different villages so that way I can test my strength, Sasuke thought with a smirk, leaving while Sakura was still unsure whether she should participate or not. It won't be long until I get what I had desired the most. Now the three of you don't dare fail me or you know what will happen, he said as the three bowed higher. Orochimaru-sama, they as Orochimaru laughed darkly. 6 days later, Naruto and Sasuke stood near the academy. It is 10 a.m. already. You think she chickened out? Sasuke asked. I believe she will come, Naruto said, otherwise we can participate, he thought. Naruto. Sasuke-kun, she yelled, running towards them. So you came, he said with an eye smile. Of course I can't let you have all the fun now, can I? She said. Let's just go in, Sasuke muttered as the other two nodded and they went in. They reached the second floor genjutsu, Sasuke thought, going forward to reveal it only to see Naruto holding him by the shoulder as he shook his head. It's a trick to weed out the pretend Jonan, he said, surprising Sasuke, who in turn nodded as well as Sakura. So they turned around to go to the third floor only to see a green blur appear in front of them. You are him, Gai Sannyasi's eternal rivals. Student Uzumaki, Naruto, he said. While after a moment Naruto looked at him. You said something? He asked as Sasuke and Sakura sweat dropped down. Naruto in that hip cool attitude. But fear not, I lead the beautiful junior green beast of Konoha shall show you the flames of youth. He yelled. Just who is this guy? Sakura asked. You must. Sakura, Haruno-san, would you like to go on a date with me? He asked. You know you are weird, she said depressingly. How you got shot down? The girl with buns said. You must be one of the rookie teams. What is your name? The Hyuga asked while Sasuke looked at him indifferently. I'm not obliged to tell you anything, he said while the girl giggled. How cute, she said. Hey Naruto-kun, how about a spar? He asked. Sorry Lee, but another time we have to go, he said disappointingly as the team moved ahead. Oh, this is working just fine, Naruto thought with a grin behind his mask. Soon they entered the room 302 only to see many people glaring at them. Leaking ki, is that killing intent? Where is all the hate gone? Naruto asked, releasing his own as the room. It is good that this not even a friction of what we felt on the bridge. Sasuke though seeing many shake while he did notice a redhead with Suna headband smirking looking at Naruto, but then he finally dropped his ki as many sighed in relief. Sasuke-kun. Ino hugged him. Ino pig let go of him. Sakura Sakura barked. Troublesome, you are here as well, the Nara said, entering with Choji. Hey, looks like we all made it, Kiba said, entering with teammate. You all should quiet down, you know, came a voice as they saw a boy with silver hair and gases. And who are you? Kiba asked. I am Kabuto Yasuki, you must be the rookies who graduated this year and this must be your first exam, he asked. You have given these exams before? Sakura asked. 7 times actually, he said. My, you really are that bad, Kiba said. Kiba-kun, don't say things like that, Hinata said. It's alright, it is just that you don't know the difficulty faced in these exams, but let me show you something, he said, showing them cards. A pack of cards? Ino asked. Not just any cards, these are called ninfo cards. Tell me any name and I will give you information on the person, he said. Kabuto, right? Naruto said as the boy looked at him. Yes, you took the exam 7 times and yet you failed, and if I know the shinobi exams well enough, even the biggest of failures can become chunin at least after 7 tries if he is actually interested in promotion, that is. But you, I can see right through you. Quiet, the sneaky one, you are participating in this exams just to gain information, he said, making the rookie's eyes wide. But why? What would he gain by doing so? Sasuke asked. You are not looking underneath. The underneath are you. Information is the greatest weapon in the shinobi world. If you have data on skill of a shinobi and their fighting techniques, half the battle is won right there, he said, making their eyes wide. How did he know? Perhaps you and the Nara can figure it out together, he said. That guy, I still can't figure him out, and the most astounding part is that he knows, he thought, but then his eyes were wide as he saw Naruto blur out and appear before Kabuto, taking him by surprise as he took the ninfo cards from him. Hey, I can have you go on revealing information on anybody, otherwise the exam will become more boring than it already is, he said, throwing the card up. Slice, slice, slice. The card was turned into pieces, making many eyes wide. This guy, Sakura thought, shaking her head in amusement. Alright brats, sit down. I am Morino Ibiki, the proctor for this exam, he said as all looked at the scarred man with the bandana and the quickly stared to settle down. Alright, you need to answer the 9 questions in front of you in that paper in 45 minutes because you will have 15 minutes to answer the last one. Now if you are caught cheating by the examiners on your left, 2 points will be deducted off your paper, and if you are caught 5 times you will leave along with your team, he said, making many eyes wide. Since we are clear, let's begin, he said as all picked up their pencils. These questions, they are for Chunin and Jounin only. I see now. Information gathering, is it? Well, too bad, I know everything, Sakura. Well, I can. She'll answer these. As for Sasuke, is the brain enough to figure it out, he thought, starting to write down. 45 minutes later. That's enough. Stop doing anything now, Ibiki said as all did. Now time for the 10th question. It's optional, he said. So you mean we can decide whether to choose it or not? The Sunakunoichi asked as Ibiki nodded. Yes, you do have a choice. If you don't attempt this question you will be disqualified along with your team, but if you decide to answer the question and you do it wrong you will be barred from entering the Chunin exams ever again, he said, making almost all eyes wide. What, you can't do this? On yelled, while Ibiki just shrugged. My exams, my rules, and if you think you are not up for it then leave now, he said as all went into thinking, the bastard, he is a sadist, alright, making everyone believe that he can stop anyone from becoming Chunin, but in reality the 10th question, he smirked behind his mask. Many had left the hall to try their luck next time while many were still there. Now this is the last opportunity for you to leave, Ibiki said as no one wavered. Is this your final decision? He asked as they remained quiet. Very well, the teams that still remain pass, he said, shocking almost everyone. 3, 2, 1. What? They yelled. Oh, it never gets old, he thought. What do you mean, aren't we supposed to answer a question? Kiba asked you. The 10th question never existed, he said, shocking many. So what was the point of all that? A random Jonin asked. Being Chunin does not only mean leading, it means the guts, not give up when the odds are against you, and mostly importantly never to give up on your comrades. The individuals who left quit because they only thought about themselves. A Chunin always puts his team ahead of himself. That is a mark of a true leader, he said as looked at him in wonder. Crack. Groan. All were surprised to see a kunai come through the window, and then there was smoke which on clearance revealed Anko standing in front of a banner that said sexy and single. Anko Mitarashi, proctor for the 2nd exam, as all looked at the kunoichi some in awe and astonishment. While some in boredom. You were early, Anko, Ibiki said as she scoffed. No, I'm just ahead of the curve, and I see you are getting bad. Look at the number of Jonin still here, she said. Perhaps this bunch is brighter, he said. It does not matter, I will cut them in half. Alright brats, follow me, she said, walking out. So the rumors were true, the fox did retire, she thought. Ibiki was collecting the papers when Ibiki, keep an eye out for Kabuto Yasuki, something about him does not feel right, fox, it said, making Ibiki's eyes wide. All stood in front of the big forest with signs, danger, keep out, as Anko looked at the Jonin with a smirk. Well brats, welcome to training ground 44, or as I like to call it, the forest of death, she said, making many eyes wide while Naruto ignored all that and looked around him. A team from Kumo, well that's a first, those bastards don't usually send their Jonin. A team from Kari, well this make our bond stronger, and the most suspicious team is the one from the sand. If I know the bingo book well that's Sabaku no Gara, and those must be the other children of the Kazekage, but the redhead, something about him does not sit right with me, he thought. Naruto, Sasuke said, pulling him out of his thoughts. Nanda? He asked. Let's go get our scroll, he said as Naruto smiled. Ah yes, the scroll, let's go, he said, while the two looked at him oddly but shrugged as they went to collect their scroll. Now they stood in front of the gates. What was the exam about again? He asked as both sweat dropped. You zoned out didn't you? Sakura said as I smiled. I did, he said as another drop appeared. They were running through the forest when Naruto's eyes were wide. Look out, he yelled, but it was too late as the heavy wind blew them away. Shimada, how did I not see it coming? Naruto thought, rubbing the back of his head, but then his eyes were wide to see the big snake. A summon? Orochimaru. Shit, I need to get back, he thought, pulling out his headband to revel the Sharingan as it met the snake's eye, who dropped to the ground as Naruto rushed to his team. Sasuke and Sakura were on their knees shaking this ki. It's even greater than Naruto's, Sakura thought, trembling. Kukuku, is that all, Sasuke-kun? The girl said, making Sasuke clench his teeth, but then a big wall formed between this jutsu. Sasuke thought, you two get out now, Naruto said from behind them. Naruto. Sakura said, what do you mean get out together? We can, you fool, that's Orochimaru of the Sannin in disguise, Naruto said, making their eyes wide in shock. But what ab, don't worry about me, I am a clone, I will guide you to safety, he said. Boo, no more discussion, Sasuke. I believe he is after your Sharingan, and if you stay here he will get your body, and that is what he wants to get the body of a natural Uchiha, he said, shocking them. Sakura, let's leave and try to get to the authorities. If we stay we will only be an hindrance, Sasuke said as Sakura nodded in sadness. Take care, she said as Naruto. I smiled. I'm sure the boss will, he said. Naruto looked at the Sannin glaring at him with his Sharingan. Kukukuku, you are earlier than I had expected, Naruto-kun, or should I say Fox, the Sannin said. Orochimaru, you will never get a hand on Sasuke, I will end you here, he said as the Sannin howled in his creepy laugh. Defeat me? How amusing. But tell me, how is Karen-chan doing these days, he said, flaring his chakra as the ground cracked. While Naruto did not look worried, instead he released his own as the ground cracked even more. Don't take my sister's name from that wretched mouth of yours, and I seriously don't see the point of our arrogance. You are not even the strongest of the Sannin anymore, he said, making a half Tiger Seal. Ho, and who is stronger than me, he asked Jiraiya. Of course, he said, blurring out as his fist met with Orochimaru's. That idiot stronger than me? Don't make me laugh, he said. Who is laughing? I am just telling you a fact, he said. Then brat, I will show you the true extent of my power, he said, trying to punch him in lightning speed, but Naruto moved head away and kicked him in the gut, sending him back as he made a half Tiger Seal Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu, he fired as Orochimaru made seals landing on the ground. Doden. Doryu Heki, he rose a wall as it protected him going through seals again. Doden. Mud Snake Jutsu, he called as from the ground beside Naruto several snakes made of mud rose up, binding him. Hidden Shadow Snake Hands, he said as a snake came out of his sleeves and grabbed Naruto. I win, he said with a smug, only to see Naruto turn into mud as he reabsorbed the snake and looked behind to see a Naruto who was on one knee. Chidori Nagashi, the whole clearing crinkled in lightning, making Orochimaru's eyes wide as he jumped up. Rasengan. Naruto slammed from behind, making his eyes wider, sending him to the ground to get shocked by the Rasen Jutsu. Naruto soon stopped the jutsu to see Orochimaru on his ass lying, but then a hand came out of his mouth and another Orochimaru emerged as he chuckled as I thought your skill and power shows why you became the leader of the Deadly 20, he said, and you were more disgusting than I heard you were. Naruto said. Kukuku, I am I not? But it does not matter, I will end this instantly, he said, opening his mouth as a sword came out of Kusanagi no Tsurugi. Naruto asked as he chuckled. I see you know about this sword, he said as Naruto took out his own. I do, he said, charging his sword with Rasen chakra and blurring out clash. The two of their swords clashed. Then I suppose you know what it is, he said with a grin. Crack. Naruto's sword cracked, then turning into pieces as the Kusanagi came to slice him in two, but he ducked. I do, he said with smirk as lightning formed in his hand. Twop. Orochimaru's eyes were wide. He saw the katana made of pure lightning impale him. This brat, he thought, clenching his teeth as the katana went through his shoulder. It's over, Naruto said, forming a Chidori in his left arm as it went to impale Orochimaru, but he jumped away, seething. I had enough of playing around with you, brat, now I will kill you, he yelled, biting his thumb and spraying his blood over his tattoo summoning jutsu. He yelled, making a big puff as all the Genin looked at the giant snake with wide eyes from around the forest. Orochimaru, you dare summon me? Madara yelled. I need your help. Once after this I promise you 100 human sacrifice, he said. Fine, but I don't see a battle, he said. It's down there, Orochimaru said as Madara glared down. A brat, he hissed, an elite Anbu level brat. Orochimaru said. Fine, I will eat him alive, Madara said. Orochimaru, oh my Bakadaro, the Hokage will be here any moment, Naruto said as he laughed. I'd be long gone before that. After Madara kills you, he said. Kill me? How foolish, he said with a bored voice. What did you say, brat? I said, you big ugly snake. That how are you supposed to kill me if you can't move, he said, making their eyes wide as the ground beneath Madara became liquid. Nandato. This is Jiraiya's jutsu. Madara, move, he said. Oh no you don't, Naruto said from the top of a tree, making seals futon. Kazekiri no jutsu, he said, cutting the end of Madara's tail as he hissed. I'll kill you, he snarled. But can you? Another Naruto asked, making seals Raiden. 8-pillar bind, he said. 8 big pillars rode around the snake and charged electricity at him as Madara hisses louder. I must do something, Orochimaru thought, but he saw a blade to wand coming at him, making him jump while Naruto smirked, making seals Doden. Mud drop, he said as the sky opened and red mud descended upon Madara. Raiden. 16 pillar bind, he said. 8 more pillars came out, completely covering the huge snake Nanda no Kozo. Wow, this level of ninjas to Amakaimaru thought in shock, while the real Naruto smirked, making a tiger seal katen. This technique, he said, as the inside of the huge cube was covered in flames, but after some time it died down and the pillars went back in, revealing a huge red statue. Orochimaru glared at the blonde who landed beside the statue as he tufted Chidori Nagashi, he said, as the current traveled throughout the whole statue, then turning it into pieces. Why you, I will not forgive you for what you have done. Orochimaru yelled, laying on his gut as hundreds of snakes came out of his mouth, summoning 10,000 snake formation. He thought 10,000 snakes came out and all opened their mouths to reveal a kusanage as they came towards Naruto. Damn, as cool as the last jutsu looked, I should not have done it, he thought. Humph, how pitiful. I will lend you my chakra, the Kyubey said as he grinned behind his mask. Arigato. Na Kyubey, he said, only to hear a grunt as 5 clones formed in front of him. He still has chakra. What kind of monsters are Konoha creating? Orochimaru thought, looking at them go through seals as the snakes came closer, ready to impale them. Tiger. All the Naruto puffed their chests. Katen, Kuruenden. They fired in union, releasing the white-hot inferno which hit the snakes, burning them to crisps. Smoke covered the whole area as Naruto's clones dispelled and he huffed, but several snakes grabbed him, making his eyes wide. I have to say, you are the best I have faced in years, but I can't let you ruin my plans, he said, making the hold tighter, making Naruto clench his teeth. But then he smirked. I told you it's foolish to think you can kill me, he said, making his eyes wide as he found himself impaled to a log with many nails. Not this jutsu again, it's just like Orochimaru. I will repeat what Itachi told you not long ago, he said, shocking Orochimaru as he formed a Rikari in his hand. Before my eyes all your jutsu are useless, he said, impaling him through the chest as Orochimaru shouted. But then in lightning quick speed another Orochimaru came out of the mouth, shocking Naruto, who jumped back and quickly threw a lightning-enhanced kunai at him, but he dodged, releasing the kusanagi from his mouth while Naruto tripped, falling on his ass. Die. Orochimaru yelled as he came as close as his face, ready to impale him, but at the last moment he saw Naruto's eye spin and in a blur the kunai that he had previously thrown was in his place. Bakana. Orochimaru thought in shock while Blonde was behind him. I win, he whispered, smashing the Rasengan on his back. Boom. Was the huge explosion. Naruto lay on his ass, huffing. If that does not kill, I don't know what will, he thought, but then he looked in shock as from the shadows came a barely walking Orochimaru with the kusanagi in his hand. Why you brat, how dare you do this to me? I will end you, he said, but then suddenly a kunai dropped near Orochimaru's feet, distracting him, while an Anbu took advantage as he dropped near Naruto and sunshined with him. While Orochimaru looked up in shock, Orochimaru, it's over, Hiruzen said in his battle gear, standing with 19 Anbu. Never, he yelled as snake wrapped around him, making him disappear via reverse summoning. Hiruzen muttered, then looked at Naruto. Are you alright, Naruto-kun? He said. Glad to see you made it in time, he said before passing out. Even at a time like this he never forgets his sarcasm, Duck said, shaking his head. That's what makes him Captain Boar said as the rest snickered. Hokage-sama, Kakashi said. Rushing in, is he? He's alright, Kakashi-kun, just out due to exhaustion, Hiruzen said as the Jounin sighed. What is it with him and fighting a Sannin? Who's next, Tsunade-sama? Kakashi asked as Hiruzen chuckled. One can never know, it's him after all, he said as the rest chucked, but little did they really know. Naruto groaned, opening his eyes, finding himself in a dark place. Am I dead? He though no, but I will kill you, a voice came as he turned around and looked in shock at the replica of him with both eyes red, but he saw the left eye, it was different. It was red, but he saw 6 black triangles on the border of the iris all around it, connected to his pupil. Mangekyo Sharingan, Ka, he said, wide eyes, while the figure grinned. I have been waiting for you, he said as his grin became evil. Naruto looked at his copy with wide eyes. He didn't have the mask like he did. Who are you? He asked as the copy grinned. Isn't it obvious? I am the dark half of Naruto and you are light, he said, making his eyes wide. This must be a bad dream, he thought. Don't worry, it isn't, he said, making his eyes wider. What do you want? He asked, narrowing his eyes as Yami. Naruto grinned. Control. I want full control over Naruto. You are a weakness. With me I can cut off all my bonds and then nothing can stop me from becoming the best, he said. Breaking ties will not grant power, only sorrow. Tell me, can you break our bond with Karen? He asked, narrowing his eyes as he saw hesitation in him. Why yes I will, he said. It is said you can lie to anyone but yourself. You and me, we are the same, he said as Yami. Naruto glared at him. Shut up, I am nothing like you, he yelled, throwing a lightning enhanced kunai at him, and when Naruto tried to dodge it, it was replaced by his darker half, who had a Chidori in his hand. I win, he said, but then Naruto's eye spun and the kunai was back in its place as well as his darker half. He dodged the kunai and took out a kunai to look at his eye. So I have the Mangekyo as well. While his ability is to replace things with himself, I can replace one thing with another, he thought, which means my Mangekyo nullifies his and his nullifies mine. The dark Naruto though as both gazed at each other, then bending on one knee, Chidori Nagashi, they yelled, releasing black and blue lightning, fighting for supremacy against each other, but then it died down as the two rushed at each other, clashing their swords against each other. Chidori, katana, they said in union as the blades clashed, creating an explosion, sending the two back, but in midair the two made a half tiger seal katen. Gokakyu no Jutsu. They fired at each other. Why are you doing this? Naruto asked as his darker half glared at him. Because you ignore my existence and have tried to suppress me for long. All the hatred against how you were treated in Konoha. I am the only who remembers because you have sealed off all that feeling deep within you and me, you bastard. He yelled as Naruto looked down. It's true that I have done so, but I will not fall for this curse of hatred, he said, rushing towards him. Then I will take you down, Yami yelled as their forearms clashed on meeting each other as they started to beat the living daylight out of each other. Both huffed, looking at each other, huffing with bruises all over each other's body. Why can't you let it be? Yami asked. Because that is not what makes us who we are. Or did you forget the first lesson that Sensei taught us, that those who break the rules are scum? Yes, but those who abandon their friends and comrades are worse than scum, he said as Yami glared at him. Then why the hell are you abandoning me? He yelled. I am not abandoning you, but I can never accept the current you. Even my darkness is better than who you are because I believe in who we are as whole, he said. Stop rumbling bullshit, he yelled, disappearing as Naruto looked at the kunai below him with wide eyes as it was replaced by his other half, who had a grin on his face as he impaled him. I win, he said as Naruto turned into a flock of crows, making his eyes wide. The next thing he knew was him standing as Naruto had a hand over his head. How he shuddered. I thought you'd figure it out since you are me, but didn't you see the fight carefully, he said, shocking him. Masaka, yes, he's Onami, the ultimate genjutsu of the Sharingan, he said. You bastard, you sacrificed UI to defeat me, he said with a glare. Do you think I am that stupid? Tell me, did you ever feel drain in our chakra during our fight? He asked, making his eyes wide. Whatever happens here will not matter in the outside world, he said as Naruto nodded. So what now? You will send me back, will you? He asked, glaring at him. No, it was my mistake to suppress you in the first place. You are me and I am you. We are yin and yang of Naruto Uzumaki. We complete each other. So what do you say? Let's work together, he said, offering his hand as his darkness looked at him. And if you try to suppress me again? He asked. I won't. I swear that on all the bonds we have with people, he said as the darkness nodded. Very well, I will work with you, he said, taking his hand as Naruto smiled. You won't regret this, he said as the two merged, creating a big glow, and when it died down there stood a single Naruto now, who opened his eyes. One blue and other was the Sharingan as it shone into Mangekyo, but the difference was it glowed very brightly in the darkness. I am whole, he said with a grin. The Kyuubi who was watching this had his eyes wide. He did it. He gained the true Mangekyo Sharingan, he said, then shaking his head. How far he will go is not known to me, but be prepared. Madara, the one to defeat you, is here, he said with a smirk, going back to his slumber. Naruto's eyes flashed open as he looked around to find himself on a bed, then saw his red-headed sister was sitting next to his bed with her head down on his bed, making him smile. Karen-chan, he said softly, ruffling her hair as she looked up slowly and then looked at him with wide eyes. Oni-chan, she exclaimed, grabbing onto him and sobbing on his chest, making him chuckle. Oni-chan, why do you have to go and do these things to me? She yelled. Well, it's part of who I am, he said. But why is it supposed to be a Sanin? She yelled as he moved his hands through her hair. Because I want you to forget the memory of that bastard once and for all, he said as she looked up and looked at him with wide eyes. I know you still fear him and I don't want you to anymore. He is strong, yes, maybe inhumane at times, but a human nonetheless, with delusion that he can never die. So I decided to finish him off once and for all, both in a shinobi of Konoha and your brother, he said as tears escaped her eyes as she snuggled into his chest tightly. Your love for me is going the death F you, Oni-chan, she said as he chuckled. What is to do with this life if you are not in it? There is nothing to fight for me if you are not there, and all dreams will become meaningless because your happiness comes above all my dreams, he said as she started to sob violently. Don't say things like these, Ni-chan, she said while he held onto her. Knock knock. Karen rose up, wiping her eyes and adjusting herself. Come in, she said as Kakashi and Hiruzen entered. Naruto-kun, glad to see you are back up, he said with a smile as he grinned. Thanks, but what happened while I was out, he asked. Well, you have been out for 3 days. Sasuke and Sakura got to the tower with the scrolls to pass the exams and are currently worried since I informed them you are in the hospital, he said as Naruto smiled. I see, so they got back safely. What about him? He asked as Hiruzen's mood darkened. He got away by using reverse summoning, he said as Naruto sighed. I see. I thought we got him. He was almost out of chakra and on his last leg, but he is as sneaky as ever, he said as the two nodded. What was he after? Kakashi asked. Sasuke's Sharingan. Since I look after him, Orochimaru must not get his hands on him, he said, making their eyes wide. I see, then I will go to the tower, Kakashi said as they nodded and he sunshined away. So Naruto-kun, you feeling alright? Hiruzen asked as he grinned. Of course it's me after all, he said as Karen hit him on the head. Ow. Don't get too cocky, she scolded while Hiruzen chuckled. 2 days later. I see you all started the party without me, he said as all looked at him with wide eyes. Naruto, Sakura said, rushing towards him. I see you made it, Sasuke said as he smirked behind his mask. I won't miss it for the world, he said. Yosh, Naruto-kun, my eternal rival, I'm glad to see you in one piece, Lee exclaimed as he did not look at Lee. But then he did. Huh? You said something, Lee? He asked. Danmu and your hip cool attitude, he yelled. Danmu, Kakashi spoiling youths with your hip cool attitude, Guy said as after a moment the Jounin looked up from his book. Huh? You said something, Guy? He asked as all fell over their face. Naruto and Kakashi looked at each other and shrugged while Sakura and Sasuke sweat dropped. Asuma began to chuckle. Those two, he said, it's almost as if they are twins. Kurenai said Konoha ninja are weird. First that guy and his clone with big brows and now these Cyclops twins. Amoe said that Cyclops that you were talking about is the legendary Kakashi Hatake of the Sharingan, and if my sources are right, like him, his student too has the Sharingan implanted, and if he is anything like his master he will be a force to reckon with. Daru said, making Vijinan's eyes wide. I see, so that's him, he looks cool. The blonde said stoically. All looked at the Hokage. Now since that is done with, let's con cough. Hokage-sama, if you'd mind I can take over from here. A Jounin with a bandana said, while the Sandom sighed. Very well Hayate-kun, he said as all the Jounin looked at him. Now this is time for the third exam to begin, which is the preliminaries. From here on out the battles will be one-on-one and I will proctor these matches. The rules are that anything goes, but the matches stop when I say they do. Is that clear? He asked, then coughing as all nodded. Good, if there is anyone who wishes to quit can quit now, he said as Kabuto rose his hand. I am almost out of chakra, I would like to quit, he said as Hayate nodded. Name? He asked Kabuto. Yashuki, he said. Very well Kabuto-san, you will be escorted out by one of the Chunin, he said while Naruto had his eyes narrowed. His reserves are full. Almost Jounin, what is he playing at? Is my theory about him correct? He thought, seeing the white-haired boy walk out. All right, the names of the fighters will be displayed on the screen now, everyone can go up to the railing, he said as all jumped away. Soon the names on the board started to spin. What do you know right off the bat? Naruto said, looking at his opponent Uzumaki. Naruto VMOE of Kumohasu. It seems Kakashi said. No, I wanted to fight him. Lee said, don't worry about it Lee, you will get to fight him. Guy reassured. Hi guys, Sensei. Lee said, be careful. Amoe. Daru said, hi, he said, jumping down. Well, meet you in the final, Sasuke said with a smirk. Well, if you can make it, do not underestimate your opponents, he said as Sasuke nodded in understanding while Naruto sunshine down looking at his opponent. So you must be the student of the famed Kakashi of the Sharingan, he said, and you must be the student of Daru of the Black Lightning, Raikage's second-in-command mage. Janan at 6, Chunin at 8 and A. Jounin at 12, personally trained by the Yondai Monrulier, the fastest man alive, he said as all had bugged eyes. Even Daru looked down in surprise. How do you know so much? Amoe asked as Naruto shrugged. Are the two of you ready? Hayate asked as the two nodded. Begin, he said. So you like lollipops? Naruto asked, making him sweat drop. Is this something you were supposed to ask in combat? Amoe asked. You wanna ask me something? Go ahead, Naruto said. So do you have it, the Sharingan like your sensei? He asked. Sharingan ka, he said, moving his headband up. As I thought. Daru thought, so that's the Sharingan. Lee said. So the guy said, I thought you had it, but enough of talk, let's fight, he said, making seals, but he didn't see Naruto's Sharingan spin. Raiten. Lightning bolt, Amoe said as lightning formed in both his hands as he sent the lightning waves towards Naruto, but was shocked to see him do the same jutsu as well. What the hell, how he do Amoe's jutsu? Kuro shouted. Kakashi Hatake is famed as the copy ninja because he has copied over 1000 ninjutsu and has an ability to copy his enemies' jutsu and use it on them, and his student takes right after him, Daru explained, making their eyes wide. So that is the power of the Sharingan, Neji thought, looking down as the two attacks clashed. He copied my jutsu and used it on me, Amoe thought with wide eyes, but then taking out his katana and rushing towards Naruto. Cloud-style crescent moon beheading, he said, making a big horizontal slash as it hit Naruto, who puffed away, making his eyes wide. A clone, he thought, then he felt a kunai on his neck. It's over, Naruto said as he still was too shocked to say a thing. Winner. Uzumaki. Naruto, Hayate said. Naruto took down his kunai. You are an interesting fellow until we meet again, Ja, he said, disappearing. His jutsu speed is too fast for me to follow, Sasuke thought, looking at Naruto with his Sharingan. Well done, Naruto, Kakashi said with a nice smile as he replied in kind. Kiba Inazuki v Sabaku no Kankuro Yoshikazu Wakamaru, Kiba said, jumping down while Kankuro walked down. Watch the fight closely, Sasuke might learn a thing or two, Naruto said. What could be so interesting in a fight between mud and a weird makeup guy, he thought, narrowing his eyes down, as did Sakura. The two looked at each other. Are the two of you ready? Hayate asked, receiving nods from them. Begin, he said. Something is off about this guy, he smells weird, he thought as Kankuro took off the baggage from his back and smirked. Don't worry, this fight will be over before you can make a move, he said. What did you say? Kiba yelled, clenching his teeth. Let's go, Akamaru, let's put him in the sand, he said with a grin. Arf, Akamaru barked, then growling at Kankuro. A puppy. How lame to bring one in battle, he said. Enough for this, Kiba said, taking out 4 smoke bombs and dropping them, covering the whole area with smoke. But then it cleared. All saw Kiba holding a kunai at Kankuro's neck, nearly making all eyes wide. You lose, he said with a smirk, but to his horror Kankuro's face did a 360 as his eyes came out and then many hands wrapped around Kiba while a hand came out of the bandages revealing strings. Then Kankuro himself came out while the other was a puppet eye to puff. His eyes were wide as Kiba turned to Akamaru, and soon there was smoke bombs dropped and all everyone could see was a drill through it. When the sum cleared, all were shocked to see Kankuro beaten with many scratches over his body, his puppet broken and turned into pieces, while 2 Kiba stood above him with a kunai at his neck and a smirk. You know, at first you had me confused, I could not see through your trap, but never underestimate an Inuzuka's nose, he said while Kankuro looked at him with wide eyes. Winner. Kiba Inuzuka, the proctor said as Akamaru turned to normal. Arf arf, he said with joy. Yada, we did it, Akamaru, he said, hugging his dog. So all he needed was his senses to see though the puppet trap. Is that what you mean, Naruto? Keep your senses sharp, he thought, looking at Naruto, who smiled looking down at the Inuzuka. He did well, Asuma said as Kurenai smiled. Yes, for once he did not jump into situations head on, she said. Next match, Shikamaru Nara v Kuran. Kuma Hayate said, troublesome, why do I have to fight a girl, he said with a groan. Hey, don't underestimate the power of a woman, Kari yelled, glaring at him along with other kunoichi in the room while he still maintained his bored look and walked down with a sigh and muttered, troublesome women. Are the two of you ready? Hayate asked as the two nodded. Begin, he said. Kuro took out her katana. I will teach you not to underestimate a kunoichi, she said, coming at him as he just jumped up to stick himself to the roof. Damn you, troublesome woman, making me do this much work, he said, looking her upside down. Shut up, she yelled, jumping up and sticking herself to the roof, and came at him but then was not able to move, making her eyes wide. Shadow possession jutsu success, he said with a smirk. He led me into a trap all along, she thought with wide eyes as she looked at him jumping down and taking her with him. Let me go, she said, clenching her teeth. No. Now quit, he said, taking out a kunai as she struggled more but to no avail. Fine, I quit, she said with a huff. Thank God this troublesome thing is over with, Shikamaru said, undoing his jutsu. Though he is a genius, he need a bit of motivation. Kurenai said, yeah, try motivating it. Our only sleep motivates these lazy asses, Asuma said as Kurenai sweat dropped. Then looked at the board for the next match. Shino Aburame v Sasuke Uchiha. Hey, looks like you have a tough fight ahead of you, Naruto said as Sasuke smirked. I won't lose, he said, jumping down. Are the two of you ready? Hayate asked, receiving nods from them. Then begin, he said. Let's get this thing over with, Sasuke said, activating his Sharingan with two Tomios in each eyes while the Aburame kept looking at him stoically. Sasuke looked at his opponent and activated his Sharingan. So you activated the Sharingan, I see, the Aburame said in a monotonous voice, but Sasuke did not waste time on words and rushed at the Aburame in an impressive speed and delivered a kick to his side only to be blocked by his arm. Shino tried to punch him but he intercepted it with ease and did a backflip and made Seal's Kaden Gokakyu Uno Jutsu. He fired as it hit Shino but only to see him turn into bugs, making his eyes wide. Then he saw the floor covered with bugs coming at him and few on his arm. These bugs, they are sucking off my chakra, he thought with wide eyes, and then seeing Shino appearing before him as he made Seal's again Kaden Gokakyu Uno Jutsu. He fired but in turn Shino made Seal's Suten Water Wall, he said, spitting a water wall from his mouth and stopping Sasuke's attack. Fire was my disability, but Kurenai Sensei helped me sort that out. In other words, you cannot win, Uchiha-san, Shino said in a monotonous voice, but in turn Sasuke smirked. Too bad for you, it's not my only affinity, he said, turning into lightning, making many eyes wide. A lightning clone, they though. But then Sasuke dropped before Shino, which surprised him as he saw Sasuke upside down with his feet tied to the ceiling with ninja wire and a kunai. Shino looked into Sasuke's eyes and fell on the floor while Sasuke smirked, jumping down after cutting his wire. Never looked directly into Uchiha's eyes, he said, turning around only to see bugs surround him, making his eyes wide. Lucky for me, my sensei is the best genjutsu user in Konoha, he said as all saw the cut on knee he made to counter the genjutsu. Sasuke took the opportunity to jump high as he threw many kunai at Shino. Insect wall, he said as a wall of insects protected him. Damn, I can still feel the chakra begin sucked off, Sasuke thought, landing on the ground flipping through Seal's Kaden Hosen Kano Jutsu. He fired 10 small fireballs while Shino flipped through Seal's again Suten Water Wall, he said, undoing the jutsu, but to his surprise Shuriken controlled by ninja wire came at him, so he jumped to dodge it only to see a kunai with ninja wire wrap around him. On the other side he saw a grinning Sasuke with the strings between his teeth and a tiger seal form. Give up or I roast you alive, he said, but then Shino turned into bugs, making many eyes wide. Sasuke's were wider as he felt the kunai to his neck. My bugs tells me where you are all the time you lose, he said, but to his surprise he turned into lightning and shocked the Aburame, who then found himself in the similar situation. I have to say it was a big gamble using almost all of my chakra on a clone to make you believe it was me, but it worked in the end. You lose, Sasuke said. I do. The Aburame said, winner. Uchiha Sasuke Hayate said, way to go, Sasuke-kun. Sakura and Ino cheered while many clapped. You taught him lightning? Kakashi asked Naruto, who smiled. Yeah, I thought it would come to him as an handy trick, he said as Sasuke appeared. I'm out of chakra, he said. Settle down, I got it, Naruto said, making Seal's mystical palm technique, he said as there was a green glow over his palm as he tuffed Sasuke's back, who had his eyes wide. My chakra, I can feel it resurface. Is there any shinobi art he does not know, he thought, while others were surprised. I didn't know that Naruto was this good a medic, maybe I could ask him to teach me later, Sakura thought. Next match is Sabaku no Tamari v Tenten Higuchi Yosh. Tenten, show them your flames of youth. Guy yelled. Yes Tenten, you can do it, Lee cheered while the said Kunoichi sighed and walked down. You two shut up, she said while looking at Tamari, who walked down elegantly. Are the two of you ready, Hayate asked, receiving nods from them. Begin, he said. When this fan opens it's over, girly, Tamari said with a smirk. We'll see, Tenten said, launching many weapons at her. her but she blew it away easily without much effort. It's over, Tamari said, fully opening her fan. Not yet, Tenten said, taking out 2 scrolls, throwing it in the air as they opened up. Twin Rising Dragon, she yelled, releasing an insane amount of weapons at her, but Tamari did not look worried as she swung her fan. Sickle Weasel Jutsu, she said, releasing a small tornado which caught Tenten, and the next thing she knew she was on top Tamari's fan as she passed out. Winner. Sabaku no Tamari medics, Genma said as the medics came in and took Tenten away. A Wind Maiden, I thought they were gone, but it does not seem that way, Naruto thought, but came out of his musing on seeing the next match. Samui of Kuma v Choji Akimichi. Alright Choji, you are up. If you win I will treat you to barbecue. Asuma motivated him. Alright I will, he said, jumping down only to look at the emotionless Kunoichi. Are the two of ready? Hayate asked. Hi, Choji said while Samui just nodded. Begin, he said. Yosh. Multi-size technique, he said as his body grew. Human bullet tank, he said, turning into a ball as he rolled towards Samui, who made a ram seal. Raiden. John, she said, releasing the lightning attack from her fingers as it hit Choji. Choji, Ino exclaimed in worry, looking at his passed out teammate. Don't worry, he'll be fine, Asuma said. Winner. Samui of Kuma medics, Hayate said while the said Kunoichi icily walked away. Ino Yamanaka v Sakura Haruno was the next match. Hey Sasuke, look, it's your fangirls, Naruto teased as he scoffed and looked away. I will bring you down today, forehead. Oh yeah, let's see who wins, Piggy, she yelled. Cannon, the fight is too pathetic to write. All sweat dropped seeing the 2 banshees pass out. Didn't they train at all? Kuro asked the question. Fangirls, Tamari scoffed while Asuma and Kakashi sighed and picked up their 2 Janan. Neji Hyuga v Hinata. Hyuga, many eyes were wide. Hinata-sama, I would ask you to forfeit. You are nothing but a failure, Neji said. Hard work can beat anything, Nisan, she said while Neji scoffed. Then I will show you the failure you are and why I'm fated to win, he said. Man, that Hyuga has a big stick up his ass, Kuro said. Don't say anything about that, clan, Daru said, silencing his Janan. Hinata and Neji were down and looking at each other. Are the two of you ready? Hayate asked, receiving nods from them. Then begin, he said. Byakugan, the two said, rushing at each other, clashing blows. You are in my field of division. 64 palm trigram, rotation. Hinata created the barrier around herself, surprising many. Boom. Neji was thrown off. I did not know she could use that technique, Kurenai said. Neither did anyone else, Naruto said as all looked at him. You have something to with this? Kakashi asked as he nodded. She is best friends with my sister who bugged me to help her out after graduation. At first she was not good at all. Her form was messy and she lacked confidence, but then I realized that the problem is not with her, he said. What do you mean? Sasuke asked. Hyuga generally have rigid bodies for using the traditional Juken, but Hinata was too flexible for that, so I helped her with her chakra control and forms, he said. Why was I not informed of this? Kurenai asked, narrowing her eyes, but Naruto gave her a bored look. What are you whining about? You are a Janon, and if you can't keep track of your Janon it means you are slacking off, he said. What did you say? She asked in a stern voice. As much as the truth hurts, it's still the truth. You were not able to improve, Hinata, because you let your personal feelings get ahead of you. You used to walk Hinata to the academy while you were a Chunin. Hinata had lost her mother, so she looked at you to fill that role, and you did, which is good, but you never saw her more than that. You never tried to push her beyond her limits, and that is the truth. Learn to accept it, he finished as all looked at him with wide eyes while Kurenai was stunned. Then she looked down. Impossible. How is it that a failure like her can use that technique? Neji thought, glaring intensely at Hinata, who took a stance. Yes, I am a failure, but I worked hard to improve myself to become the next clan head of the Hyuga clan and finally remove the curse that has haunted our family for long, she said, taking a stance and started to move in hands in rapid succession as it became blurry, slowly forming the net of chakra protecting 8 trigram 64 palms, she said, making all eyes wide as she sent the attack towards Neji. She created her own style, he thought, as the attack neared him. Kitten, he yelled, creating the blue sphere around him to protect himself so he can use the attack as well. Sasuke said, Neji is a prodigy of the Hyuga clan. Even if he is a branch member, he is just as good any main branch guy, explained Hinata. Kurenai thought with wide eyes, as did Kiba and Shino. Hinata had her eyes wide while Neji smirked. Impressive of you to create a style of your own, but you cannot defeat me yet, Neji said as Hinata smiled. I accepted that fact since I saw that I was to fight you, but it does not mean I will give up, she said as her Byakugan flared into action and she rushed towards Neji, who did the same, and when they met in the center the two spun. Kitten, the yelled. Boom. Hinata, Kiba shouted, seeing his teammate thrown to the wall while Neji barely stood, huffing. See, I told you, once a failure always a fail. He saw cut off when Hinata stood up. Barely. I will not give up, she said. Stop being stubborn and give up, Neji yelled. And no, she said. Then he yelled, going to strike her in the heart, but he was caught by the finger as he saw Naruto glaring at him with his one cold blue eye, which sent shivers up his spine. And then the Jounin appeared while Hinata collapsed. So you were going to kill a comrade because of your anger? Do you consider yourself as a shinobi? Naruto said as Guy looked at his student in disappointment while Kurenai glared at I don't need advice from you on how to be a shinobi, he said. No, but I will teach you how to become one. If your so-called fate is good, then you will not face me in the finals, he said, letting go of the finger as he walked towards Hinata and picked her up. I will take her to the hospital, Kakashi sensei. If I do not return, draw the lot for me, he said as the Jounin nodded and he disappeared, but not giving Kurenai a nod while receiving one as well. Neji-san, I indeed pray you don't have to face the fox himself in the finals. The two are very pissed of fox. I have seen what he is capable of when he is Hiruzen, thought with a sigh. Naruto was seated outside Hinata's room when almost deadly was rushed in by doctors and guided to the ICU, making his eyes wide. Guy sensei, how many, he asked for the Jounin said in a dreaded voice, making his eyes wide. Who? He asked. Gaara of the Sand, he said, making his eyes wider, as I thought something was off about that kid. He thought he is the Jinchuriki of Shukaku and very unstable, QB informed him, which shocked him. I see, so that's what that feeling was, he thought. Kakashi appeared via Sunshin. Hey sensei, what are the matches for the finals, he asked. Well, you are to go right off the bat again because you will be facing Neji, he said, and could have sworn he saw the shit-eating grin under Naruto's mask. The next is Sasuke v Samui of Kumo. After that, Gaara of the Sand goes against Kiba, and lastly Shikamaru goes against Temari of the Desert, he said. Kiba is not thinking of fighting, is he? Gaara is the container of Ichibi, he said, making both Kakashi and Guy's eyes wide. How did you, my tenant, he said as they nodded in understanding. Alright, I'll go home, I need rest, he said, disappearing. Oni-chan, welcome back. Karen welcomed him. Karen, Hinata is in the hospital, you might want to go and see her, he said, shocking her. Hi, she said, rushing to the door wearing her sandals and then disappearing after a tiger seal. While Naruto sighed and walked in. I need to figure out the true extent of my Mangekyo powers. Itachi did say something about Naka Shrine and the old Uchiha tablet, he thought, pulling up his headband, then activating his Majekyu Sharingan and looking at it. If I master its teleportation powers, it could become a great asset in combat, but what if I lose the eye due to its overuse? Itachi did tell me that he was to become blind if he overuses his eyes. After all, the Mangekyo is called the cursed eyes for a reason, he thought. You don't have to worry about losing your sight. Kyuubi's voice came. What do you mean, Kyuubi, he asked. I said that you will never lose your eyesight due to overuse, because unlike any other Uchiha you have awakened the true Mangekyo Sharingan, he said, making Naruto's eyes wide. The true Mangekyo Sharingan? He asked. Yes, to awaken these eyes one must be complete. You merged with your darkness, you accepted it, which is why you are complete and are not conflicted, he said. Then why didn't the same happen to Itachi? Because after all, he is the best Uchiha I know, he asked, hearing a grunt. While I agree with you, let me ask you a question. What will happen if he finds out that a Konohanain killed his brother or failed to protect him? He asked, making Naruto's eyes wide. He loves his brother more than anything else and will fall for the curse if he is to lose him, he said as Kyuubi nodded. It's genetic for the Uchiha, because once an Uchiha comes to love and then loses it, he goes crazy. All his previously checked emotions are lost and his lust for power and destruction increases. That is the curse of the clan. Mangekyo can be awakened by killing the people closest to you or in near-death situations like you're against the snake, he explained. I see, but tell me something, was there any other with eyes similar to mine, he asked. Only one, the ancestor of the Uchiha, the eldest son of the sage. Unlike you, he was darkness and complete at the same time, so he never needed the eternal eyes, he said. I understand. Thanks you for the input, Kyuubi, he said, hearing a grunt. You may have gained these eyes, but if you ever, hey, what about the whole mutual trust thing? I have held my end of the bargain, have I not, he asked, receiving a snort. I take it as a yes. You know you are not much difficult to understand for ball, he said. Impudent human you, he cut off the link and chuckled. Next day, Naruto and Karen rushed to the Anbu hospital only to see Hayate's dead body with wide eyes. His eyes traveled to Nico, who had her mask on. Ne-san, remove your mask, he asked as she stiffened but didn't do anything, so he removed it on his own only to see a red-eyed Yugao. Ne-san, I'm sorry, he said, hugging her as she started to sob violently while Karen rubbed her back. What happened? He asked. Hayate, he saw on IM mission to spy on Kakabuto, and when I came to back him up, she could not complete as she burst into tears while he hugged her tightly. It's my fault, I had my suspicions on Kabuto and I was not able to fully enter Orochimaru, he said as Yugao shook her head and looked at him. Don't do this to yourself, you have enough burden as it is. Hayate-kun died to protect the village as a proud shinobi, she said. Naruto-kun, you are one of the foremost experts in futon ninjutsu in the village, I would like you to have a look, Hiruzen said as he nodded while Karen comforted Yugao. Naruto looked at the body. It's definitely Kaze no Yaibi, I know it since I copied it off Asuna Anbu, but it can be anyone, he said. Naruto-kun, we are dealing this a threat of an attack. Jiraiya-kun has informed us that Orochimaru is in fact the leader of Sound Village, and then there is Asuna. They sent their unstable Jinchuriki to the exams. This does not sit right with me, Hiruzen said. You are suspecting a joint invasion? Naruto asked, receiving a nod from the old cage. If that is the case, then it's time for me to return, he said, making everyone in room eyes wide. Captain? Duck asked as he nodded. It's time to show Orochimaru why Konoha is the strongest of all villages and why my team is feared throughout the elemental nations, he said with determined eyes. Naruto looked at Jiraiya. So are you ready to train Uto techniques? He asked as Naruto shook his head. Not yet, I have to master something before that, he said. What? He asked as Naruto revealed his Sharingan and then it turned into his MS, making Jiraiya's eyes wide. Is that? He asked, receiving a nod from him. I gained this eye when I can close to death in my fight against Orochimaru, he said, but you do know you will lose your sight like other Uchiha who gained these eyes. If I know my history well, Jiraiya asked. I cannot lose my eyes, I will explain it to you later, but then downside, so its power is chakra consumption. As you know, I am not an Uchiha, so whenever I use its power once I lose 1/4 of my chakra, but by constant use I can reduce the amount of chakra consumption, and once I have it mastered it will take me almost negligible amount of chakra, he said. What is this power anyway? Jiraiya asked as he took out a kunai and tossed it in front of him as his eyes spun. Amino Tejikara, heavenly hand of power. And soon Jiraiya was switched with the kunai. As he stood in front of Naruto looking at him with wide eyes, this space-time ninjutsu is similar to Naruto, grinned Hiraishi. Yes, but more like the Nedims. My father was a different level when it came to space-time ninjutsu because he could teleport himself to far-off places without so much as a flinch, while my range of using this jutsu is restricted because I need to see an object to replace it with myself or another thing. So what I want to do with this time is build my reserves as well as increase my speed, and lastly try to increase the number of time I can use this jutsu because it will take time to master it and I don't want to depend on it much, he said. I understand. Alright brat, let's begin, he said, receiving a nod from him. Sasuke looked at Kakashi. They were outside the village to train. Before we start, Sasuke, I want to know, what are your goals of becoming strong? Kakashi asked. It's still my ambition to kill Itachi, he said as Kakashi sighed, but most of all I want to surpass Naruto as a shinobi, he said, surprising the Jounin. Don't give me the look. You may have convinced Sakura that it was the Hokage that fought Orochimaru in the forest, but I know it full well that it was him that performed those jutsu and in the end turned that huge snake into pieces. While I still don't understand why is he still Jonin, I know he is good as any Jounin, he said. Well, he is a Jonin not by choice, and he retired from the force to look after you since he was not able to get the rank of Jounin. He took Jonin to watch over you, Kakashi thought. It's an admirable goal, Sasuke. While I can neither accept or deny what you are saying, I can tell you Naruto is indeed very strong. He is a prodigy in ninjutsu like never seen before, so you need to work very hard to match him. But I will help you like helped him. I will give you a weapon to protect your comrades, he said. What do you mean? He asked. Kakashi went through seals, ox, rabbit, monkey. Sasuke's eyes were wide on seeing the lightning form in Kakashi's hand. What chakra? He thought. This is a jutsu of my creation, the Chidori, he said. Does Naruto knows it? He asked as Kakashi stopped the jutsu and gave him an eye smile. Knows it? He has a better mastery over this than me, he said, making Sasuke's eyes wide. The Chidori was originally created by me for short rank assassination. It's an A-rank jutsu after all, but Naruto took my jutsu and turned into mid-range and long-range, he said, making Sasuke's eyes wider. I see. Is this the reason why he taught me Rasen in the first place? Sasuke asked as Kakashi nodded. I normally don't teach anyone this, or rather I can't since it's a Sharingan exclusive jutsu, but Naruto asked me to teach it to you. His reasons were to see if you can improvise on the jutsu better than him or not, he said. Sasuke smirked. Then I will surpass him, he said, while Kakashi gave him an eye smile. That is the spirit, but let's get to work. You have a tough month ahead of you, he said as Sasuke nodded, getting ready for the month's training. Naruto looked at Jiraiya, who nodded. We will now determine the range of your jutsu. Once you are out of chakra, Karen can heal you back to full. Jiraiya said. Go for it, Nisan, I got your back, she said as he gave her a nice smile. Here, I will throw the kunai. Try to teleport it with the other kunai on the ground so we can measure the distance, Jiraiya said as he nodded and his eyes morphed into Ms. Jiraiya threw the kunai while Naruto looked at it with his MS. As soon as it became blurry and went quiet a distance, his eyes spun Amino Tejikara, but nothing happened. As I thought, this requires my eye to see an object with a good detail in order to teleport it, he said. I see, then try to teleport it till the kunai is fully visible before it becomes blurry, Jiraiya said. Got it, he said. Jiraiya again threw the kunai while Naruto watched it patiently whizzing through the wind. There, Amino Tejikara, his eyes spun as the kunai was replaced by the one in front of him. There, you got it, that's quite the distance the jutsu covers, brat, he said while Naruto huffed. But it's still goddamn taxing, he said. Mystical palm technique. Karen started to heal him as he gave her a smile. Thanks, Karen-chan, he said. Don't worry about it, Oni-chan, you focus on your training, she said, receiving a nod from him. 3 days later, Samui looked at Killer B. I'm proud how far you have progressed, Samui, yo, but wanna learn for the finals though, he rapped. Sensei, I am up against the Uchiha who is a skilled fighter who is good in using strategy and jutsu in combat. He has a good control over the fire element and knows Rasen jutsu as well. His Sharingan has not matured yet, but he can cast genjutsu with it. If my hunch is true, he will work on developing his eyes, and since his teacher is Kakashi Hatake of the Sharingan, he will work to improve his mastery over the lightning element as well. So what I want is to step up my lightning manipulation training as well as improve my kenjutsu as well, she said. Worry not, Missy, I'll make sure you smash some Uchiha ass in the finals cause Killer B is gonna personally train you well. Yeah, it's hard to write Killer Bee. Hinata, why was I not informed you this development? Hiyashi asked his daughter, who was finally out of hospital. Because I didn't want the elders to know, she said as Hiyashi narrowed his eyes. And why is that? You have proved yourself worthy. You have mastered our ultimate defense and created a style of your own which can become better, he asked. It is for the very similar reason I don't want them see me as worthy, because I don't want Hanabi branded. I love my sister more than anything and I would rather become a branch member than to see the seal on her, she said, while Hiyashi looked at her in surprise, then sighed. While I acknowledge your sacrifice for your sister, the clan must have a strong leader. You cannot hide your skills forever and I will not let anyone put seals on you or your sister, he said, making her eyes wide. Hiyashi said, I will personally train you from now and you will not hold back on Hanabi from now. It will be more harmful for her than good, he said as she nodded. Good. Now before I begin I would like to know the training Uzumaki provided you, he asked. Naruto walked into a clearing and sweat dropped to see his old team playing cards and still not noticing him. I swear they have been slacking off, he thought with a sigh. Mom. All looked at him with wide eyes and before he knew it they were in front of him in a straight formation. Taeko. I swear it's like they all used Hiraishi, he thought again with sigh. You all seem to be enjoying yourself since I left. What is going on, Tenzo? I thought you had it control, he asked as the said Anbu gulped. No Tushi, I assure you everything is under control, he said with a salute. Is that so? Then I think time we had a little spar to see your progress as a unit, he said as they paled in. Now Tushi, there is no need of that, Duck said. It's either that or you all hit boot camp, he said as they became paler. And no Taeko, as far as fine, Raven said, receiving a eye smiled. Good choice, now come at me with the intent to kill, he ordered. Naruto looked around. Well, at least they have hidden themselves well, I can barely sense their chakra, he thought, until Roots came out underneath him to grab him as he jumped to dodge it only to see several shuriken coming at him. Puff, damn, that was a clone crocodile, thought. Yeah, you're bad. It was. His eyes were wide. Chop. Well, 1 down 18 to go, he thought, disappearing along with the knocked out Anbu. He stood in the clearing when 5 Anbu dropped and made seals katen, Gokakyu no Jutsu Suten, Water Ball Jutsu Raten, False Lightning Futon, Wind Drilled Bullet Doden, Mud Shot they fired, making him smile. A 5-element attack, how cute, he thought, biting his thumb and making 2 seals summoning. 3-layer Rashomon, he said, summoning 3 huge gates, making their eyes wide. Boom. 2 gates were gone while the third puffed away. Naruto looked at them. That was descent combination, but he made a half tiger seal, forming many clones with a katana in their hand, making them pale dance of the crescent moon, he said. Naruto was having a hand-to-hand against Kama as he was crane throwing a shuriken and making seals ninpo. Shuriken Cage Bunshine, it turned into 50 while he used a replacement and appeared behind him to knock him out. He dropped to the ground to see wood tentacles coming at him as he started to backflip little by little until he saw a duck coming at him with his katana, and as it came close he channeled Futon Chakra in the sword, slicing through Duck's sword and he passing to let be him captured by the Roots instead. Naruto did a backflip, landing on the ground and making seals Doden. Mud snake bind, he thought. A snakes made of mud came out of the ground, grabbing Tenzo. It's over, Tenzo, Naruto said, making a swamp below him. Fine, I give, he said. All the 19 were on their butts huffing. I can see this is your progress so far. You people have been obviously slacking off, Naruto said, narrowing his eye, making them gulp. Then you leave me no choice, boys. It's time for you to hit boot camp again, he said as a large cry of outrage was heard throughout Konoha, only to be silenced by a big killing intent. Jiraiya chuckled, sitting with the cage watching the whole ordeal through the all-seeing ball. The brat can be a sadist at times, he said. Well, it is because he is a sadist that he has never failed a mission or lost any member of his unit, Hiruzen said with a smile. Yes, no one can deny the fact, but I still wonder, how did you keep his identity a secret, he asked. Well, it's not like the Jounin never tried. After the war they wanted to know the real identity of Fox badly, but I denied all their requests, he said. I see. So did he tell you? Jiraiya asked, receiving a serious nod from Hiruzen. I was surprised to hear he gained that eye, and the fact that he won't lose it as well is a good thing, because if he can use that space-time ninjutsu on the whim like the fourth with Hiraishi, he can surpass his father. Heck, if he were a little older and had a better standing in the village, I would have made him a candidate for the fifth, Hiruzen said, making Jiraiya chuckle. True, the hat is not for me. Tsunade is not here. I can see him as the only one with the potential. But for the Rokudaime, because only Tsunade can become Godaime, he said, making his master sigh. Do you think she will return, he asked. I'm sure she will, but after this you must retire, sensei. You are at that age now, you need a successor, Jiraiya said as Sarutobi nodded. True. After the exams it is your duty to find her, he said. 20 days later, Sasuke huffed, falling on his ass. Let's call it for the day, Kakashi said. No, I'm not done yet, he said, getting on his feet. Don't be foolish, you can barely stand after all. The Kakashi said. No, I can. He suddenly fell on his knees and passed out due to exhaustion, while Kakashi sighed, a stubborn kid. Well, it takes me back to the time I started training Naruto, he thought with a smile, picking up Sasuke going in the tent. I think I can perform it 7 times before passing out, Naruto said, huffing, while Jiraiya grinned. Well, that is a big improvement, brat. You are getting a hang of this nicely. It won't be long before you master it, he said. Let's call it a day, Naruto said, receiving a nod from Jiraiya. 8 days later, 30 Anbu operative including Fox and the commander knelt before Hiruzen. You all know your directives? He said. Hi, then I don't have to tell you what to do in case there is an invasion. It is your job to protect Konoha, he said. Hi, good. You are all dismissed. All turned to leave except Naruto, who looked back at Hiruzen, receiving a smile from him, to which he bowed in turn and left. The Chunin exam stadium was buzzing with people, shinobi and civilians alike. The Hokage sat in his box when Hokage-sama, the Kazekage, has arrived. The Chunin informed him. Very well, send him in, he said, standing up. Soon the Kazekage, in his robes with a veil covering his face only showing his eyes, came in. Hokage Dono, he greeted. Welcome, Kazekage Dono. Was your journey to Konoha comfortable, he asked. Yes, it was, he replied, then taking a seal. Alright then, let's get this started, Hiruzen said, going to the balcony as the cheers became louder. Welcome one and all to the biannual Chunin selection exams, he said while they continued to cheer. The proctor for today is Genma Shiranai, one of our own, he said as the special jounin with a senbon in his mouth entered the fighting area. He looked at the Junon stand. All the participants come down here, he said as the 6 dropped. Where is Sasuke and Naruto? Ino asked. Well, Naruto is like sensei who is late for everything by 2 hours, and Sasuke is with Kakashi sensei, but I sure they will come, she reassured while Ino nodded. The rules are similar to the preliminaries except killing is allowed, is that understood? He asked, receiving nods from them. Very well, everyone except Neji, Hyuga and Uzumaki Naruto leave, he said. All jumped away except Neji, who had a smug on his face. Uzumaki Naruto? Genma asked. Maybe the fool realized his weakness and decided to give up, Neji said. Yeah right, Karen thought with a snort from the stands. Soon there was a swirl of leaves as Naruto appeared. All sweat dropped, mainly the shinobi, seeing his nose in the perverted book which he read, giggling, then looked up. Am I late? He asked. Yes, cutting a bit close, aren't you? Genma asked as received an eye smile. Well, you see, I was walking towards the stadium when I came across an enemy ninja, so I had to fight my way to the stadium, he said, making many to facepalm, especially Hiruzen. Many had a double sweat drop while a green-clad jounin was yelling about Kakashi ruining young minds with his hip cool attitude, too much like Kakashi, Genma thought with a sigh. Well, you know what, let's get this thing started, he said. Yes, I have important things to do other than doing D-ranks, he said. D-ranks? Neji questioned. Oh yeah, Hokage-sama assigned me for a D-rank to kick some Hyuga ass. Are you it? He asked as many burst into laughter. Neji violently activated his Byakugan. You imbecile, you will pay for this humiliation, he exclaimed, taking a stance. Everyone had expected Naruto to take one as well, but they nearly fell from their seats on seeing him shrug and continue to read his book. Meanwhile, Naruto and his team had gathered with Yugao, and now they stood together. Since we have 28 of us here, we will be divided in 7 teams, Naruto explained the teams while the others nodded. What do we know of the enemy so far? Lizard asked. Our sensors have detected none. Yet the Suna shinobi in the stadium are kept an eye on by the Jounin, Yugao explained. This does not sit right with me. I am certain the Orochimaru will attack today, but where are his forces? I mean, he can't make them appear out of thin air, Duck said while Naruto's eyes snapped open. Exactly, he said. What do you mean, Captain? Tenzo asked. Tenzo have the rest of the Chunin, even Jounin, survey the boundaries for summoning circles. That is how he will make his forces appear, I think. You all as well divide according to the teams assigned to you and report as soon as you find anything, because we are running low on time, he ordered. Hi. And with that they jumped away. Just what are you planning and how will you attack Orochimaru? Naruto thought while many scenarios ran through his mind. While at the stadium, Orochimaru chuckled inwardly. Just a little longer until I bring Konoha to its knees, he thought, looking down, looking at Genma, who signaling for the first match to begin. Chapter 10. Neji looked at his opponent, glaring at him with hatred. How dare he ignore me, he thought, taking his stance. Don't dare to ignore again, because I will teach you a lesson today, he said. But Naruto giggled, never taking his eye off his book. You imbecile, he yelled, charging at Naruto with good speed. But as he came closer to strike him, but he easily dodged him, much to his surprise, so he continued to try and strike him, but regardless he dodged her every time. The audience watched in awe as they saw him dodge a Hyuga at close range with ease and not even looking at him. Neji was frustrated. No, I will not stand this kid, and he yelled, creating a sphere which hit Naruto, making him smirk, but it vanished when he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Whereas he thought, looking around with his Byakugan to see if he was hidden under a genjutsu, but his eyes were wide when an arm came out of the ground and grabbed his leg. Doden. Headhunter jutsu. A voice came as Neji was pulled to the ground till his neck, while Naruto came out and placed his katana on his neck. I thought I would humiliate you further, but as I said, I have more important things to do than beating your ass, he said as Neji glared at him. But the glare turned into shock as his eyes showed fear on feeling the key. Next time I won't be so merciful if you try to hurt a comrade. Do you know how I deal with trash like you, he said, kneeling down to him and looking at him in the eye as he paled even more. I burn them alive, he said, then getting up while Neji still looked at him in horror. Susha, Uzumaki Naruto, Genma announced as Naruto walked back to the stands, all staring at him. Wasn't the Hyuga supposed to be a prodigy? Kazekage asked he is, but Naruto-kun can just about trump any prodigy. Hiruzen replied, yes, I know that firsthand, he thought with a scowl. Naruto and his team were scouting the boundaries of the village along with several other Chunin and Jounin Tushiaks. Here target found on the eastern borders, apparently Suna are in this invasion as well, he informed as Naruto smirked under his mask. Got it team, this is Captain Fox, the invasion is real. Sand and Sound are going to attack. I want all Jounin and Chunin on the walls, inform Ibiki and the commander as well. We will protect Konoha and everyone in it by all cost, he said. Hi, good, let's show our enemies why we are the strongest village. Don't worry about Hokage Samami, Duck and Tori will look after him, but while I am gone Commander Dragon will take in charge, he said. Affirmative Fox. The commander's voice came very well then, Commander, I leave it to you, he said, jumping off towards the stadium with Denzo and Duck. Will Uchiha Sasuke and Samui of Kumo come to the arena, he said as the Kunoichi jumped down and landed gracefully while in a swirl of leaves Kakashi and Sasuke appeared. Are we late? Kakashi asked looking up from his book, making all sweat drop after getting a deja vu. No, just in time, Genma said. Sorry, we could not be here from the beginning because we had to fight an enemy ninja before getting here, he said with a nice smile while everyone fell on their faces. Apparently the same happened to your first student, Genma said, making Kakashi's eyes wide. Apparently that's where he went after escaping us, he said as all gave him a deadpan expression. That's just lame, Ino said while Sakura chuckled nervously. Did you have enough? Sasuke asked completely annoyed while Kakashi I smiled. Good luck Sasuke, he said, disappearing via sunshine and appearing next to Naruto in the stand. So how is it going? He asked. It's on. Naruto gave a short reply while Kakashi kept a stoned expression. I see, he said, disappearing from there as well and appearing next to the Jounin. Well, let's get this started. Are the two of you ready? He asked, receiving nods from them. Then the second match begins, he declared. Samui looked at Sasuke with an emotionless face while Sasuke looked at her with a pair of two Tomioed Sharingan. He was wearing a completely black outfit but nothing much different. He took his stance and dashed at her at a high speed, but when he came to strike clash, her two sabers met his kunai. He was able to intercept her sabers before she struck him, but his eyes were wide when he saw her build chakra and channeled it into her sabers, which started to crinkle with lightning cutting through his kunai and going to slice him in the neck. Sasuke saw the sabers coming, so he did a quick Kimiwari dodging them and then looking at the Kumo Kunoichi with a smirk. Quiet, the feisty one you are, I like it, he said. So you like women who could force you into submission? Samui asked as Sasuke smirked again. No, I like Kunoichi. And about the submission thing, the question is, can you make me submit? He asked. We will find out, won't we, she said, making a ram seal Raiden. False darkness. She fires the electric waves from her fingertips at him while Sasuke jumped to dodge it and made Seal's Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu. He fired the jutsu at her. Samui channeled chakra in her toes and jumped higher than the Uchiha as she threw 5 kunai at him. But Sasuke saw it coming with his Sharingan. Why did she use her chakra in the kunai when she knew I can see it coming? He thought, dodging the kunai and landing on the ground to see the kunai to surround him. Samui smirked and made Seal's ration. Electronic field, she said, making Sasuke's eyes wide because he had realized his mistake seeing the kunai crinkle with Raiden chakra, but it was too late as the beams come at him all at once. Sasuke-kun, Sakura yelled in concern while Naruto smiled. Clever, he thought. Samui looked at the passed out Sasuke lying on the ground and then at the proctor, but suddenly did a backflip to dodge the shuriken coming at her. So it was a Raiden Cage Bunshine after all, she said, looking at Sasuke who dropped in front of her while the clone disappeared. That was a clever trick, I must say, but it will take more than that to beat me, he said, making Seal's Kaden. Hosenka Jutsu. He fired at her and to his surprise it hit her and she turned into lightning. Raiden Cage Bunshine. He though then making Seals as lightning covered his palm, making chirping sounds. He turned around to hold the Kunoichi's saber with the hand breaking, then kneeing her on the gut. Samui lay on the ground looking at the lightning attack near her face with wide eyes. Forfeit, Sasuke said while she nodded, and he stopped the jutsu. Susha, Uchiha Sasuke, Genma declared as all cheered. Kakashi, you taught him that jutsu? Guy asked. Yes, I felt he was worthy of it, he said with a nice smile. I wish you were here, Itachi, to see your little brother turn into a good shinobi. You'd be proud, Naruto thought with a smile seeing Sasuke coming in. We meet in the next round, he said with a smirk. We do, but have your chakra restored? The Chidori takes 1/4 of your chakra, he said as Sasuke nodded. How many times can you do it in a day? He asked. Well, I lost count, Naruto said, making him sigh and shake his head. Will Sabaku no Gaara and Kiba Inuzuka come down? Genma said. Naruto looked at Kiba and shook his head, having informed him about Gaara during the month along with his mother. Proctor, I forfeit, he said as all looked at him. What, you won't even try? Genma asked, receiving a nod from him. Very well, winner due to forfeit Sabaku no Gaara, he declared. The crowd booed while in the stands Tsume sighed in relief while thinking how her son was able to swallow his pride. Alright then, the last match of the first round is between Sabaku no Tamari and Shikamaru Nara, he said. Sigh, do I have to do this? He said. I understand how troublesome this is, but you have to go, Naruto said. What a drag, he said, walking down while Tamari huffed and walked down elegantly. Are the two of you ready? Genma asked, receiving a nod from Temrai while Shikamaru muttered troublesome and nodded. Then begin. Tamari immediately took out her fan and opened it fully. I will end this quick, she said, gathering chakra ninpo. Sickle Weasel Jutsu. She blew the big gust of wind towards Shikamaru, who used the Kimiwari to escape. Here are you hiding, you coward, she said, blowing her fan towards the trees while Shikamaru jumped to dodge it again. Troublesome woman, he said, puff. All eyes were wide. Cage may no jutsu success, Shikamaru said from behind her. When did he learn the shadow clone jutsu? Asuma muttered. Oh, he asked me actually, so he can use it as a distraction. I quit, he said, making many eyes wide and get an excuse to quit, he said with a sweat drop while Asuma face palmed. I just knew it, he said. Some lazy Jinan you have. Asuma, who went as far as to learn a B-rank kinjutsu just to forfeit Kuren, I said, making him even more depressed. Lazy ass, Ino yelled from the stands along with Yoshino while both father and son said at the same time, what a drag, while Tamari glared at him murderously. Well, it was better than I had expected, at least he did not straight out forfeit, Naruto said, chuckling nervously. The Naru really is lazy, but it does not matter. Are you ready? Sasuke asked with a smirk. Will Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto come down? Genma said. The question is, are you? Naruto asked with a nice smile, disappearing and appearing in the arena while Sasuke sighed and walked down. The two looked at each other, neither moving a muscle. Jinam had already started the match. The atmosphere was a bit tense since no one made a noise. Don't dare pulling the book stunt on me, Sasuke said. Also, you were watching the match after all, he said with an eye smile. Yeah, Kakashi was waiting so he could make a cool entrance, he said, making many sweat drop. That's just lame, Naruto said. While in the stands, Kakashi was depressed. No one respects me, he muttered. What are you talking about? You are same as him, Sasuke said. Oh, I really fought an enemy ninja on my way here, he said. Yeah, right, he said with a sweat drop. Team Kakashi is weird, several muttered. Alright then, let's begin, Sasuke said, unlocking his eyes while Naruto pulled his headband up. Genjutsu. Sharingan. Naruto's eye spun. Sasuke found himself in darkness. Soon Naruto emerged. What is this? How far have you mastered the eye? He said. Sasuke, I have to ask you to quit, he said. What? You expect me to just give up? I won. We can fight later because we have an invasion at our hands, he said, shocking Sasuke. What did you say? Yes, the Sand and Sound are going to invade. Orochimaru is behind this, and if I know him well, he will send his ninja after you to gain your eyes. If we are to fight now, we will only waste our chakra. At your current level you cannot beat me, so this fight is meaningless, he said as Sasuke looked down. I understand. What is the plan? He asked. In the real world, Sasuke dropped on the ground unconscious, making many jaws drop, and soon the murmurs begun. What happened? Genma asked. I trapped him in my Sharingan Genjutsu since my eye is more developed than his, he said. I see, then winner. Uzumaki Naruto, he declared. What amazing visual prowess, as good as Itachi-kun. If only he was an Uchiha. Orochimaru thought inwardly, licking his lips. I'll take him, Naruto said, picking up Sasuke and disappearing via sunshine while people clapped. He is very good with his eye, Asuma said. Well, he worked hard to master it, Kakashi said with an eye smile. So he has informed him already, he thought. Sasuke-kun lost. Ino shuddered. But how? I mean, they didn't even move. Sakura said. That's because Naruto-kun has mastered the Sharingan like my eternal rival and was able to place a genjutsu on Sasuke-kun with a single look to end the match, Guy explained. The next match is between Sabaku no Tamari and Sabaku no Gaara. Genma said. Proctor, I forfeit, Tamari said from the stands, only to be met with loud boos. Very well then, winner by forfeit, Sabaku no Gaara, he said. The last match is between Uzumaki Naruto and Sabaku no Gaara. Will the two come down? He said as Gaara appeared via sand, sunshine and Naruto in a swirl of leaves. Are the two of you ready? They nodded. Begin. Uzumaki, I have waited long, so I will not be denied this, nor will mother, because we want your blood, Gaara said with a bloodthirsty smirk. My blood? How? We'll see, he said. Yes, I will have your blood. Sand tsunami, he yelled, launching all of his sand from his container toward Naruto, who made Seal's Doden, Earth Dome, he said, quickly creating the dome over him. Gaara jumped back when he sensed him coming out of the ground, and he did with a Torai Seal Suten, water ball. He fired the jutsu, but only to see a sphere of sand forming around Gaara and protecting him. Sand burial, came a voice from inside as Naruto saw an eye floating in the air, and soon the sand surrounded him and stared to crush him. Puff, many eyes were wide. Naruto stood behind Gaara holding his right arm. Chidori, he said as the lightning started to crinkle in his hand. That's the same jutsu as Sasuke-kun. Sakura said. That's because Naruto was the first one to learn this jutsu from me. Kakashi said. No seals such mastery. Kakashi was telling the truth, Sasuke thought, looking down. Naruto stabbed his jutsu through the sand as it went in without much effort, and he hit Gaara on the shoulders. What is this? Gaara thought, looking at the red fluid. No, it can't be, he thought as the wall went down. No, my blood, my blood, he screamed, looking at Naruto, who had his Sharingan out, and soon it started to spin. Mangekyo Sharingan, he thought as his eyes morphed into his MS, and soon the world became dark around the two. Naruto found himself in a desert. You mortal, how dare you? Shukaku roared. Shut up and sleep, you crazy raccoon, he said, looking at him with his eyes. No. Not those damned eyes, He roared trying to devour him but only to fall down on the ground and had his eyes closed. What did you do to mother? Gaara shuddered looking at him in horror. Gaara, no, go away, I will not let you end my existence. He yelled, you and me, we are the same, I contain the QB, he said making his eyes wide. Then why don't you have eyes like mine, he asked making him smile. It is because of my friends and my sister, they pulled me out of my darkness. My sister, she is the more precious to me than anything in this world, which is why I am the way I am right now. Her smile gives me the strength to fight and carry on, he said. Gaara's eyes were wide. So that's how you are so strong, because of your friends and family, he said. Yes, because someone once told me that when you fight to protect the people most precious to you, that is when you become strong, he said. But you have a family as well, Gaara, your sister and brother, they care about you, and once you let go of that hate I am sure you will make many friends as well, he said. I see, he shuddered. Your seal, it's very weak as it lets Shukaku control you, he said. Can you do something? I can never sleep because of it, he asked as Naruto gave him a nice smile. Lucky for you, I am a seal master, he said. Moving forward, show me your seal, he said as Gaara pulled his shirt up. A very weak one indeed, he said, placing his hand on it. Kai, he said as the seal disappeared and then making lightning quick seals and placing his hand on his stomach again. 5 trigrams Foon, he said as the seal array formed and soon turned into a swirl and Shukaku disappeared. What happened? He shuddered. I blocked out Shukaku completely, only you can get access to him if you want, he said receiving a nod from Gaara. Now listen carefully, we know about the invasion, he said, making Gaara's eyes wide. I'm sure it will start as soon as we return to the real world because I saw the stadium-wide Jinjutsu, so take your siblings and leave, he said. Uzumaki, I don't know how I can ever thank you, he said while Naruto smiled. Friends don't thank each other, idiot, he said with a grin, moving his hand forward as Gaara looked at it and then with a smile shook it. Boom. Their eyes snapped open. Go and take your siblings, he said as Gaara nodded and shined out of there while Naruto looked up towards the cage's box. Even if I am a blood clone, I will help as much as I can. After all, I have elite Jounin reserves, he thought looking at the real him rushing towards the purple barrier. Shit, we're late, Tenzo said as they looked inside to see the Hokage and Orochimaru staring at each other. Captain, can't you pull him out? Duck asked Fox. Don't, Hiruzen said, but I will settle this once and for all as Hokage, he said pulling off his robes. Kukuku sensei, I see that you are ready for your death, he said. My foolish student, I will end the worst mistake of my life, that is you, he said taking a stance, looking at him with eyes that made his enemies flee, the eyes that belonged to the god of shinobi. Sarutobi ran towards his wayward student throwing 2 shurikens. Ninpo, Shuriken Kajibunshin, he said as the shurikens turned into 100 while Orochimaru clapped his hands. Kushios, Edo Tensai, he said as 3 coffins rose making Hiruzen's eyes wide. I won't let the third one come, he thought, making a snake seal pushing the coffin with kanji for 4th back. Looks like this one is no good, but I suppose these 2 are enough, he said. Hiruzen looked in horror as the 2 coffins opened. Those are, Naruto shuddered, surprising as Deem. Who are those, Captain? Duck asked the shot. I'm in Netum, he said making their eyes wide. Quick, there is no time to waste. I will teleport the 2 of you in together, he said. Hi, but what will you be doing, Captain? Yamato asked. I will take the Netum, he said making their eyes wide, but before they could protest Naruto looked at them with his Mangekyo Amino Tejikara. They were replaced by a shuriken inside the barrier. Orochimaru looked at the 2 Anbu in shock as he saw them appearing out of nowhere and kicking the Shadaime and Netum away from the Sandaime. Then he looked at the fox-masked Anbu and glared at him. Did he master a teleportation jutsu similar to the damned Yondaime, or is this some kind of a Sharingan power, he thought. Naruto made 4 clones which went to different corners and made seals. Ninpo, 4 Crimson Ray formation, he said making a cubic red barrier around himself, and then took out a kunai and tossed it in the air as his MS spun again. Amino Tejikara. The kunai disappeared as was replaced by the Netum who appeared in front of him. Rikiri, he yelled, driving the jutsu through the Netum's chest, and then Chidori Nagashi, he said as the whole body of the Netum crinkled and was destroyed, turning it to paper. Huff, one down, he thought, but his eyes were wide on seeing the Netum reform. I guess it is not as easy as it looks, he thought. Orochimaru was seething. How dare the brat soil my plan, I will end him now. But as good as he is, the Netum will win. Kukuku, he thought. Makuten, Jikai Katan Hashirama said, this is bad, Sarutobi said while plants appeared around him. Don't worry, Hokage-sama. Makuten, wood-locking wall, Tenzo said, creating the wall around them. A few moments earlier, Kabuto was running towards the wall to lead the auto shinobi, and when he dodged a barrage of kunai coming at him, he looked at the person in front of him and smirked. Well, if it isn't the traitor, he said while Uzumaki Karen glared at him. You of all people have no right to call me that, Karen said. Karen, I don't want to kill you, get out of my way, he said. Kill me? How foolish, she said, taking out her katana. Arrogance, I see, then it can't be helped, he said as chakra coated his hands. Chakra no Masu, it's not arrogance if you can back it up. I will destroy you like my brother destroyed your master in the forest, she said as Kabuto's eye twitched. Orochimaru-sama did not lose, he said. No, he was forced to run with his tail between his legs, Karen said with a smirk. Why you? Kabuto growled. Oh, the truth hurts, does it not? She mocked. That is it, you will die today, he said. Kabuto and Karen charged at each other, but before they met, Karen made a half-tiger seal adamantine sealing chains, she said, as golden chains shot out of her back as took Kabuto by surprise as she wrapped it around him. This is over, Karen said, pulling him towards her as she formed a Rasengan in her hand. She only expanded as Kabuto came close. This is your last lesson, never fuck with Uzumaki, Karen said, planting a Rasengan to his gut. Odama Rasengan, she yelled as the technique dug through his stomach while he was held tightly by the chains, making his scream. Ah! Karen yelled, putting her power to it and finally letting go of the chain. Boom! She huffed and looked at Kabuto lying on the ground, probably dead. She could have checked, but on hearing a civilian scream, Karen made her way towards the source. A few moments earlier, Blood Clone of Naruto looked at the Sand Shinobi who dropped on the arena as soon as the invasion began, while Genma dropped to his side and others Jounin were busy fighting off ninja on the stands. How are we doing this, kid? Genma asked as he smirked, moving up his headband. We will destroy them, plain and simple, he said, making seals Kaden, Kuru, and he fired Sutin. Water wall. Some on the ninja fired in union to stop the fire, creating steam. When it cleared, the Sunanen had their eyes wide on seeing Naruto standing in the middle of their formation with his mouth puffed. Kaden, hiding in the ash, he said, releasing powerful and a big amount ash from his mouth that covered the whole arena. Genma looked at the boy, no man with wide eyes, seeing him coming towards him with a bloody katana. He didn't kill any of them, just wounded them heavily so they can't move, because I can sense each and every one of their chakra. Just who is he? He thought. Let's go and help around the village, the invasion is still on, he said. Yes, let's go, he said as the two disappeared via sunshine. The reformed Nedam made seals Sutin. Water Dragon Missile he fired while Naruto ice spun Sutin. Water Dragon Missile he fired back, leading the two jutsu to clash, which is when the Nedam made a single seal as the water started to swirl around, forming a big hurricane. Sutin, Suishoha, he said. Naruto looked at the big mass of water coming towards him, so he made a seal, pouring liquid Doten element on the ground from his mouth. Doten, Doriyuki, he said, creating a wall taller than the mass of water with fox heads on it which protected him, but he wanted to avoid the water altogether, so he started to climb up the wall. Sutin, Sutonked of the Nedam fired, cutting the wall in half. Naruto took this opportunity, jumping in front of the half wall and placed his hand on the water. Chidori Nagashi, he said as the water conducted the lightning and severely damaging the Nedam, who was on his knees, but then he made a tiger seal genjutsu. Infinite darkness, he said as the world around him turned black. I won't lose, no, I can't afford to lose. There is no genjutsu my Mangekyo can't break, he thought, spinning his eye and dispelling the genjutsu, looking the Nedam who was coming towards him, so threw a kunai at him which he dodged, but as it passed his neck, Naruto's eye spun and was replaced with a kunai and a flash Rasengan. He planted on the Nedam's back. Boom! Nedam was on the ground unmoving when he made seals and slammed his palm on the ground. Puff bandages appeared with sealing tags. I will seal you now, he said while the Nedam tried to struggle. It's no use, I placed the restriction seal on you, he said, slowly wrapping the Nedam with bandaged. Who are you? Nedam asked back to his consciousness while Naruto revealed his face. Sharingan, he said in surprise. I got it by accident when a bastard Uchiha tried to kill me and took my left eye, so the Sandime had him killed and I received the eye, he said while writing down the sealing formula. See what became of that clan, he asked, making him sigh. They are all gone, though it's known that my friend and the greatest prodigy of the clan went mad and massacred the clan, but since you are a Hokage, I will tell you that the clan was planning a coup to throw over the Sandime, and my friend, being the most loyal ninja to Konoha since its creation, took it upon himself to murder his whole clan to stop a civil war and a possible great ninja war, he said as Tobirama scowled. I knew never to trust them. They are an accursed clan after all, he said. Yes, they were suspected of manipulating the Kyuubi to attack Konoha 13 years ago, but my father Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, defeated the beast by making me its Jinchuriki and sacrificing himself, but I know the attack was planned by Madara Uchiha, he said, shocking Tobirama. Well, he's still alive, he said, only he has the power to control tail beasts. Even the Kyuubi his Ion Itachi told me that Madara himself assisted him in murdering his clan, but I don't think it's Madara but someone with an equally powerful Mangekyo Sharingan with plans of world domination, he said. I see it as our fault, we should have destroyed his body when brother defeated him. That bastard must have used Izanagi to escape, but I put my trust in you to stop him. You are very powerful even at your age. I am entrusting this task to you because you have the blood of a Hokage running in your veins. Protect the village and everyone in it, he said. I will Nedam-sama be at peace now, he said. I never got your name, he said. It's Uzumaki. Naruto, he said. Uzumaki, he's from Mito's clan. He thought. I will seal you now, he said, placing the tag on him while the Nedam nodded and was completely wrapped and bandaged. Now to seal the Shandime, he said, looking at the barrier next to him, and was stunned. No, don't, he said, but the Sandime had already performed the Kinjutsu and had taken the Shandime, so I was too late, he thought in sadness, but I guess no matter what I could have done he would done the same thing, he thought, remembering last night. Flashback. Naruto sat in Hiruzen's office finalizing the plans. So we are all set for tomorrow, Hiruzen said. Yes we are, if Suna and Otto do attack we will be ready, he said with a grin, making the man smile. I see, good job Naruto, you have outdone yourself, but I would expect nothing less from you, he said. Thanks old man, I'll be going then, he said, getting up. Wait, he said as Naruto stopped. What is it? Naruto asked, noticing the change in the tone of his voice as well as expression. Sigh, I am dying Naruto-kun, he said, shocking him. What? He shuddered. I have chakra cancer, I had it for quite a while now, the doctor says I have weeks or maybe a month at most to live, he said. But I'm sure if we contact Tsunade-sama she will cure you, he said, while Hiruzen shook his head. She can't, it can't be healed even by her, so I will die, so I want to die taking Orochimaru with me, he said, making his eyes wide. But please Naruto-kun, it is my last wish to die as a shinobi on the battlefield rather than the hospital bed, don't deny me of this. Orochimaru has been the greatest regret of my life, so let me go to the afterlife knowing that I have freed the shinobi world of that monster, he pleaded as a tear escaped Naruto's eye. You are the closest thing to family I have other than Kakashi, Nisan and Karen. It will be hard for me to see you go, he said in a low voice as Hiruzen sadly smiled, rising from his seat and embracing the young man. I know, but all things must come to an end, and this the end of me, he said. Flashback end. A tear escaped Naruto's eyes as he looked at the Sandime, who gave him a smile, telling him, it will be fine, I swear old man. I will protect this village and carry on your will of fire until I can pass it to the next generation, and that's my promise, he thought. But then his eyes were diverted to Orochimaru, who was inches away from killing Denzo and Duck, so he acted quick by tossing his kunai. This is the last time I can do it. After this it is all on you old man, get the snake, he thought while his eyes spun Amino Dejikara. And in a blur the two were replaced by the kunai captain, they said in surprise, while Naruto fell as Denzo caught him. He's out due to exhaustion, he said. Thank you Naruto-kun for everything, Hiruzen thought, catching Orochimaru off guard. Now my foolish student, you will die, he said while Orochimaru looked at the Shimigami on Sandime's back in horror. Well, it's over, Kakashi said with a sigh while Naruto standing beside him turned into blood, surprising them all. What? Kuren, I said, it's a blood clone, I thought it was forbidden even for elite of the elite. Asuma said something is wrong, I need to go, he said, disappearing. Please be alright Naruto, he thought. No, I will not die, Orochimaru thought, gritting his teeth, and he moved his fingers. The Kusanagi rose up and went in to stab Hiruzen. Enma saw it, but when he caught it the sword was already through Hokage's gut. No, he said while Hiruzen clenched his teeth while the death god took his knife and cut Orochimaru's hand. Ah! He screamed, I have taken you ninjutsu away Orochimaru, now you will not harm anyone, he said with a sly smile while his vision became blurry. No. How dare you, you geezer, he yelled while the old cage closed his eyes for the final time, a smile still visible on his face. When the tree leaf stands one must find flames, the fire shadow shall illuminate the village and the leaves shall bud anew, he thought, finally passing to the afterlife, a death fitting of one who has mastered the way of the shinobi. Enma said, disappearing. Let's retreat, drop the barrier, Orochimaru ordered the sound. 4. Kakashi rushed towards the roof of the cage box, and when he reached there his eyes were wide. How is he? He asked out due to exhaustion. Senpai Tenzo said get him to the hospital, he said. Hi, he obeyed while the copy-nin made his way towards the forest that was created on top of the box. Oh, on Hokage-sama, he said, rushing towards the fallen cage to see the seal on his stomach. He used that jutsu, he thought with wide eyes as others dropped dead. Asuma said with wide eyes. No, Kuren, I said, he's gone, let's get him out of here and prepare a funeral for him, Kakashi said while the other two nodded. Even the heaves cry, Asuma said. It is truly is a sad day, Kuren, I replied, looking at all the shinobi that have gathered to pay their final respects to their beloved Sandime, how it held the position for the longest among all the other kage, led them to victory in 3 great wars, and hailed as the Shinobi no Kami, the one who had in his lifetime had mastered every shinobi art and was also called the Professor due to his wisdom and immense knowledge. Konohamaru was crying while Naruto's hand went through his hair trying to comfort him. Karen stood beside him comforting him because she knew how much the Sandime meant to him, a grandfather but above all his first friend. All went one by one to pay their respects, but keeping a white rose on his memorial. Be at peace old man, I will look after the village in your stead from now, Naruto thought, placing the rose. Chapter 12. Council Chambers. Many were seated in the chamber, mainly consisting of the elders and the clan heads. It is sad that the Sandime has passed, but we need a new Hokage now, Koharu said. I agree, we are at a risk of full-out war if we don't find someone suitable to fill in the role, Homura said. Perhaps I should. Don't even think about it, came a voice as 2 figures entered, making Danzo scowl. Jiraiya-sama and Captain Fox Tsume said in surprise, having her first glance at the famous Anbu captain, hailed as a hero in Kiri along with his squad and has a very high reputation in the shinobi forces, though no one knew his true identity. He had played an active part in the invasion by beating the Nedam Hokage summoned back from the death by Orochimaru. Why are you interrupting this meeting, Jiraiya and Fox Homura asked. Because you fossils go ahead and make a decision. Sarutobi-sensei had already chosen a successor in his last will, Jiraiya said, making their eyes wide. You mean Hokage-sama already knew he was about to die? Shukaku asked, narrowing his eyes. He did, because he had chakra cancer, of which I was informed about the day before yesterday. He planned to take out Orochimaru with him, Fox said, making their eyes wide. So wait a minute, you people already knew about the invasion and did not inform us? Inoiki asked on the edge of his voice. The invasion could not have been avoided, but if we had informed you all, the risk of the secret getting out could have caused more harm than good, and after the incident with Kabuto Yasuki we decided not to take a chance, and it proved beneficial since we made Orochimaru believe he had the element of surprise, and with it we were able to take out majority of his forces even before they infiltrated our borders, Naruto explained. I see. So who is to be the Gadaime then? Hiyashi asked while Jiraiya took out a scroll and threw it on the table. I believe it's Tsunade Hime, he said, surprising them. I will not allow this. She has not been in Konoha in 20 years. She is not fit to be a cage. Danzo said. It does not matter what you think, Danzo. In no scenario will you ever take the seat even if Tsunade does not return. Jiraiya will take the hat, he rebuked in a cold voice, surprising many by the way he talked to an elder. Danzo opened his lone eye and glared at him, releasing his ki, making everyone tense, but they were surprised when Naruto released his own, which matched Danzo's, and it kept on increasing, surpassing Danzo's, and that is when a blue aura surrounded him, making the floor crack while making the rest sweat bullets. The cracks started to form on the table as they started to trail towards Danzo and on reaching him his chair was pushed back a bit. I thought I taught you already not fuck with me, but it seems you forgot the lesson I taught you. This is the final time I will tell you this. You are and will never be fit to be Hokage. You belong in the shadow, so it is your duty to serve Konoha from it, nothing more, he said without a flinch. Fox, that's enough, Jiraiya said in a firm voice as he lowered his ki, making many sigh. I guess he does not messes around. Tsume thought. What power? Hiyashi thought. He is as troublesome as they say. Shikaku thought. It seems he is not one to be messed with. Shibiabarame thought. Alright, that's enough, Koharu yelled while Danzo was still glaring at him. Are we done here? Because I need to go and find Tsunade. Jiraiya said. Fine, we agree that's the best course of action, but take an Anbu squad with you. Homura said. No, he is coming with me, he replied, pointing to Fox. I guess that will suffice. Hiyashi said. I think it's time for you to stop playing around, Fox. The village is in need of your services. Maybe you should take the rank of a Jounin now. Uzumaki Naruto, Danzo said with a small smirk. It can't be, Choza said with wide eyes. Why? Tsume was cut off when he took off his hood, revealing his blonde hair. Well, I originally planned on becoming Jounin after retiring from Anbu and leading Team 7 instead of Kakashi Sensei, but I remember 3 old goats saying that according to the record I have not become a Jounin yet, so I cannot be promoted to Jounin even after leading the best Anbu unit currently in our ranks to countless mission and even a war, so it's my fault I guess, he said, finally revealing his face as the council looked at him in shock while the 3 elders glared at him. Tsume shuddered. But according to the reports you received the Sharingan at the age of 8, so how can you become a captain in 2 years, going as far as leading a team to war? Shukaku questioned. All of it was made an SS rank secret by Sandaime-sama, so I cannot reveal it, but let it be known my identity is also an S rank secret and should not be known to anyone outside these doors until I become Jounin, he said. So you are not taking the Jounin rank yet? Danzo said with his eye twitching. On seeing him I smile. Well, I decided to follow the advice of our honorable elders with years of wisdom, so I guess I will be Chunin for now, he said, receiving a snort from many including Homura and Koharu, while many smirked in amusement. As much as I am enjoying this brat, we need to go and find Tsunade, he said. Alright, I meet you at the gates and later, wise councilman, he said, disappearing as well as Jiraiya. Was that last part sarcastic as well, or was he giving us some respect? Choza said with a chuckle while everyone gave him a look which screamed, are you fucking serious? He entered his house. Welcome back, Onii-chan, Karen said as he smiled. Hey, I heard about what you did in the invasion and I am proud that you took down Kabuto yourself, he said as she blushed. Thank you, but sit down, I have prepared some breakfast, she said. Thanks, but I have to leave quickly, I have a mission to do, he said. What mission? She asked, raising her brow. The mission to retrieve the Gadaime, he replied, surprising her. Who exactly? She asked again. Tsunade Senju, he replied again with a grin, knowing Karen's look since she idolized Tsunade and wanted to surpass her as a kunoichi. 1 hour later. Well, there it is, a man with shark-like teeth said while the impassive one looked at the village with his red eyes. I haven't seen you in a while, my friend. I hope to meet you soon, and you too, my foolish little brother, he thought. Well, what do you say, Itachi-san? Let's go, Kisame said. Very well, let's find the Jinchuriki and leave, he replied impassively. Dengo shop. Yo, Asumakura and I here on a date, Kakashi asked with an eye smile. No, just out to eat. There is no date or anything, Asuma said. Oh, you can't lie to me now, Kakashi said. Stay out of it, Kakashi, it's none of your business, Kurenai rebuked with a blush. Now you don't have to be so bitchy about it, he said. Now I listen. Why? Kakashi rose his arm and pointed behind him at the two people who seemed to be going outside the village. They were in black cloaks with red clouds and straw hats covering their faces. Those reserves are big. I don't know why the barrier team has not detected them yet, Kurenai thought. Let's go, Asuma said, seriously receiving a nod from them. The two people in cloaks were walking on the road which led them out of Konoha when Kurenai and Asuma appeared in front of them. Identify yourself, Asuma said in a stern voice as the shorter of the two rose his hat up, revealing his Sharingan, which shocked the two. Then you are Kurenai said. No doubt about it, Asuma said. It seems we finally meet, Kurenai-san. Asuma-san, he said in an impassive voice. Itachi Uchiha, Asuma said, glaring at him. Then I must introduce myself as well, his partner said, removing his hat. Oh my wa, Asuma said. I am Hoshigaki Kisame. People of Kiri know me as the monster of the hidden mist, he said with a grin, taking out the same auto from his back. Asuma-san, Kurenai-san, I do not wish to kill you. This battle is useless, Itachi said. It does not matter, you are a missing nin wanted by Konoha for several crimes. We will fight you, Asuma said, taking out his trench knife. How annoying, but it seems we have no other alternative, Itachi-san, Kisame said, getting ready while Kurenai went through seals. That is, Itachi thought, looking at Kurenai, who had started to disappear while his left eye spun. Asuma dodged Kisame's sword strike. Slice, Nani, Kisame said, seeing the blood on his face. Then at Asuma's knife, Futon chakra, he thought. Itachi was standing when a tree formed behind him and captured him while Kurenai rose from above with a kunai in her hand. It's over, she said. Is it? Itachi asked in a monotonous voice. Kisame jumped back and made Seal Suten, shark bomb jutsu, he called out as the water come out of the lake near them and formed a shark coming towards Asuma. Konoha Senpu. The shark was destroyed. Oh my, what dared Kisame asked, narrowing his eyes. I am Mido Gai, Konoha's sublime green beast prey, and I will protect my comrade even if I have to face someone as unyouthful as you, he declared while Kisame grinned. And here I thought this day was going to be boring, he said. Kurenai's eyes were wide to see Itachi used her own genjutsu against her and was now coming towards her with a kunai clash. The Sharingan met the Sharingan Hatake. Kakashi, Itachi said. Uchiha, Itachi, you have some nerve coming back here after what you did. Do you even understand what he felt when he heard about you, he asked. It does not matter, I had to test my power and my clan proved to be weak, but perhaps he can prove to be enough to test my true power. After all, me and him, we are alike, he replied, only to be harshly pushed back by Kakashi, who glared at him. Don't even think for a second that trash like you can compare to him. He has always been better than you. Even at his age he could match you, he said. One of the reasons why I want to fight him, Itachi said. Don't worry, you won't, since this will be your last, because today I will finish you, he said. Just who are they talking about? There is no one who could have matched Itachi Uchiha and be younger than him at the same time. Kurenai thought, you certainly are a genius. After all, you are not an Uchiha and yet you were able to master the Sharingan to this extent. But now let me show you its true power, he said, making a tiger seal katen. Gokaku no jutsu, he fired Suten. Water wall, Kakashi called out, forming a wall of water in front of him to prevent Itachi's attack, creating mist. You certainly have not been slacking off, Itachi said, hitting Kakashi's spine with a kunai. Kakashi, Kurenai yelled, but then he turned into water and appeared in front of Itachi. Kurenai, get out, he ordered, forming a Chidori in his palm and then placing it on the ground. Chidori Nagashi, so that's why he used the water jutsu earlier, to create enough moisture so the electricity could be conducted easily, Itachi thought, closing his eye. Boom. This guy is really a beast, like he says he is, Kisame thought. Then hearing the explosion, it seems Itachi-san is in trouble facing the copy nin. We must leave before we attract too much attention, he thought. Kakashi huffed a bit but was satisfied to see Itachi on the ground, only for his eyes to become wide on seeing Itachi turn into Crow's genjutsu. He thought, I told you that I will show you the true power of Sharingan, Itachi said as his eyes opened. It can't be, he thought, on seeing them in Geikyu Sharingan Tsukiyomi, Itachi said as the world around then changed. Kakashi looked at his surroundings with wide eyes. This is my strongest genjutsu. Here I am, God, and I will torture you for 72 hours until you break. While it's only 3 seconds in the real world, he said, walking towards him with his katana while Kakashi was tied to the log. As he went to impale Kakashi with the sword, he was shocked to see Kakashi blocking it with his arms. How, he said, looking up only to see the Mangekyo Sharingan which belonged to Kakashi. How could you awaken that eye, Itachi asked, ditching his usual monotonous voice, making Kakashi smirk. Sani, he said, channeling Rashin chakra to his palm. Chidori Nagashi, he thought, seeing as the lightning consumed Itachi, but too bad for you, he said. In the real world, Kisame appeared beside Itachi. What happened? I thought you had him under Tsukiyomi. He should not be standing right now, Kisame said. It seems we underestimated the copy nin. He was able to awaken the MS even after not being an Uchiha, he replied, shocking Kisame as he looked at Kakashi's eye. My eternal rival, are you alright? Guy asked while Kurenai and Asuma dropped beside him as well. Yes, I am alright, he said. Kisame, let's pull the plug, we are not here to cause a war. Itachi said. Very well Itachi-san, he said as the two disappeared in puffs of smoke. This is serious, we need to inform the others and have our borders guarded well to prevent monsters like them from infiltrating the village. Asuma said. You are right, we need to be on alert. Let's go back for now, Kakashi said, receiving nods from them. If not for that day, I don't know what would have happened to me now, Kakashi thought. Flashback. 1 year ago, Kakashi was walking along the streets of Konoha reading his book, giggling perversely when his ninja senses sprang into action, making him jump back only to see a kunai drop on his feet. A kunai? Who threw it, he thought, looking around but was unable to see anyone. There is a note on it as well, he thought, picking it up and taking out the note. Meet me at our training ground and be prepared, Naruto with red. Huh, what does he want, he thought, disappearing via Shunshuin. He entered the training ground to see Naruto with a serious look on his face and in his Anbu uniform. What is it, Naruto? He asked. Kakashi-sensei, you have been slacking off a lot. It is like you have stopped training since you left Anbu, he said. Now Naruto, don't be so rude, he said. I am not. You were close to an S rank before you left and now you are not even a shadow of your former self. Which is why I will fight you today to prove my point. If I lose I will take back my word, but if you do then you will begin your training again, he said, pulling up his headband. You may have become strong, Naruto, even stronger than most ninja in the village, but never forget it is I who taught you everything you know in the first place, he said, also pulling his headband up. That may be true, but I won't let be stuck in the past anymore and be haunted by it, so today I will not hold back, he said, blurring out clash. His leg met Kakashi's arm. I no longer dwell in the past, he said. You can fool the most but not me, Naruto shouted, jumping back and getting in the Goken stance, as did Kakashi. Very well then, Kakashi said, getting serious and bending in the stance as well, and the two blurred out. Kakashi tried to kick him as he ducked under it. Naruto, seeing the opening, sent to punch him in the gut, but Kakashi did a backflip to avoid it and the two met in hand-to-hand combat, and to the copy nin's surprise Naruto forced him to complete a tiger seal with his finger and the blondes as he jumped back. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu. Naruto fired while his master toughed the ground. Doden. Doriyuki J created a wall which clashed against the fireball, destroying it. Clang. His kunai met Naruto's katana. You have been through a lot. I know the day you gained your moniker was the saddest day of your life, and after the Kyuubi's attack it became worse, but you have to let it go, Naruto said as Kakashi pushed him back. So are you telling me to forget my comrades and the memory of them, he asked, throwing the kunai which Naruto blocked with his blade and shook his head. I am not. Your comrades will be with you forever in your heart, because as long as you remember them they will never truly die, he said. Then what do you want of me, Kakashi asked, narrowing his eye. I want you to move on, he said, making them wide, but he noticed him make seals Raiden. John. He fired while Kakashi had copied the jutsu and made the similar seals Raiden. John. He fired as the two clashed, destroying everything in his path. Both huffed. It's not easy, you know, Kakashi said, looking down. It never is, but remember, you were the one who taught me to stand up even after life hits you hard and never give up in the face of adversities, he said as Kakashi looked at him with wide eyes. You need to accept that they are gone and they won't come back. Spending your time in the grave looking at their names for hours will not change a thing, he said, charging again and meeting him in close combat, and this time he was kicked away by Kakashi, who made seals. I understand what you mean and I will try, but I will not lose this battle, Kakashi said, receiving a grin from him. Good, because I won't have it any other way, he said, making the same seals Kaden, Karyu and they fired at the same time, releasing white-hot flames which clashed against each other for dominance. Boom. Kakashi jumped on top of the lake and made seals Suten, water dragon missile. He fired while Naruto made seals Futon, wind barrier, he said, creating the tornado around him to protect himself, and when it was done he threw a few shuriken towards Kakashi, making a tiger seal Ninpo. Shuriken Cage Bunshine, he said, turning them into 200. The Jounin jumped to dodge the attack, and when he landed back he saw Naruto was not in his place. Shit, he looked back, seeing the blonde put his hand in the water. Chidori Nagashi, he said as the whole water body started to crinkle with lightning menacingly. Puff Cage Bunshine, he thought, looking behind to see Kakashi land a kick to his head. Puff, that was a clone, he thought. Before he knew it, 4 walls formed around him while Naruto stood on top. It's over, he said, making a half tiger seal, and to Kakashi's surprise he flipped back. Naruto smirked on seeing the real Kakashi standing behind him. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu. Naruto launched a big fireball in midair, making Kakashi's eyes wide. Shimad, I am out of chakra, he thought, seeing the fireball come near, and suddenly his eyes spun, creating a vortex in the air, slowly absorbing the fireball. Nanda, he fell due to exhaustion while Naruto landed on the ground looking at Kakashi in awe. Was that some kind of space-time ninjutsu, he thought, walking towards Kakashi. 10 minutes later, grown Kakashi's eye flashed open. Glad to see you are awake, Naruto said, coming into view. Naruto, what happened? I thought he stopped rubbing his red due to the ache we were fighting fighting yes but in the end you somehow managed to swallow my fireball in midair to God knows where, Naruto said, making his eyes wide. But I don't know this jutsu you talk of now that you were saying. I remember the vortex, he said while Naruto nodded. I might know the reason though, he said, making Kakashi look at him in confusion. Ha, you do? Then tell me, he said. Take a look at your eye, he said, passing the kunai to him while the masked Jounin rose a brow but compiled, looking at his eye to see a shape that reflected a pinwheel instead of his regular three-tomoed eye. You sense I have awoken the Mangekyo Sharingan, he said, baffling Kakashi. Chapter 13. Naruto was seated in his hotel room resting. Jiraiya had gone off goofing around or to do his research as he'd call it, and it has been 3 days since they were out looking for Tsunade without luck, which frustrated him a bit because the village was not in a good condition right now and they needed Tsunade to take the hat so it can be safe against the threat of Iwa Kumo. He was taken out of his musing when he felt a chakra signature he has not felt in years. Itachi, he thought with wide eyes. Knock knock. He is right outside and he is not alone. His partner has a reserve even bigger than him, he thought, making a clone who used hiding in the surface technique to sink through the ground and travel undetected. He put his headband up, revealing his Sharingan as he went to the door and opened it to see the two men staring at him. So you know we were here? The one with shark-like appearance said. Kisame Hoshigaki and Itachi Uchiha. What do you want? He asked, narrowing his eyes. Naruto-kun, you are to come with us. Let's not create a commotion, he said. I refuse, he said. Then I will make you, he said as his eyes turned to the Mangekyo state. Tsukiyomi, he said as the world around them changed. The two stood staring at each other, Naruto at Itachi's Mangekyo and Itachi at Naruto's lone one. I see both you or Kakashi have not been slacking off even after not being in Uchiha. You managed to awaken the MS, he said. Yeah, I got mine when I was close to death against Orochimaru, he said, making Itachi raise a brow. What, the snake had grown strong and it took all my chakra to bring him to his last leg. If I had a little more I would have easily defeated him, he said, folding his arm while Itachi smirked. Always easy to rile you up, hey Naruto? I didn't have to say anything, he said with amusement. Sorry, but I am not a stoic bastard like you, he yelled, making Itachi smile while Naruto sighed and smiled as well. How have you been, my friend? He asked. I cannot complain. How is Sasuke? He asked. He is fine and is turning into a strong shinobi, though he has not completely matured his Sharingan. He is near, he replied. I see. Thank you for looking after my foolish little brother, he said. Think nothing of it. After all you have done for the village and the shinobi world, it is nothing, he said. For me it is good enough. You understand that, don't you, since you have a sister of your own, he said as he smiled and nodded. I am dying, Naruto, he said, shocking him. What? He shuddered. It's a disease which is going to kill me, but I am on medication right now to make sure I die. At Sasuke's hand, he said, which made Naruto sad. So you are already prepared? I see. Very well, I will personally train Sasuke. The kid is talented and can surpass you in time, he said, making Itachi smile and gave him a nod. You need to train as well, he said. What do you mean? I am training hard as I now do. I need to train harder? He asked, receiving a nod from Itachi. The leader of the Akatsuki possesses the legendary Rinnegan, he said, shocking Naruto. What? Itachi nodded. You get it now, don't you? The group has members like Deidara the Mad Bomber, Sasori of the Red Sand, Kisame Hoshigaki, Kakazu, Hidan the Immortal, also a kunoichi who is close to the leader Pain. Her name is Konan and she can use paper release. And lastly our spy, his name is Zetsu and he is not human. He can travel through the land with ease undetected to spy and can transform into anyone in such a way that he can replicate their chakra as well, he informed, making Naruto's eyes wide. I see we are in deep shit, he said. You can say it that way, but now I will release the genjutsu and we will be back in the real world where not even a second has passed, Itachi informed, receiving a nod from Be Safe Friend. Until the next time, he said while Itachi smiled and undid the genjutsu. I would like to see you try, he said. Alright, I had enough of the brat, Kisame said, raising the same audit to strike him only to be blocked by Naruto's kunai. Don't fuck with me, Naruto said, glaring at him with his Sharingan and pushing him back to the hallway, which suddenly changed into flesh. This jutsu, Itachi said. Ho ho, did you really think that you could fool me with that genjutsu? Jiraiya said as Naruto's clone gave him a dry look. He kinda did, he said. Shut up, brat, Jiraiya said, punching him in the head. Puff. Jiraiya of the Sannin, we are leaving, Kisame, Itachi said. It's no use, no one has escaped this technique yet, Jiraiya said with a grin while they started to run off. Brat are going to just sit there? Jiraiya asked, receiving a shrug from him. I don't want the group to know of my skills as of yet, he said, following behind Jiraiya only to see black flames surrounding a hole. Black flames, Jiraiya said. Not just any black flames, these are the inextinguishable flames of Amaterasu, said to burn 7 nights and 7 days, he said. I see, it's a Mangekyo technique. Then I will seal it up, he said, summoning a scroll, rolling it on the ground and making seals. Fukahoin said as the scroll absorbed the flames. Alright Gaki, our position is compromised, we need to get going now. Tsunade is not here, but I have found out that she may be in Danzukagai, he said. Fine, let's go, pervert, he replied, Mountain Graveyard. Toby was sitting in his chair working on Fuinjutsu project of his. Toby Zetsu said, popping out. Zetsu, what are the reports from the invasion? He asked. Orochimaru lost. Konoha managed to win the invasion, but the Sandaime is dead, which is why Jiraiya and the Fox are looking to bring back Tsunade Senju as the Godime. But what troubles me more is that the Jinchuriki was able to match Orochimaru and also taking out the reanimated Tobirama Senju. He said, surprising him. He has grown stronger than I had expected. He commented, right now Jiraiya the Goat Sanin is training him to become stronger, and given some time he will be a monster of a shinobi. Zetsu informed. Yes, he will not if I have a say in it. He said. Wait, you don't mean? Zetsu said with wide eyes, only receiving a nod from him. Don't be so hasty, you can't risk showing yourself to the world right now. Black Zetsu spoke for the first time. I won't, because no one will see me, not even him, when I warp him to the Kamui dimension, he replied, disappearing in a vortex. Next day, Naruto was walking to a clearing to train for a while. He and Jiraiya had stopped for a while. He needs to rest and Jiraiya needed research material. On reaching the clearing, his ninja senses came into action as he saw a kunai come from behind him, which he dodged, but then a man in a Katsuki cloak and an orange mask appeared and held him by the shoulder. I win, he said, absorbing Naruto inside his dimension, which is when another Naruto came to take his head off with a kunai, which surprised him. That one was a clone, which means he knew of my presence. The masked man thought using Kamui to teleport his head to the dimension before getting killed by the kunai, and when he did, he was in for a surprise because the clone was waiting. Team was Derda. He yelled, slamming the Rasengan to his face, destroying his mask. In the real world, Naruto looked at the person in shock while the person looked back at him coldly. Omae wa Uchiha Obito, he said in shock. It seems Kakashi told you of me, he said with a smirk while Naruto came out of his shock and clenched his teeth. So you are behind everything. Your mother's death, my father's death, the Kyuubi's attack, the civil war and the Akatsuki, he said. I am, but what will you do? Do you hate me? He asked while Naruto closed his eye, then putting his headband up, glaring at him with his Sharingan. No, if I am succumbed by hate as you are, there will be no difference between you and me. It is because of this very curse of hatred that you have fallen this low. You are nothing but a brat possessed by the evil of the Uchiha, he said as Obito chuckled. A brat you call me? Let me tell you something, I have seen this world of shinobi and unlike you I know its reality, he said. You do you? So are you telling me you did all this for peace or because you still haven't gotten over Rin's death, he said, making Obito's eyes wide a bit. Yes, the very same reason you created the civil war. It had nothing to do with saving the world. You wanted to avenge Rin's death by punishing Kiri. For your revenge you even went as far as killing my mother who considered you family. Tell Obito, how did it feel when you took the Kyuubi out of her seal knowing it would kill her? Did you feel ashamed? He asked. I felt nothing and I don't feel anything anymore. This world is flawed and it needs saving, which is why I will save it by ending its existence, putting everyone under a genjutsu, he said. Putting the whole world under genjutsu? Your plan is flawed. Taking away everyone's free will not create peace because it is fake and an illusion, he said. So are you saying that this world is better as it is right now? No, this world of shinobi world is nothing more than a curse, and as long as it exists peace is not possible, he said. Naruto looked at him with determined eyes. Then I will break that curse one day, he said while Obito just stared at him blankly. As long as there is something, no peace exists in this world. I will seize it and I will not stop until I do, he said. As I thought, you are still childish, but it does not matter. I will take you now since you know of my identity, he said while Naruto took out a kunai. Those who break the rules are scum, yes, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than scum. You said that, didn't you, Obito, he said as the man narrowed his eye at him. You abandoned everything, your friends, comrades, family, and even you dream. He said that dream was a fool's dream. The Hokage's position is worthless. It does not mean anything to me, he said. You may say so, but deep inside there still exists the boy that had the dream to become Hokage like me. You and me, we were the same, which is why I won't let you do as you like anymore and let you descend more into darkness than you already are. I won't let you tarnish the memory of the Obito that inspired Kakashi Sensei to be better and still inspires me. I will never forget the memory of the older you, but then current you will not exist, and I will see to it, he said, charging the kunai in his hand with ration chakra. Very well then, Obito said, rushing towards him while Naruto did the same, but before they could meet he threw the kunai, which passed through Obito's head, and in that moment his eyes spun. Amino Tajikara, he was replaced you the kunai and was above him with an Odama Rasengan. Bakana, Obito thought in shock while Naruto slammed his Rasengan to his back as it drilled and took him to the ground. Boom. The clearing was covered in dust and debris. Just like his damned father, he thought, glaring down at Naruto. You have lived up to your name, Fox. I never thought you could do the Hiraishin, he said while Naruto smirked as his eyes spun again, making Obito's eyes wide on seeing the leaf that was falling in front of him was replaced with Naruto, and before he knew it the blonde impaled him with a Chidori to his chest. I may be hailed as a prodigy, but I am not my father. I am a genius of hard work, he said, looking at Obito with his MS, which shocked him. A Mangekyo space-time ninjutsu like mine, but only different. I have heavily underestimated him. He thought it over. Obito, he said, pushing the Chidorian further. Not yet. I will take over this world and no one will get in my way, he said as his left eye glowed Izanagi. He disappeared. Damn it, I never expected him to use the jutsu, he thought, falling on his knee then on his back to the ground looking at the sky. If I tell Kakashi-sensei he will be devastated, which is why I cannot tell him. He will break and has much burden on his shoulders already, he thought, but what happens when he does find out that I knew and didn't tell him? Will he hate me? Well, as long as he is alright I can take the hate, because sometimes what people need is a lie more than the truth, something Itachi has taught me, he thought again, but the dark times lie ahead of us all. I cannot let Obito continue on with his madness for the sake of the shinobi world, for the sake of Konoha and everyone that is precious to me, he willed his resolve. Oi brat, I heard the explosion, what happened? Jiraiya asked, coming in while he sighed. Nothing, Urosani, just a failed jutsu experiment, he said. Well, it was an epic fail to cause this and leave you in such state, Jiraiya said while he smiled. Don't worry, Urosani, a wise man once said that success can only be achieved through failure, he said. Alright brat, enough of the philosophy, get some rest, we will reach Danzukagai by tomorrow, he said, receiving a nod from him. Obito dropped inside the hideout through Kamui. Obito, what happened? Who did this to you? Zetsu asked, looking at his condition. His Makuten arm was gone. There was a big wound on his back, his left eye was without the three-domed Sharingan. There was a deep wound in his chest and this body covered with blood. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki, he knows who I am and he was able to defeat me with his Mangekyo Sharingan space-time ninjutsu, he said, making both the Zetsu's eyes wide. But he is not a natural Uchiha, it's impossible. They said I wasn't hallucinating. He did awaken, that I am is very formidable, but now heal me, I am badly injured, he said. Hi, the white Zetsu said, taking Obito to the room to heal him. Naruto, I won't let you win, we are alike and eventually you'll become like me, and when you do then you will understand all that I am trying to accomplish. I will not let you interfere with my plans. The project Tsukiyomi will be a success, he thought, clenching his hand tightly. Chapter 14. Jiraiya and Naruto were walking through the streets of Danzukagai. It's been a week already, we need to return to the village fast, Naruto said. Don't be so impatient brat, right now we need Tsunade, she is the best option out there for the god he said. I know, but the village is not in a stable condition right now. I know there are people in the village like Shukaku to look after it, but there is Danzo as well. I may have crippled the fool and taken away his power, but he is still dangerous with his root, he said. Don't worry, I know he won't do anything right now. Let us forget it for now and have a nice dinner. I am hungry, he said. Well, this looks like a good enough place, he said, pointing to the door next to him. Well then let us go in then, Jiraiya said as they opened the door and entered. Jiraiya looked at the person with wide eyes, as did the person Tsunade. Jiraiya, you old pervert, what are you doing here, she said, and then eyeing Naruto. And who is the Kakashi look like brat, she asked. Well, why don't we settle down and talk, he said. Fine, she said with a sigh. Well Shizune, you have grown up, Jiraiya said. Thank you Jiraiya-sama, she said, then looking at Naruto. And you are Uzumaki, Naruto, he said with a nice smile. Alright, what do you want? Tsunade asked, annoyed. Tsunade-sensei is dead, he was killed by Orochimaru. Snort, like that snake could kill him of all people. He died of chakra cancer, plain and simple. I don't know why you people misunderstand things, Naruto said. Sensei had chakra cancer? Tsunade asked in surprise. He did, and was on his legs still. He fought Orochimaru and took away his ninjutsu, but the matter is that Konoha needs a Godime, which is why you are nominated, he said. No way, I am going to that hellhole, that place which took away everything from me, she yelled, getting up. And the Hokage's job, it's a fool's job. They all are fools who die. Crack. All eyes were wide as the blonde released his chakra. The place shook a bit. The people were sweating bullets. This kid is no fodder, Tsunade thought. What powerful chakra shoes, and thought sweating. This is bad. Did she have to hit the buttons right away, Jiraiya thought, looking at Naruto, who slowly moved up his headband Sharingan. Tsunade thought with wide eyes. Normally I am a very calm person, he said, closing his right eye, but I don't take insults to the Hokage lightly, he said, blurring out boom. Damn it. Jiraiya cussed. Tsunade landed on her feet after being put through the wall. Tsunade-sama, Shizune yelled, stay out of this. Shizune, the brat is dead, she said, cracking her knuckles. Normally I would play, but his eyes spin while he flicked a kunai in front of him. I am not in the mood. Tsunade looked at the lightning jutsu near her face, ready to impale her in horror, but then she glanced into Naruto's eyes and was shocked. Mangekyo Sharingan, she thought, while Naruto leaned in and whispered, I know you have been through shit and back, but that does not give you the right to insult the Hokage, especially my father who became one. She was shocked. This is Minato's kid, she thought. He stopped the Chidori and looked at her with his lone eye. The Sandime might be dead, but he entrusted me with his will, so did the Nadime, he said, making her eyes wide. Yes, the snake whom you talked to summoned the Shadaime and Nadime Hokage through Edo-sensei, using them as puppets against the old man, but I was able to separate the Nadime and I sealed him away, but before going back to the pure world he entrusted me to protect the village in his stead. Listen well, I don't care if you become the Godime or not, but if you make deals with the snake I will kill you, so you won't shame your predecessors any more than you have, and never insult the position again, because it is my dream and will not have anyone disrespected. He finished, putting his headband over his eye again. Jiraiya, we should go, we came after the wrong person, he said, walking away and disappearing in a swirl of leaves while the Dode Sanin sighed. Shizune was in shock, as was Tsunade, who had yet to make a move. Jiraiya, who was that kid? Tsunade asked. Have you heard of the famous Anbu fox? He asked. Who hasn't? His exploits are famous over the elemental nations. Shizune said. That's him, Jiraiya said, stunning the two medics. Impossible, Tsunade blurted out. Perhaps we should go in and talk, Jiraiya said. Next day, Naruto lay on his bed looking above, grown-ups acting like brats at a time like this, and with Obito on the run with his dangerous and nasty plans. I fear the worst for the future of Konoha and the shinobi world. Man, this is too troublesome, he thought with a sigh. Knock knock, it's Shizune's signature. What does she want? He thought, going to the gate and opening it. Can I come in? She asked. Sure, he said, letting her in. What did you want to talk to me about? He asked. Naruto-kun, I know Tsunade-sama is wrong in the way she is acting, but she is not a bad person, she said. I know that much. If she were Sarutobi, Gigi wouldn't have suggested her to be goddamn, but she needs to stop acting childish like she is. Konoha is under a threat of war. If Iwa or Kumo see any openings, they will attack. Jiraiya cannot be the Hokage. He isn't made for the job, and his spy network is too valuable to the village. Kakashi sensei is no S rank, nor am I. If she doesn't return, Danzo will force to take over, and the old Warhawk will destroy the village with his ideologies of war, he explained, making Shizune's eyes wide. I see. So the situation is that dire? She said. Yes, and I know she fears blood. If she does, then how can she become Hokage even with her standing and power? Which is why I was harsh on her, he said. I understand now, and I will do my best to explain her what the situation is right now, she said. Do that, but first tell me, what did Orochimaru want? He asked, making her sigh. Naruto was lying on his bed sleeping. Someone crashed through his door. Naruto-kun, it's bad. Tsunade-sama went to Orochimaru, she exclaimed. Yes, she drugged me as well, Jiraiya said. DSK, getting drugged like that? Naruto said. Oi brat, it's not my fault anyway. Shizune, can you heal me? He asked. Sure, but it may take a bit time, she said. You both come to the place when you are ready. I am going, he said, disappearing in a blur. Will he be alright? Shizune asked. The brat can handle himself, Jiraiya said. So you are what all of us medics dream of becoming. How pathetic, Kabuto said, fixing his glasses. Tsunade, I promised you that you will see Dan and Nawaki-kun again. Well, I do not go back on my promises. After death you will surely see them again. Die, Kabuto yelled, going to impale her with his kunai while Tsunade was still shaking, but before she knew it she didn't see the kunai anymore, but her eyes were wide on. See the blonde in front of Kabuto gripping the kunai with his hands. He teleported me, she thought with wide eyes. Orochimaru glared at the person. So the troublesome thing has arrived. Uzumaki Naruto, he said. Well, sorry, but I thought I should interfere and take care of you snakes once and for all. You won't go near Orochimaru-sama, Kabuto said while Naruto looked at him with his lone Sharingan. I don't have time to play with children, he said, channeling lightning Chidori Nagashi, he thought as Kabuto screamed, having his whole body crinkling with lightning. Stay still, Orochimaru hissed, coming towards him with his Kusanagi clench. Orochimaru's eyes were wide on seeing his sword impaling Kabuto. Orochimaru-sama, he said, spitting blood. Well, one is out, Naruto said, kicking Orochimaru away, but dodged a strike from Chakra Scalpel. You can still fight, he said, looking at Kabuto. Kabuto grinned, jumping back. I am resistant to the poison of Kusanagi, he said, pulling up his sleeve which showed the summoning tattoo as he sprayed his blood over it. Summoning jutsu, he said, summoning a big snake. Well done, Kabuto-kun. Orochimaru said. Well, I killed Madonna, so no other summon is an actual threat, he said with a shrug. I forgot to punish you for that, Orochimaru said. Punish me? How foolish, or did you forget the last time when you ran with a tail between your legs, he said with a smirk under his mask. Tsunade was shocked at what she heard. This boy really killed Madonna, she thought. Enough, die. Orochimaru charged at him, but before he hit him, puff, damn him and his clones. Orochimaru cussed. Orochimaru-sama, Kabuto said, looking at the ground. It's the swamp. Orochimaru spat his teeth, looking down at 10 Narutos who had a half-tiger seal katen. Gokakyu Uno Jutsu. They fired all at once, burning the snake. The clones dispelled, but from the ground Orochimaru came out with his Kusanagi. You are dead, brat, he yelled, but by fault looked at his Mangekyo. Damn it, he cussed, having been trapped by temporary paralysis. I don't like to repeat myself, Naruto said as the Chidori formed his hand. Chidori, he yelled, impaling the Sannin who spat blood. It's over, Orochimaru, he said while the Sannin spat some more blood and smirked. So are you, he said as Kabuto impaled him with his chakra scalpels. No time for children, you said, he coated him with his usual arrogant smirk. Swant, Jiraiya said, rushing in. Jiraiya the brat, she said, pointing to Naruto. Naruto-kun, Shizune yelled. Orochimaru said as another came of his mouth. Now I will take your eye. It is useful after all, he said. Exactly, Naruto said, making him raise a brow. Exactly what? He asked. I told you I don't have time to play with children, he said, looking at Kabuto as a crow came out of him mouth. Genjutsu, Orochimaru exclaimed, seeing Naruto turn into a flock of crows. Slice Naruto, he yelled, gritting his teeth after Naruto had sliced his hand with a kunai from behind Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto yelled, rushing to him. Kabuto, summon him, he said. Hi, he replied while Naruto jumped back. Don't worry, brat, I will take care of it, Jiraiya said from behind him, biting his finger. Asoda, today there will be one Sannin less in the world, Tsunade said, biting her finger as well. Summoning jutsu, Where three yells at once. Puff. The three giants appeared. Orochimaru, why did you summon me? Wasn't killing my father enough? A snake shorted. Then Madonna hissed, Abo, don't you want to avenge your father? That boy right there killed him. He pointed to Naruto. I don't care if that scumbag died, but this can prove to be entertaining. He said, today I will have a snake-skinned wallet. Buna said, Tsunade-sama. Katsu said, Katsu, you help me in battle. She said, hi tongue tooth sticky acid. She spat. The snake dodged it and in a blur went towards her, clutching her, but she separated into many smaller versions of herself while Bunta threw his huge tondo towards the snake, which he dodged. Ikazo, Bunta, give me oil. Jiraiya said, alright. He yelled, spitting oil while Jiraiya added fire to it. Kaden, Gamaru, and he thought, creating the inferno. Did we get him? Bunta asked. No, the snake shed its skin. Naruto said, standing beside Jiraiya. Bunta, below you. He yelled, Nani, he said as the tail came out, which he so easily caught, but Abba rose up from behind them. Doden, Doryu Heki. Naruto rose a huge wall to block the snake. He predicted the move and used the shadow clone with lot of chakra to create that, Jiraiya thought, while Naruto threw a kunai by channeling wind chakra to it above the summon. This is my last move before I pass out, make use of it, Bachan, he thought as his eye spun into action. Amino Tejikara. He teleported the kunai with Tsunade, who held a Bunta's. Kanto the brat saw that I was a bit late, so he used his teleportation to bring me here. He sure has lived up to his name, she thought. She yelled, impaling the snake. The things he pulls sometimes, Jiraiya thought, holding onto an unconscious Naruto, shaking his head in amusement. Tsunade, Orochimaru, he yelled. Orochimaru, it's over, she said, crackling her fist. Why? He asked. Because I am Tsunade Senju the god, I'm Hokage, she said, punching him and sending him flying. His eye snapped open. I see you are awake, Tsunade said, sitting beside him. What happened? He asked. Orochimaru escaped, she said, making him frustrated, and I, though you and the pervy sage will take care of him. He said, wait, pervy sage, you mean Jiraiya? Ha ha ha, that's the perfect name for him. She laughed. What are you laughing about, Bachan? He said as the temperature dropped. What did you call me? She asked in a low voice. Bachan, he said without a second worry. Even Buddha forgives once, brat. She yelled, balling her fist, and went to hit his head while Naruto closed his eyes waiting for the pain, but it never came. He snapped his eye open as he saw Tsunade kissing him on the forehead, shocking him. You know, you are much like those two, strong-headed, stubborn, and sometimes a fool, but she said, taking off her necklace and placing it in his neck. I like people like you. Thanks for saving me, brat, she said with a smile as he gave her a nice smile. Oh, new material for Icha forbidden move, Jiraiya said, scribbling his notes from the window as the temperature dropped. Naruto worked while Tsunade walked towards the pervert. Jiraiya looked up after scribbling down his note in horror. Tsunade, I can explain. He shuddered. I won't hear it, she said, crackling her fist. Mercy, he squeaked. No mercy here, she yelled, punching and sending him flying with a girlish scream. Aho Dana, Naruto thought with a sigh. That's the end of the movie, guys. I hope you enjoyed it.